As the saying goes, the stars at night are big and bright deep in the heart of Texas. Well, tonight they're not too bright because the clouds are covering the entire sky throughout the Metroplex area. That's a live look from the Star in Frisco, just outside our studios, as we prepare you for another Friday night of Metroplex rain-issued football. There's a live look at the radar, and my goodness, we've got ourselves a couple issues in terms of weather and rain, but we're going to take you through it. We'll keep you updated throughout the entire night in terms of what games are delayed, what games aren't delayed, and what is actually going to happen. Hello, everybody, and welcome into Whataburger Friday Night Stars. It's week 4 of the Texas high school football season as we join you here at the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star in Frisco, alongside Hek'ma Harrison. That's Zach Wolchuk and Mr. Eric Giafalo. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Glad to be with you. And boys, it seems like an every week occurrence now.
Starting to be like that.
That weather is just
jinxed?
going to be an issue. And I don't know if we've had a week that's actually been affected as much as this week has so far.
It's a nightmare. I mean, truly. I thought this was going to be a 1 week thing a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah,
Hopefully
me too.
this never happens again. Then it's 2 weeks in a row. And now it's on to week 3. It's a tradition unlike any other, really, at this point.
The Rose Bowl. No, I don't know. I've never seen anything like this. 3 weeks in a row to open the season, and it seemed like the school districts tried to get ahead of it this week, moving a lot of games up from tonight to yesterday. Most of them got played, but there were a handful of delays last night as well. Plano Allen, for instance, a game that we'll talk about here in a little bit, they moved that one up. Still had nearly a 2-hour weather delay before that one got kicked off. So, man, Mother Nature, you can't control it, but she just seems to be frowning upon high school football so far early this year.
Yeah, Hek'ma, I know you've been around a little bit longer than us.
What are you trying to say?
I'm saying you're old, Hek'ma. But
He's
overall,
got better experiences than we
he
do.
does have better experience. But have you experienced anything like this? Because we were talking about it off air, saying we've never experienced anything even close to this.
Yeah, I mean, not so much where it's raining every weekend, but definitely, cold weather games, things like that, man. But this is kind of trippy. Every weekend there seems to be a rain out. Delays, lightning, something. But I guess that the districts have gotten a little bit smarter where they're moving these games up. Like they did this week. And so I think that a lot was made about that, about moving those Friday games to Thursday. So, I think for mentally that must be an adjustment for the coaches and the players to have it in their mind and looking at the schedule the whole time and saying, all right, we know what time we're going to play. This is when the game's going to happen. And just like that. And all of this was last minute because I think all of the changes happened
Wednesday, I think, right?
Yes, exactly.
So you're preparing your full week of practice. You've got your schedule. You've got your routine, what you're doing each day working into the game. And then all of a sudden, Wednesday, probably going into that Wednesday practice, they find out, we're playing tomorrow. We're not playing 2 nights from now. That's got to change a lot for teams. And the good thing is some of the schools did get into district play this week. Not all of them did. It was a non-district game, not too bad. But, I mean, you look at some of these districts that are getting underway, 6-6A, 7-6A. These are big, major matchups. And I think that really can spoil some things for a coaching staff. You're not prepared.
But you can't push them back. You can't push those games back. Sorry about that. You can't push those games back because they're district games. And so playing them early may have put a lot of teams that I can think of, like Horn, for instance, that game was going to happen on Friday, and then they find out on Wednesday that they're going into that game versus Arlington a day earlier. So not as much rest.
No, it's less than ideal. And Thursday's usually like a walkthrough day.
Exactly.
Thursday's your chill day, just last minute, making sure the game plan's tight, get ready to play Friday, and then boom, 24 hours in advance. Oh, no, we're playing tomorrow, gentlemen.
Yeah, so what do you do Wednesday? Do you just say, all right, we're not practicing, it's a walkthrough today?
Well, it's definitely more, it has to become that. I mean, you can't go full padded, hard practice, a mere 24 hours before your game. So, yeah, I would imagine most of these coaches just turn their Wednesday into Thursday, maybe not even have pads, and we're just walking around talking through things. Getting ready for the game the next night. And it's funny because all these cancellations, I don't know, I played high school football in the Metroplex. We had, I think maybe in my 4 years of high school football, one
I don't remember
one lightning delay is 1 hour the entire, and now we're looking at dang near a month straight of this stuff.
Yeah, you're exactly right. We've had this show for 4 weeks, and the only week that hasn't been affected by lightning delay, or majorly affected, not even just slightly affected where there's been a couple delays, but majorly affected by lightning delays, was week 1.
Right.
And I mean, overall, as a show, it kind of puts us in a tough situation, but I couldn't even imagine what it puts those coaching staffs in having a day less of preparation. Now, of course, the team on the other end has to do it, but I'm sure there were teams playing on Thursday this week that played on Thursday last week or played on Saturday last week, and it's an extra short week because of those games and things like that. But there are some games going on tonight, and we'll go through those here in just a little bit, just to mention them real quick. Frisco, Lebanon Trail in Frisco, they're playing across the hallway here at the Ford Center at the Star. And then you've got Jesuit Plano West, where we have Jesuit trying to really get back on track. They had a win last week, but overall still a kind of a tough start to the season. Highland Park, Bryan Adams currently going on. That one also in a lightning delay as of right now the middle of that second quarter.
And I was worried about that. You saw a lot of kickoffs moved up tonight as well. We even had a noon game.
Yes, two of them, two noon games.
Wiley Saxe being the one I'm thinking of, and there probably was another one as well. I can't think of another scenario like this. It's really, really wild where you've got all these games just moved around, and I hope it doesn't continue. I'm really starting to get sick and tired of it, guys.
Yeah, no, we can't be having this weekend.
Weather gods,
this has to be the last. And it's early on. Like I was expecting later on in the season, the weather gets cold, it gets bad. There's some issues. We're a month in, man. I mean, we're in September.
It happens every single day. It seems like every time we've shown up at the Star, it's been rainy, but. One other game that is going on tonight, Lancaster and Mansfield Legacy as of right now. That is a good game. The only game that I know of, at least on our highlighted games list that we had throughout the week that was canceled, with John Tyler and Euless Trinity, which I personally was really looking forward to. Those are two big-time teams.
Absolutely.
And Trinity has so far looked like a team that could be a dark horse to try and win a state championship.
I don't know how much of a dark horse Euless Trinity is.
Yeah.
Well, they're still like on the top, really outside of the top 10 looking in. I think they're ranked number 11 right now.
Yeah, they are. And they're just outside of the top 10, but at least from DFW to be represented in the state championship game, Euless Trinity over the course of the last probably 15 to 20 years has been an elite program here in the state. And I know when Steve Lineweaver retired, they went through a little bit of a transition the last couple of years, but last year I think was the year they kind of came back and, all right, Trinity's back. Now they went on a deep postseason run. Not a lot of people saw that coming. And this year, they're a well-oiled machine. I think that it's probably fortunate that that's a John Tyler team.
They lucked out.
Yeah.
They lucked out.
They've been disappointing. We've talked a few teams that have not looked as good to start the year. That's one of them. And I think Trinity was about to go up there. And probably good for those boys. They got the night off.
Pennington, tonight at Pennington Field, it was definitely was preparing to be a massacre. I think Tyler came in 1-2. Euless Trinity, obviously undefeated. But a team that's definitely has made a bleep on the radar. Everyone knows who they are. Last year, I think, was a kind of a year off for them. But years past, I think for the last 3 or 4 years, they've just been building that momentum to where they are right now as a team. And, man, they're ready.
Yeah, they definitely look ready, and they've had some pretty impressive wins over the first couple of weeks. And they probably would have had another one, or at least on paper.
We say that, right? Yeah,
we say that. There's a reason they play the football game.
Exactly.
But unfortunately, that one canceled, and no football being played at Pennington Field today. But we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to predict some of these games that are going on tonight. Some of the ones that we have not mentioned. We're going a little outlandish in our prediction games, so we'll see how that goes exactly later on. We'll also talk about players to watch. We'll check in with some of our reporters, and then we'll go through last night's scores because there are a lot to get to. Lots more coming up. Whataburger Friday Night Stars is going to continue from the Star in just a moment.
This is the Pepsi that your father drank and your grandfather drank.
When I was your age, we worked for.
And your grandmother, she drank it too before she met him.
That was quite the catch, you know.
We know. This is the Pepsi that your Uncle Ted drank when rock sounded like this. And the one he drinks now that rock sounds like this. This is the Pepsi for American pastimes. Whether you're tailgating at a speedway or courtside watching your favorite player make a breakaway.
And he scores!
It even goes well with away games. This is the Pepsi that was made for your mom's famous 5-alarm chili. You know, the one she refuses to give the recipe to.
Never gonna happen.
Don't worry, your secret's safe with us. This is the Pepsi that makes you say, hee, ba, 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 and baby. This is the Pepsi for those who are forever fun. This is the Pepsi for every generation.
Welcome to your hometown Whataburger. We make sure that our customers get their order hot and fresh.
I ordered the original Whataburger.
I got the number 2 Whataburger double, and I got bacon on it because everyone loves bacon.
We don't make it until you order it.
Their ingredients are so fresh, and you can taste it.
Tomato, lettuce, and the onions all the time is fresh.
We cut our vegetables 3 times a day.
They gave me a hot and fresh burger the way I like it, so I'm happy.
Your hometown Whataburger, serving it hot and fresh all day, every day.
Tour the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco. VIP guided tours give Cowboys fans an inside look at the place where the Dallas Cowboys train and work. Fans have the opportunity to see the Cowboys' state-of-the-art war room, grand atrium, a display of all 5 Super Bowl trophies and rings, and more. Connect with the Cowboys in ways you never imagined. VIP guided tours are available daily. Get your tour tickets now at thestarinfrisco.com. That's thestarinfrisco.com.
It's true. Everything's better when the Cowboys win, especially Papa John's Pizza. New this season, every time the Cowboys win, you get 50% off regular menu price pizzas the next day at papajohns.com. That's half-price pizzas with promo code CowboysWin. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, official pizza of your Dallas Cowboys. Limited time offer, not valid with any other coupons or discounts. Prices, participation, delivery area, and charges may vary.
Dr. Pepper is the one you crave. But how do you explain that craving?
Imagine a surging river of ice-cold Dr. Pepper, roaring with carbonated mists of desire. You're dangling above it, upside down, like a fishing lure in the wind. 23 flavors tickle your nose, but the river is too far away to taste. Dr. Pepper calls to you. You.
Now that is a Dr. Pepper craving. Dr. Pepper, the one you crave.
Located at Dallas Cowboys Headquarters at the Star in Frisco, Cowboys Fit offers a comprehensive gym experience with over 60,000 square feet of workout space, personal training, group fitness classes, a heated rooftop pool, and luxury amenities, including the same state-of-the-art equipment used in the Dallas Cowboys team facility. A dedicated recovery lounge featuring hydro massage and cryotherapy, a health and nutrition bar, and so much more. For more information or to join, visit cowboysfit.com.
You know those little pins you push in a map? The ones that show you all the places you've traveled to? Well, thanks to American Airlines, you're about to run out of pins. With the most destinations of any airline in the world, American brings you closer to your next trip, wherever it is on the map. So, get ready to explore some new points of interest. The most destinations of any airline in the world. That's American Airlines. Pins not included.
Backpack shorts and sneakers. Helmets, shoulder pads, knee pads, and cleats. Adidas and JanSport, Under Armour and Nike. Hoodies, jerseys, leggings, and shoes.
Start your back-to-school season for less with our head-to-toe selection of sports essentials for under $30 and top brands and footwear under $60. Academy Sports and Outdoors, for all for less.
Ever wonder what it's like to play for the Dallas Cowboys?
We scratch, we claw, we fight.
To sit in the same locker room as your favorite Cowboys players. To run into the end zone.
Touchdown, Cowboys!
You can do all that and more when you tour AT&T Stadium. Play on the field. See the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders' locker room and gain access to areas where fans are never allowed on game day. It's all possible with AT&T Stadium Tours. Presented by SeatGeek. Tours are available daily. Visit attstadium.com for details.
Week 4 of the Texas high school football season is here. Whataburger Friday Night Stars. Thanks for joining us here on the Vimeo. Game On Sports Productions. It's also helped and produced by the Dallas Cowboys. Do want to give a quick shout out to Chris holding down the fort as he has been here all week long.
Chris is our guy.
Chris has been killing it every single time.
CB, MVP.
What would we be without him?
The Magic Man, Chris Beam.
Chris Beam is the man. Just want to give a quick shout out. But before we go into some of the games from last night, even some of the games that are going on right now, I do want to give a little bit of a chance for us to show off our knowledge.
Okay, flex the brain muscle.
Show off the
Walchuk's
Texas
in trouble
high school knowledge.
I am.
Let's predict some of these matchups tonight.
I've got
three matchups.
Which games? Oh, three.
Three matchups that we're going to go through.
Are you predicting as well?
I will predict.
You will do some predictions.
Yes, I will do some predictions.
Oh,
so we're going to go along.
Oh, my
and
God.
We haven't kept track with it so far. I'm going to go back. And I'm going to see what games we did predict. It's not we didn't. Put
I didn't
as much
pick
of a
like Dallas.
highlight.
I definitely won last week. I think
know.
we all know that.
Whatever.
You were disqualified last week for cheating.
So I'm going to go back and I'm going to look at all of the previous shows. We have
No, I
three
think we
shows
should just
now
start
before
it
this.
wherever.
Start it right now.
Start it fresh.
A loser
Start
would
it
say
fresh.
that. I think somebody who's had the
We'll
lead.
go back and we'll look at it.
Let's start it fresh.
We're going to go look at
I
it.
think Hek'ma and I understand why.
I don't care. We're going to look at it.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you,
So
Youngins.
Okay. Well, he
these
can
are
have
games,
an asterisk next
these
to that
are
reading
games
it.
that are not necessarily highlighted. These are games that are outside of that highlighted circle that
Use
we're
your
going to look at.
knowledge.
So that way it's going to stretch
Low-lighted
those brain
games.
muscles and let you work.
When you say highlighted circle, what does that mean?
In terms of the games on the list.
Does that mean you circle them with a highlighter?
Or
do you
sometimes,
go-
actually, I did.
Okay,
So,
nice.
Yes, that
Do you
does
use
work.
different colors? Is
Yes,
it all
orange, yellow, red, green. Anyways,
You're incredibly
back to
organized.
back to yes, I am. Back to what's at hand. 3 games: Poteet at Tyler Lee, Fort Worth OD Wyatt, Bishop Lynch, and Waco University in Cleburne. Those
We
are our
just
3
start
games.
with one.
Highly
I
touted
understand. I'm
matchups.
just previewing.
Because
Let's start off with
it's too much for me.
Let's start
found
off
the
with
best matchups of the
Mesquite,
night, didn't you,
Poteet.
Youngins?
Oh, I did.
Good
Mesquite, Poteet, and Tyler Lee. Will start with Eric.
Yes, we will,
Who you got?
gentlemen. Hopefully, you guys are picking Tyler Lee because Poteet's winning this game, and that's going to give me one extra nod in the win column for our predictions. Listen, Seth McGowan, best player on the field. Poteet's got him. And Poteet is actually returning a quite a bit amount of starters on offense and defense this year. I think they're a more experienced team. And again, they got the best player on the field, McGowan. He's going to run all over the place. I got Poteet on the road. On the road, Walchuk.
I agree. I think Seth McGowan, you saw the impact that he made last week. After missing a half, this team was in a struggle, and then he comes back in the second half. Poteet pulls away. And how about those Pirates? They lose week 1 to Ryan.
Yep.
And they've bounced back really nicely with wins over Waxahachie, Mansfield Summit. I think they're just a much better football team. And Tyler Lee, I think they struggled defensively. I think they've given up over 40 points to just about everybody that they've played, at least 2 out of their first 3 games. So I think Poteet just got too much for them.
I'm not going to lone wolf this one, guys. So I'm going with Poteet's defense.
Smart man.
Okay.
Yeah,
smart
not going to
man.
be me. So I'm going Poteet.
Well, we're going to go all the way across the board because I'm going to take Poteet as well. That's a strong Poteet
And
team.
you guys are just a bunch of copiers.
Yeah, that might be
Whatever.
what it. That's exactly what it is. But I'm going to take Poteet. I think the Pirates get it done again. I think that's a very strong Poteet team that a lot of people are starting to take more seriously, and I like to keep an eye on them.
You know, earlier
going
this
on.
week, speaking of the Pirates, it was actually National Pirate Day.
It was no Speak Like a Pirate Day.
Speak like a pirate. Okay,
Yes.
excuse
It
me.
wasn't
Good correction.
actually
Good
Pirate
correction.
Day.
Fair enough. Thank you.
It was our.
So did Long
Speak
John
Like a-
Silver's give away anything?
I don't
they
think
were
so.
doing they were doing some shrimp deals. No,
Were they
Long
really?
John. If you go over there, if you talk like a pirate on that day at
No
the drive-through, or I'm dead serious.
No
you
way.
Get, you
He
get,
is so pulling your leg.
I'm not, I
don't
swear
believe
I will
this.
I will look this up at the break and then I will come back with facts. But I'm telling you, if you give them a little R at the drive-through, then you get some sort of free shrimp. I'm sure it's like 3 or 4 shrimp.
She'll follow you. Or
Walchuk,
so.
you're on a roll
Friday
there.
night
I promise ya.
stars.
Well, just because of that, Poteet's going to run away with it because it's
Couldn't
the
agree
week
more.
of the,
Couldn't
the
agree
Speak
more.
of the Pirates. Okay, Fort Worth OD Wyatt, Bishop Lynch, Hek'ma. We're going to
Hey, I've seen
reverse
Fort
it.
Worth OD Wide, and they're not that good. All
wow.
right. So I'm going to go with Bishop Lynch on this one.
Wow, just straight disrespecting that team.
I
right
did.
There. I like it.
I agree. I'm going to go Bishop Lynch as well.
Copier, man.
No, who you going
Well,
with?
I'll tell you what, I'm not super familiar with Fort Worth OD Wide. I know a little bit about Bishop Lynch, and they played Trinity Christian Cedar Hill extremely tough week 1, and we know how good that bunch is.
It's a good team.
I think Bishop Lynch is just a more talented squad.
Call me the lone wolf, gentlemen.
What?
OD Wyatt. Both of these offense are pretty good.
Jump out there.
I think Wyatt's got the better defense. Give me Wyatt.
All right.
All right, I'm going
On the
with
road.
Bishop Lynch.
Look
I'm
at who they
joining
play.
in.
On the road.
I'm joining in with both of them.
Oh,
Bishop
you
Lynch
bunch
is
of
going to definitely
copiers,
get it.
man.
Yeah, I definitely am going to do that one. Waco University at Cleburne. Zach, who you got?
Well, Waco University, I think you gave this stat a few weeks ago. They got their first win in, 46 games?
46 games.
4 years or something.
They are not a program
Close.
that wins a lot. I think Cleburne went winless last year, so they're coming back, and they're 2-0 to start the season this year.
That boy Cleve.
Yeah, and they've got a pretty good wide receiver, underrated player in the area, Jamari Bradley. pretty good
Where did
star.
you pull that
Jay
out
Brad?
from?
Jamari Bradley,
His rear
baby.
end, Hek'ma, right out of his rear end.
I know. Cleburne's not too far. Cleburne's a
Okay.
Metroplex team. I followed Cleburne a little bit.
That's impressive.
He was on their beat for a while. He's on the Cleburne beat.
Yeah,
for a
just a tad. So I'm going to take Cleburne in this one to get the win. I don't know a ton about Waco University other than they've got a history for losing.
That's a really bold statement by
Daniel Tomlinson is a...
Okay, there you go.
Oh,
He's
Hek'ma's
an
gonna hate
alumni.
you now, yo man.
Help me,
I'm a Waco native, and I work for ESPN in Waco. So
Hek'ma, I'm going to give you the floor.
I know those.
I'm going to give you the floor, Hek'ma. I got Cleburne at home because they're at home, and that's really the only reason why.
I'm going to go Waco University.
Wow, lone wolf alert.
All right.
Lone
Waco
wolf
University.
alert.
I love it.
Second win in 4 years.
I'm all about the
gonna do
story.
that.
It would be a great story for Waco University to get this win, and
You always have been
maybe
a
have a
great story
winning
guy.
season. How about that? We could do a package on that, Eric.
That'd be interesting.
I would
Eric's
love to
got
get a
it.
package on that.
Actually, Kyle, you're a Waco guy, right? You just
I'm away.
finished
It would probably be a lot
You can do
easier
that
for me to
one.
do it, but I
Yeah,
want
it's in
Eric
your
to do it
background.
anyways.
So
But
you're going to
anyway.
have to jump out on one. This next one is yours. You're going to have to tell us about this Bridgeport Lake Worth game. Who you
Well,
got?
that game actually was played last night.
Exactly, Kyle. So that's why we want you to tell us about what happened.
So I can tell you exactly what
Literally
happened.
exactly what happened.
If you picked Bridgeport, then you were right. So, or no, you were wrong
You were
because
wrong?
they lost.
Or were you right?
I
No,
picked against
Bridgeport
Bridgeport.
lost.
We think.
Lake Worth won.
Potentially.
Lake Worth won, right?
Yes,
So
Lake
that's
Worth
that's
won.
just a freebie for all of us.
No,
as far
but
as
I
the-
didn't even get to give my pick on the university games before Hek'ma decides.
Well, you have to take
sorry.
Waco University.
Wait,
don't
Yeah,
you?
I'm taking Waco University.
Of course you are.
I think the
Second win
Trojans
in
get it
49
done.
games.
They're only 7-point underdogs in this game, which kind of surprises me because Cleburne, like you said, is 2-0.
Okay, so a spread for high school football.
Yes.
Are we fan or no fan?
Oh, huge fan.
huge fan.
You guys
Me
do a
and
lot
my
of-
degenerate fans are out
A
there.
lot of high school football betting
my
outside the
gosh,
stadium.
I'm not saying we're
Absolutely.
betting on
I think it's
this. I'm
unreal
just saying
that
that
we have
it's
spreads
nice
for-
to see the.
Come on.
We got these rain
These are
delays.
kids.
You're
I'll be
such
up
a
chasing
traditionalist.
later tonight. You better
Unreal.
believe it.
Such a traditionalist. So there are our predictions.
By the way,
Gosh, I
take,
got out of
take
hand.
Waco -7.
You would take Waco?
You just
cover?
Just to win or just to cover the
Just to
points?
cover, just
so
to
they lose by 3.
They lose by 5.
I like where your head's at. By 5, okay.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. So let's.
Hek'ma can't believe this. I'm on board with you, Hek'ma.
They lose by a
over
field
the
goal and a
place.
safety.
Like, I'm fine to joke about this, but in reality, spreads, come on.
It's pretty nasty, right?
It
On
is
high school sports.
Sick.
Okay, so let's go
Heck,
through
man, I love it.
some of the scores right now. There are games live in the area, some of which are delayed, some of which are not, some of which were already played and final. We'll start with 6A. Zach Wolchuk, what's going on? Friday high school games, even the ones that were played earlier.
Well, if you want to start with 6A action, I think last night there was quite the game. Do you want last night or do you want today?
I want today.
Only? Okay.
We'll talk about Thursday here in a moment.
Today, Plano East and McKinney Boyd are scheduled to kick off here shortly. They have not kicked off. That we talked about that Euless Trinity John Tyler game. That one was gone ahead and rained out. Otherwise, in 6A action, there's not a ton going on right now. There's a 5A score that we could talk about if you want.
Well, I was kind of wanting you to talk about the noon games, Saxe and Wiley.
You want Saxe and Wiley? Okay,
Yeah.
so Saxe and Wiley, 43-27. Saxe got the win over Wiley. And that was a big win for Saxe because both those teams came in winless on the year, and Saxe's played a really tough non-district slate so far. They're now 1-3. They got a big win to start things off. It looks like Donovan Ollie, my guy, though.
Your guy. Yeah, he is your guy.
He is. Donovan Ollie, the wide receiver for Wiley, had another outstanding game, kept them in it, but it was Eric's guy, Hunter Spears.
Boom. What did he do, Wolchuk? Tell the people.
Sniffed out a screen pass, picked it off. Rumble, big man. Rumble scored a nice 23-yard touchdown.
Was it a Peisman type of touchdown?
Was it a Peisman?
You know what that is?
No.
It's a big man touchdown, a big man award.
Really?
Peisman. The Peisman.
Because
You've never heard because he eats a lot of pie. Peisman.
But how do you know
you've never heard of
How
this?
do you know he likes pie?
Everybody likes pie.
It's not actually true. Some
It
people
is
don't
totally
like pie.
true.
I love pie. I'm a big
Ice
pie
cream
guy, as
pie.
you can clearly tell.
Yeah, Wolchuk is a big pie guy.
Peisman. I've
I'm
never
a
heard that before.
Peisman,
I've never
apparently.
heard Peisman.
I've never heard
pretty
Peisman.
good.
I actually did hear about Cakesman, though. Peisman threw me off.
I've never heard of a cakesman.
I've heard of a cake eater.
Saxe Wiley.
But Saxe Wiley, Hunter Spears, the Notre Dame defensive lineman, ended up sealing the deal for Saxe.
Golden
Big
Domer.
win for them moving forward. They've got a matchup coming up next week. Garland takes on Wiley. And then for Saxe, they play Garland, Naaman, and Forrest. So they're getting that ball rolling in district play between Saxe and Wiley. I think Saxe is going to end up being a playoff team. And I've thought so all year, despite their non-district output. I know it was disappointing, but they've got a lot of talent. I think they're a pretty complete football team. We know about the talent they've got on defense. That offense finally got clicking. And that game kicked off at noon today.
Yeah, that was a noon kickoff. And We saw a couple of those, North Garland and Garland Lakeview Centennial. That was also a noon kickoff, and that game ended up in favor of North Garland, 41-14 over Garland Lakeview Centennial. But 2 games today being played at noon because of the weather, at least in 6A. I think there might have been a couple more other than that, but you've got to think about that. How trippy is that on a Friday, a school day, playing in the middle of the day?
And especially Lakeview Centennial. They come in with a highly touted quarterback, and obviously this isn't a game that anyone favored them or said that they would lose. And so to see them lose this game has everything to do with the time that they played it. So, I mean, this weather, these game changes have definitely started to affect some of these teams.
So the game that you're talking about, North Garland knocks off Garland Lakeview Centennial.
Exactly.
Yes. 41-14
no
was
one
the final
picked,
there.
North Garland in that game, period. So
the Garland schools, they're interesting this year. I mean,
absolutely.
You've had North Garland, South Garland. I mean, I think it's South Garland has gotten off to one of their best starts that they've had in 10-plus years. So who really knows? That's a jumbled mess right there with the Garland schools. I think as we move on into the year, things will start to even out. But right now, it's a big win for the North Garland Raiders.
We know Naaman Forest is not good.
Yeah, Naaman Forest is not
good.
Hey.
Oh. Hey.
We know Mrs. Hek'ma Harrison.
Mrs. Harrison.
We can be realistic. I don't think my alma mater is very good this year either.
We know your alma mater is not very good.
I don't think Plano's very good. So Lincoln's not very good. I think Northwest is actually pretty solid.
Hey,
they're decent. Midway's not a bad club. So we can be realistic here and still be fair. We can be fans of Naaman Forest. It just doesn't mean that they're.
I'm pulling for them.
They're a good team this year. We're supportive.
Flag core, yo.
No lack of support.
I think they can
here.
turn it around.
Battle of the Bands.
I thought you called it flag guard last week.
No, flag core.
Flag core.
He might have said flag guard, but it's
maybe
color
you said
guard.
flag guard.
Color
I thought
guard.
it was flag guard. It's color guard.
Color guard is what
you
it
guard
is
the
called.
colors. You don't guard the flags.
Exactly. But that is a rundown of some of the games that are going on right now.
Yeah, I apologize. There's just not with the weather delays. A lot of the action was from last night. Right now, live, aside from those 2 games that were played, and 6A, it's pretty bare, my friend. We're hoping Plano West and Jesuit get going, and we're hoping Plano East and McKinney Boyd get going.
There is Haltom at North Mesquite. Haltom is currently leading 14-3. That's with 11:27 left in the second quarter, and that, as of right now, is the only game left. Plano East and McKinney Boyd is in a lightning delay. We do have a reporter there. Guy Frazier is on the scene at McKinney Boyd. Some other games, Jesuit, Plano West delayed. El Paso, Pebble Hills, San Angelo Central, even though those teams are outside of our district, but San Angelo Central's kind of intertwined with a couple of those teams. That game is being delayed as well.
I think that's awesome, by the way, that San Angelo Central is now playing up here with some of these DFW teams. That's been a school that's been really, really good. They've made it 3 or 4 rounds deep the last few years in the playoffs. Watch out for San Angelo Central.
Yeah, you're exactly right. But we are going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to go through some of the Thursday scores from last night. A lot of our highlighted games that were originally going to be played tonight on Friday will then be, or were moved to Thursday. So we'll talk about those on the other side of the break here on Whataburger Friday Night Star.
You know those little pins you push in a map? The ones that show you all the places you've traveled to? Well, thanks to American Airlines, you're about to run out of pins. With the most destinations of any airline in the world, American brings you closer to your next trip, wherever it is on the map. So, get ready to explore some new points of interest. The most destinations of any airline in the world. That's American Airlines. Pins not included.
Backpack shorts and sneakers. Helmets, shoulder pads, knee pads, and cleats. Adidas and JanSport, Under Armour and Nike. Hoodies, jerseys, leggings, and shoes.
Start your back-to-school season for less with our head-to-toe selection of sports essentials for under $30 and top brands and footwear under $60. Academy Sports and Outdoors, for all for less.
Ever wonder what it's like to play for the Dallas Cowboys?
We scratch, we claw, we fight.
To sit in the same locker room as your favorite Cowboys players. To run into the end zone.
Touchdown, Cowboys!
You could do all that and more when you tour AT&T Stadium. Play on the field, see the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders' locker room, and gain access to areas where fans are never allowed on game day. It's all possible with AT&T Stadium Tours, presented by SeatGeek. Tours are available daily. Visit attstadium.com for details.
It's true. Everything's better when the Cowboys win, especially Papa John's Pizza. New this season, every time the Cowboys win, you get 50% off regular menu price pizzas the next day at papajohns.com. That's half-price pizzas with promo code CowboysWin. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, official pizza of your Dallas Cowboys. Limited time offer. Not valid with any other coupons or discounts. Prices, participation, delivery area, and charges may vary.
This is the Pepsi that your father drank and your grandfather drank.
When I was your age, we worked for.
And your grandmother, she drank it too before she met him.
That was quite the catch, you know.
We know. This is the Pepsi that your Uncle Ted drank when rock sounded like this. And the one he drinks now that rock sounds like this. This is the Pepsi for American pastimes. Whether you're tailgating at a speedway or courtside watching your favorite player make a breakaway.
Shoots, and he scores!
It even goes well with away games. This is the Pepsi that was made for your mom's famous 5-alarm chili. You know, the one she refuses to give the recipe to.
Never gonna happen.
Don't worry, your secret's safe with us. This is the Pepsi that makes you say, hee, ba, 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 and baby. This is the Pepsi for those who are forever fun. This is the Pepsi for every generation.
Welcome to your hometown Whataburger. We make sure that our customers get their order hot and fresh.
I ordered the original Whataburger.
I got the number 2 Whataburger double, and I got bacon on it because everyone loves bacon.
We don't make it until you order it.
Their ingredients are so fresh, and you can taste it. Tomato, lettuce, and the onions all the time is fresh.
We cut our vegetables 3 times a day.
They gave me a hot and fresh burger the way I like it, so I'm happy.
Your hometown Whataburger. Serving it hot and fresh all day, every day.
Dr. Pepper is the one you crave. But how do you explain that craving?
Imagine a surging river of ice-cool Dr. Pepper, roaring with carbonated mists of desire. You're dangling above it, upside down, like a fishing lure in the wind. 23 flavors tickle your nose, but the river is too far away to taste. Dr. Pepper calls to you. You.
Now that is a Dr. Pepper craving. Dr. Pepper, the one you crave.
Tour the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco. VIP guided tours give Cowboys fans an inside look at the place where the Dallas...
Back here on Whataburger Friday Night Stars, we're live from the Star in Frisco, Texas, home to the Dallas Cowboys headquarters. And tonight it's your headquarters for Friday Night Football. Friday Night Lights covered up by some of the clouds and some of the rain falling as a lot of games were moved from Friday to Thursday, including some of the premier matchups in the entire North Texas area. A lot of the top teams in the state, a lot of the state championship contenders having to adjust midweek in order to try and get their games in ahead of the weather. And one of those games will start off. We're going to go through all of the highlighted games that we originally had that were on Friday, but then were moved to Thursday. But we're going to start off with Allen, the number 1 ranked team in the state, against Plano. They host the Plano Wildcats. This one, and Zach, I'm going to let you go with it as a Plano alum.
Oh, man.
I know it's painful. It really is. But 49-14, the Allen Eagles flex their muscles yet again. Is this a surprise to see what Allen's been able to do again?
No. It's definitely not a surprise.
No.
What pain is worse? Is it the physical pain or is it the emotional pain?
It's more like we've become numb to it. It's now 13 straight years since Plano's been able to beat Allen. They haven't really been close since 2012 when they knocked off, or they were within 1 point. It was a 2-point conversion try, and they lost to Allen 35-34. So you see it here, 49-14 the final. Allen up on Plano, and I'll tell you what, this was a game that was shockingly 7-7.
Yeah,
going
early.
into the second quarter.
Exactly.
Wow.
It was
I
delayed.
had hope for you.
No, yeah, and Plano came out and they played good defense. They forced a couple of turnovers on downs from Allen.
Hope started flowing through Walchuk's veins.
Kyron Cumby, my guy who I'll talk about a little bit, scored a touchdown, and it's 7-7. And then all of a sudden, here comes Grant Tisdale. And it was 28-7 at halftime. Allen scores 2 touchdowns within 90 seconds of each other. And it's 28-7. And everything just completely went haywire from there. The second half, Plano couldn't get anything going. They are a run-first team. And I think they had
almost 300 yards rushing.
32 attempts for 34 yards.
Oh, my.
That is how bad it was. And you got to give a lot of credit to that Allen front seven. They did an outstanding job. The rushing just was not quite there for Plano. They actually switched quarterbacks in the second half, going from senior Cole Winnett to sophomore Oliver Towns. So that's something. I mean, we can talk about that moving forward. What is Allen going to do what is Plano going to do with the quarterback position? But for Allen, though, it comes down to their depth.
Business as usual?
I mean, it was business as usual, and they had a ton of receivers get involved. And Andrew Henry, who we've mentioned week to week, he's out for the year. He's had to have knee surgery.
Jeez.
And they just didn't skip a beat. I mean, Keldon Manning scored the first touchdown for Allen. They are so deep. Theo Weiss did his thing. I think the finishing stat line for Kyron Cumby, who ended up having more production as a receiver than a running back in this game. 14 carries, 22 yards, and he did have that touchdown. But man, it was a long day. It was a long day at the office.
One of the things that I just see that Allen has is that big play ability. They were kind of stagnant the first quarter, and then all of a sudden they break one for 10 yards. Then they come back with another 52-yard run. And Plano, to their credit, they played some safety high, some two safeties, tried to get them in a zone, and I think they kind of threw Allen off a little bit because they came with a different wrinkle. Once they figured it out, it was back to the law firm. Tisdale. They went right down. They went right back to what they did before. I think the one play that I wanted to, it was a 52-yard pass for Theo Weiss, and it was like a wide receiver screen. He catches it, and he was gone. And does it again, man. The guy doesn't look like he's moving that fast, and everybody else is just moving a little bit slower than him.
Yeah.
But this guy's an exceptional talent. But the one thing that it truly is amazing about Allen is Tisdale's ability to throw these guys open. He seems to have that ball on the rope. I mean, he's slinging that pork all over the field.
He's the real deal. And he was super efficient, 18 of 25, 215 yards and 3 touchdowns, and I think he was able to basically take the second half off.
Exactly.
One of the big things, though, you look at the points per game in terms of Plano actually has an advantage over the season on top of Allen, which is surprising with 38 points per game.
Well, they had 72 points against El Paso Eastwood, and that skews things a little bit.
But one of the big things that you look at is defensive points per game in terms of Plano, 33 points given up per game, and then 6 on Allen's side. That Allen defense is dirty, and they like to definitely slow it down. You looked at the rushing yards for Plano. That was one of the big keys to that game, only having 34 yards on the ground. That's a big thing, but it's a challenge for anybody to try and stop that Allen offense because, like you said, of the weapons and the depth that they have. And we have one of the guys who was tabbed with doing that last night, Kelton Reed, the Plano defensive back coach. And Kelton, you're a good friend of Mr. Zach Wolchuk, who's sitting across the table from me. Kyle Yeoman's here. But first off, tell us about last night and how tough it is to try and slow down that Allen Eagle offense.
Well, I mean, we all know what Allen brings to the table. They've been a powerhouse for some years now, and just they have a lot of depth at every position. I mean, the O-line is big. They have talented receivers. Their quarterback, like you said, Tisdale is an amazing player. But the running back is very good as well. I mean, it's just you have to kind of almost pick your poison in a sense. And sometimes we were just kind of misaligned. And playing against a team like that, you can't do that. And they'll definitely take advantage of it. So, yeah.
Kelton, Zach here. I kind of want to ask you a little bit about what was it like the week of preparation, having the game moved up from a Friday to a Thursday midweek. Did you guys have to change some things on the fly?
We changed up what we do on our Wednesday. Usually Wednesday might be a little bit of a longer practice for us, not so as much as Tuesday or Monday, but kind of a little bit more mental work and things like that. And we kind of moved up from kind of took our Thursday and moved it to a Wednesday, which took a day away from work took a day away from us to prepare a little bit. But I mean, we still had the game plan set in stone, and we knew what we wanted to do. But like you said, playing against a team like Allen, you can't really make it many mistakes like that and don't take advantage because they are so talented and have so much depth on their team that they'll just kind of take what they get from you, and if you give them too much, they'll definitely run with it.
Hey, Coach, this is Hek'ma Harrison. Look, I know that you guys do a lot of preparation. This is a district game, so you know these guys well. Was there anything that they brought to the table in the game that kind of surprised you, or was it, literally what you saw on film and they just kind of continue with that?
There might have been a few formations that they had different from the backfield than what we had seen. They had a lot of kind of H-back sets a little bit. We didn't see too much of that in the film that we had. But, we knew they wanted to get it to number 10, Wise, and he's a talented receiver out there, so I think he'll do some big things on Saturdays. But we saw what they wanted to do. They came out what we expected, but like we said, it's just a team that you can't make too many mistakes against because they'll run away with it from you. And I think we prepared very well, and we hung with them that first quarter, and then we kind of, I guess, relaxed a little bit. But against a team like that, you can't take any plays off or take a quarter off, definitely.
Coach, obviously you're the defensive backs coach, so you had the task of figuring out how to stop that passing offense of Allen with Tisdale and Weiss. Did you guys do anything different? Did you guys disguise things? Were you guys doubling Weiss? Obviously he's one of the best receivers, not only in the state but in the country. How did you guys go about trying to defend him, and really did it work?
I say it didn't work too well because, the kid had a great game. But, we didn't try to skew our schemes too much or get too much away from what we like to do. Usually we put our best defensive back on him, and he made a great play when they did it through a jump ball in the corner of the end zone on him. But like we said, he's a great receiver, runs great routes, and has good hands. So you have to kind of stay on your P's and Q's with a kid like that, because if you take off one play, he'll make you pay for it. And like I said, one of our corners had him on coverage,
right?
But he took a quick peek inside, and they gave him enough time and opportunity to get open and score a touchdown. So we knew what we kind of had to do a little bit. We had a few things planned for him to hopefully give a little bit of help over man coverage with a little bit of safety help, things like that. But, we kind of came in, knew what we wanted to do. We didn't change too much. It was just we kind of just misexecuted a few plays here and there, and they make you pay for it.
Right. And so, Coach, and so here's the thing. I'm watching the game, and I just want to know your opinion on the spread offense. I'm one of those people, man. I'm a traditionalist. I can tell you I hate the spread offense, but I see ways that defenses can kind of interrupt these passes because they're truly only running 2 or 3 passes or routes at a time, go route, right, seam route, back route, and comeback routes. And so I seen at the beginning of the game, you guys are kind of in a cover one, like you said, safety high, where you were going man to man, and a lot of people are not doing that. So that was a new new wrinkle for you guys. But again, the discipline part of it for your defensive backs, and going forward with looking at Allen, what do you think is going to be the scheme that imminently beats these guys?
You can scheme it up all you want, really, but at the end of the day, you have to execute that scheme, execute your plan.
That's right.
You have to line up correctly. You have to not take plays off. You have to know that every play you're going to bring your all.
That's right.
And know that you can't really give them much because they are such a good team. If you give them a little bit, they'll take advantage of it and make you pay for it tremendously.
That's right.
Kelton Reed, cornerbacks coach for Plano Senior High, joining us here on Friday Night Stars. Kelton, being Plano alumni, we've got a rich tradition at the running back spot. And, you look with Rex Burkhead, who I know you got to play with, Brandon Stevens recently, and now we got Kyron Cumbie back there. How special is Kyron Cumbie?
I remember last year when I was watching them on TV, and I was like, who is this number 2? Like, the kid could play. And seeing him every day out at practice, seeing him in games, you kind of just see how special and talented he is. He holds the school record for the 100-yard meter dash, so the kid has some jets. And, he's a hard-working kid, good kid, has a great attitude about everything. Just seeing how special he is, he's definitely Division I talented. The kid can go as far as he wants to because, he has the tools. He has a lot of dynamics to bring to the game of football, whether it's an offense, special teams. You get the ball in his hands in wildcat formation out in the screen pass. The kid can take a 2-yard route and take it 60 yards. So, the kid is special for sure, and I just know that he's going to do big things on Saturdays next year.
Kelton, moving ahead to next week, big rivalry game against Plano West. What are you looking for to improve upon and get that first district win?
Really just looking forward to improving upon just staying technically sound, not taking plays off. It's a rivalry game, so we know that West is going to be up for it just like we are, and we have to just kind of trust the scheme that we're going to come up with, trust our planning, trust our techniques, and kind of just really know that we have to lock it in for all 4 quarters of the game because, like we said, football is 60 minutes, and you can't play one half of one quarter. You have to play the full game. And we really just want to focus, get back to our technique a little bit. We kind of got out of whack sometimes against Allen last night, I saw. And we really just kind of want to be able to, when the bullets are flying, rely on your technique because technique is what's going to save you at the end of the day.
Yeah, definitely so, Coach. Coach, thanks for joining us, and good luck next week in the rivalry game against Plano West. We'll look forward to talking to you again soon.
Oh, thank you for having me, and I look forward to it as well.
Kelton Reed, the Plano defensive back coach. A tough matchup yesterday as there's our live audience chiming in. But overall,
I was nervous he wouldn't want to come on because, I mean, after a game like that. But Kelton is an unbelievable guy. He played himself, got to play in
He's got the knowledge,
well,
for
no
sure.
doubt about it. And a first-year coach at Plano Senior High. He's one of the up-and-coming guys in the business.
Yeah, no, he definitely knows his stuff. And, I mean, you even look at it, and I hate to even bring up the yardage in terms of Allen giving up 230 yards passing, but against Allen, that's not that bad. That's not a bad number. In high school football, you expect it, especially with the number 1 team in the country, you expect it to be upwards of 300 yards, 350, especially with the guys like Tisdale and the guys like Weiss and guys like that on the outside that they can use those weapons to throw the football. And that's not necessarily the case. They had more rushing yards than they did passing yards last night. So you got to credit the Plano West secondary in order to shut that down. But
Plano Senior High.
Sorry. Yeah, I said Plano West.
Please do not confuse
no,
us
I
with
said Plano West earlier because that's the matchup that Plano Senior High has.
What's more offensive, being confused with Plano West or Plano East?
Plano West.
Okay.
Plano East, hey, they play good football. Plano West.
I'm actually looking forward to some Plano East versus Allen here in a few weeks.
Yeah, we can get more into that district in a little bit. How about that?
Hey, so you said you were against spreads in high school football, but
Hek'ma is.
Oh, I thought you said you were.
No, Hek'ma and I are both traditionalists offensively, but I'm not against the spread offense.
No. Spreads in terms of scores.
Oh, yes, I am.
I was about to say, wow.
I
thought Walchuk was just
hating
on
talking about it.
Hey,
you and I are on the same page.
We were just X's and O's, and all of a sudden you want to bring up gambling.
Your boys, the Plano Wildcats, are favored by 36 over Plano West next week.
Hey, I told you guys last week, Plano West is about to go 2 years without winning a football game, so that might have something to do with it. 36 points, though, I would take West to cover. That's going to be a closer game than 36 points.
So maybe
it's a rivalry game.
So maybe they need to put a lock around like a soda machine or something like that, like they did in Cleveland last night.
Oh, yeah. That'd be fun.
Yeah,
That'd be pretty
Cleveland.
good.
Hey, how about that? The last time we had a show, the Cleveland Browns, since then, the Cleveland Browns have won a football game.
Yeah, Plano West and the Cleveland Browns. Very similar right now, trying to break those streaks.
I put that?
Waco University.
I like what you did there, Hek'ma.
Yeah, Waco University. Well, they've won a game too, so they've been able to do that
in the last 4 years.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll get back with the second hour of Friday Night Stars here from the Star in Frisco. When we come back, we're going to look at Denton Ryan, West Mesquite, some Garland, Naaman, Forest, your boys Hek'ma, and Rowlett, South Garland, and McKinney, and Prosper. 4 games. We're going to go through them next when we come back here on Whataburger Friday Night Stars.
This is the Pepsi that your father drank and your grandfather drank.
When I was your age, we worked for.
And your grandmother, she drank it too before she met him.
That was quite the catch, you know.
We know. This is the Pepsi that your Uncle Ted drank when rock sounded like this. And the one he drinks now that rock sounds like this. This is the Pepsi for American pastimes. Whether you're tailgating at a speedway or courtside watching your favorite player make a breakaway.
And he scores!
It even goes well with away games. This is the Pepsi that was made for your mom's famous 5-alarm chili. You know, the one she refuses to give the recipe to?
Never gonna happen.
Don't worry, your secret's safe with us. This is the Pepsi that makes you say, hee, ba, 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 and baby. This is the Pepsi for those who are forever fun. This is the Pepsi for every generation.
Welcome to your hometown Whataburger. We make sure that our customers get their order hot and fresh.
I ordered the original Whataburger.
I got the number 2 Whataburger double, and I got bacon on it because everyone loves bacon.
We don't make it until you order it.
Their ingredients are so fresh, and you can taste it. Tomato, lettuce, and the onions all the time is fresh.
We cut our vegetables 3 times a day.
They gave me a hot and fresh burger the way I like it, so I'm happy.
Your hometown Whataburger, serving it hot and fresh all day, every day.
Tour the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco. VIP guided tours give Cowboys fans an inside look at the place where the Dallas Cowboys train and work. Fans have the opportunity to see the Cowboys' state-of-the-art war room, grand atrium, a display of all 5 Super Bowl trophies and rings, and more. Connect with the Cowboys in ways you never imagined. VIP guided tours are available daily. Get your tour tickets now at thestarinfrisco.com. That's thestarinfrisco.com.
It's true. Everything's better when the Cowboys win, especially Papa John's Pizza. New this season, every time the Cowboys win, you get 50% off regular menu price pizzas the next day at papajohns.com. That's half-price pizzas with promo code CowboysWin. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, official pizza of your Dallas Cowboys. Limited time offer, not valid with any other coupons or discounts. Prices, participation, delivery area, and charges may vary.
Dr. Pepper is the one you crave. But how do you explain that craving?
Imagine a surging river of ice-cold Dr. Pepper, roaring with carbonated mists of desire. You're dangling above it, upside down, like a fishing lure in the wind. 23 flavors tickle your nose, but the river is too far away to taste. Dr. Pepper calls to you. You.
Now that is a Dr. Pepper craving. Dr. Pepper, the one you crave.
Located at Dallas Cowboys Headquarters at the Star in Frisco, Cowboys Fit offers a comprehensive gym experience with over 60,000 square feet of workout space, personal training, group fitness classes, a heated rooftop pool, and luxury amenities, including the same state-of-the-art equipment used in the Dallas Cowboys team facility. A dedicated recovery lounge featuring hydro massage and cryotherapy, a health and nutrition bar, and so much more. For more information or to join, visit cowboysfit.com.
You know those little pins you push in a map? The ones that show you all the places you've traveled to? Well, thanks to American Airlines, you're about to run out of pins. With the most destinations of any airline in the world, American brings you closer to your next trip, wherever it is on the map. So, get ready to explore some new points of interest. The most destinations of any airline in the world. That's American Airlines. Pins not included.
Backpack shorts and sneakers. Helmets, shoulder pads, knee pads, and cleats. Adidas and JanSport, Under Armour and Nike. Hoodies, jerseys, leggings, and shoes.
Start your back-to-school season for less with our head-to-toe selection of sports essentials for under $30 and top brands and footwear under $60. Academy Sports and Outdoors, for all for less.
Ever wonder what it's like to play for the Dallas Cowboys?
We scratch, we claw, we fight.
To sit in the same locker room as your favorite Cowboys players. To run into the end zone.
Touchdown, Cowboys!
You can do all that and more when you tour AT&T Stadium. Play on the field. See the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders' locker room and gain access to areas where fans are never allowed on game day. It's all possible with AT&T Stadium Tours. Presented by SeatGeek. Tours are available daily. Visit attstadium.com for details.
Of Friday Night Stars is continuing here from the Star in Frisco. That's one of my favorite things to say coming back from break. The Friday Night Stars from the Star with the star in the background.
Oh, man, having the stars everywhere.
It's pretty cool.
It's kind of my favorite.
Cool. You're a lifelong Cowboys fan. I'm
Yes,
a lifelong Cowboys fan.
Miami Dolphins, baby.
Miami Dolphins, sorry.
2-0.
Always.
Hek'ma, always a Cowboys fan. So for everybody here except for Eric, who will be replaced by this time next week.
Well, the Cowboys are your second favorite team.
Are they?
I would say so.
Yeah.
I would
Okay.
say so.
Well, that's a nice, at least,
I pull for
runner-up.
He's just got Miami lineage. I wouldn't host a podcast with him if he didn't at least like the Cowboys a little bit.
That's fair, I guess. Okay, so you do host a podcast. That's pretty cool. We'll talk
Nosebleed
about it
Seats.
later. We'll plug it, I guess.
Nosebleed Seats podcast available on Apple.
It's not as good as the Yeoman's Work podcast. No, y'all's podcast show is outstanding.
You've been on our podcast.
I've been a longtime fan of the Nosebleed Seats. I've been there from the beginning.
You're a friend of the show.
I am a friend of the show,
Rental
but we are
discretion
on the
advised.
same show here, and now it's time to go through a lot of those Thursday games that were rescheduled. And Zach, I'm going to start things off. Denton Ryan and Wes Mesquite. Denton Ryan's been a team throughout at least the course of the 2018 season so far, that's not necessarily looked as good as we thought. A team that's kind of got offensively. Defense has been fine, but offensively, not necessarily.
The defense has been fine.
More than fine.
They've been outstanding.
Well, 16.5 points allowed per game on the season.
How many points have they scored as a defense? So
16.5 points allowed per game on the season's not good?
No, it is good.
Very good.
I'm not saying anything bad about
my goodness.
it.
Why are you slandering
You guys are
Ryan's defense?
really just twisting my words here.
Yeah,
but
it's on us.
Honestly,
the Denton Ryan
can
offense has struggled, only 27 points per game, but they put up a big number last night, 38 against a pretty decent West Mesquite team, still on the road, and it's a big-time win for the Raiders at Mesquite Memorial Stadium.
Yeah, well, so Denton Ryan, number 3 team in the 5A state AP rankings coming on into this one, and they're a team that's been knocking on the door for a state championship for the last few years now. They get the big win last night, 38-3, the final. And again, the offense struggled. Ian Hennigan, 6 of 9 through the air.
Okay, so they're going with Hennigan still at quarterback.
Yes, it is still Hennigan, although Drew Sanders is playing both ways. Really, they've got a lot of guys playing both ways. So Billy Bowman Jr., who had another fumble recovery for a touchdown. He had 2 pick sixes a couple weeks ago. Has a fumble recovery for a touchdown. The defense scored twice, forced 3 turnovers. Scores twice.
Did Sanders get any action at quarterback?
I don't know if he got action at quarterback.
Okay. He did it running back.
He did it running back. He scored a touchdown rushing. I think that was Ryan's first touchdown of the game. Really, it was Amani Bailey, though, that I think sparked the offense. They got that run game going. And anytime that your game travels, right, they play good defense and they can run the football. They will need improvement at the quarterback position if they want to go deep into the playoffs. But this is a team that can keep winning games within that district. Just doing this formula that they're doing right now. Amani Bailey, 2 rushing touchdowns, 85 yards on 10 carries. So a good night for him, and that was important for Ryan to get him going.
That's
because
efficient right there, man.
They're clearly struggling to throw the football.
Now, I called you in the middle of that game yesterday because it didn't look nice, man.
Was it a FaceTime call?
No, I didn't.
Oh, just over the phone.
You don't have to lie. It was definitely a FaceTime call.
Both Hennigans saw action at quarterback. Both Ian Hennigan and Seth both saw considerable action. Ian, there's 2 Hennigans.
Both the sons of Dave Hennigan, their head coach.
But Ian went 6 for 9 for 67 yards or for 79 yards.
Just gave that stat line.
Yes, and then Seth went 2 for 4 for 50. Did you give that stat line?
No, I did not.
I think so.
I do love the
I left
Hennigans.
that one for you.
Thank you.
Now, anytime you're only throwing for 100 yards in a game, granted, you're up that entire game, so you're not really out here just trying to sling the ball. But yeah, that number is going to have to go up. You would think in order for them to talk about state title contention, that defense is going to get them good enough. I would say fairly deep into the playoffs, no doubt about it. But absolutely, the quarterback position, the passing as a whole, that's got to improve.
It definitely does.
In order to beat the upper echelon top 2-3 teams in the state, no doubt.
One of the big reasons why they had success putting up points was because of those turnovers.
Yeah, I just want to say, man, Denton Ryan's defense, like you said, the one thing that does travel is a running game and your defense. God bless their defense because they definitely kept them in this game. The numbers-wise, looking at this game on paper, this is a game that Denton Ryan shouldn't have won 38-3. I guess West Mesquite just shot themselves in the foot on a lot of their drives, stalled out. They had to punt the ball. But, I mean, just look at the numbers here. I mean, 234 on off to 220. This is total offense. I mean, as far as penalties, they're almost even first downs. Even West Mesquite has 4 more first downs than Denton Ryan. So that's a game that realistically you think West Mesquite wins that game.
Those two defensive touchdowns, man, that swings the game out of balance, every single time. You're right. 2 touchdowns off of that, and you're looking at a little bit of a different game there for sure.
Yeah, and you look at the defense just putting up 3 points against a West Mesquite team. That's hard to do in high school football.
And they're
3 points and 0 points.
Yes.
That's a tough thing.
And they shut out, earlier in the year, their defense has just been outstanding. You look at their district, though. They've got district games coming up against Grapevine and Colleyville Heritage. So those are 2 teams that can put up some points. Those will be the test games.
I think we'll have some reporters at those games.
Yes. How do they fare? The rest of that district, though, I mean, they'll make the playoffs easy. They'll be one of those top 4 teams. But those are the 2 teams that I think might be able to knock off Ryan in the district standings. They've got a rivalry game next week against Denton High. And that's an offense that's also struggling in their own right.
Yeah, let's move on to some of these Garland schools that we kind of alluded to a little bit earlier, starting with Garland, Naaman Forest, and Rowlett. And Hek'ma.
That wasn't my game.
It wasn't your game,
he's
but
just apologizing.
I'm just apologizing for Naaman
It's like, boy,
Forest.
I'm about to be under the bus right now.
No, Eric, tell me.
I'm just gonna hug the muffler.
That wasn't my game. I'm not prepared.
No, that wasn't me. That wasn't
Oh
me.
man, but they took the L last night. This is a good Rowlett football team, but
It is.
Garland, Naaman Forest has struggled this year. They continue those struggles last night, Eric.
Yeah, they really do. They're having struggled scoring the football, and last night was no different. Only 14 points that entire game, but they didn't even score the
Most
first
of those
points
came
until
toward the
third
end
quarter.
of that third quarter.
Exactly. They were shut out at halftime, and really the story of this game is turnovers and special teams. You're talking about 5 turnovers that Naaman Forest gave up, 4 of those fumbles, 1 of those being an interception, and 2 of those being consecutive back-to-back botched punts, which led to 2 quick, easy scores for Rowlett, and that really got things going for them. And they didn't look back after that. Rowlett just really put it on them. And Naaman Forest is just they're just struggling this year, man. They really can't score the ball. And like Walchuk said, they had a lot of returning guys. We were a little bit surprised when you look at the roster of you wouldn't expect this team to be sort of as bad as they've been. And man, they just keep kind of not showing up. So Rowlett, big victory for them. And man, Naaman Forest is just one of those teams that if they get just a couple of wins, it'll be
And they've got a Thursday night showdown coming up against Saxe. I think that could be a get-well game for Saxe as well. I know they got a win today against Wiley, but they've got a chance to really start to build some momentum if they can take advantage of that Naaman Forest.
Yeah, when you got a matchup against Naaman Forest right now, you don't want it to be a rain cancellation, a lightning delay. This is sort of a tune-up game.
We are really just beating down the poor Rangers
Let's
right
look
now.
let's look on the other side for the Rangers. This is a really good Rowlett football team.
Yeah.
They've had some big wins in weeks 1 through 4. You look at week 1, they take down McKinney Boyd 45-21. They take down Plano in week 3 24-17. Their week 2 matchup canceled against Rockwall. That's a game that I wish that happened. Exactly, because if that game wouldn't have been canceled, you'd have a much, much better look at how good this Rowlett Eagle team could be. And right now, they put it on Naaman Forest. They've put it on a couple of those other teams. That McKinney Boyd win is sticking out in my mind because of how much they were able to kind of handle McKinney Boyd, who I think is still a pretty good Bronco football team.
That Plano win, I thought Plano would knock off Rowlett last week. I felt pretty comfortable about that.
It was a little bit closer.
Plano ran all over them a year ago, and that defense really stepped up and played well. They're playing really well defensively, and I think that's the improvement. We knew Rowlett would be able to put up some points. How would that defense play?
And Rowlett's defense came in. They played lights out, 5 takeaways versus Naaman Forest. And so I think, again, going back to that Rockwall game, if that game had been played, that's one that for just as far as that area, the power rankings in that area, I think Rowlett is definitely poised to take down Rockwall, but they didn't get a chance in the cancellation.
And they've got a good shot to win District 10-6A.
Yes.
I had Saxe penciled in as the district champion there, but Rowlett's got a chance. That's a huge game next week.
Yeah, it is going to be a really good game.
Whenever they play Saxe, it's Naaman Forest will play Saxe.
Yes, but that is going to be a tough game to look forward to. But this is a rivalry game we're going to go to next. South Garland and Garland.
Yes,
Hek'ma,
sir.
I believe this is your game.
It's my game. And let me tell you guys, South Garland for a little while now has been running this showdown or this matchup with Garland. The Garland Owls have historically been a team in that district who has completely ran everyone else out of the district. Some really famous alumnus, Akeem Talib, played for the Garland Owls.
I thought he played Richardson Bergner.
No.
No? Okay.
No.
Geez, they were really airing it out in that game last night, weren't they?
Yeah, well, both.
Less than 30 yards passing combined.
Oh, my goodness.
Good God. I don't know if I've ever seen that.
Listen, guys, both of these defenses come in giving up 300 yards apiece. So not a lot of defense getting played at all. But Coach Ragsdale's guys, man, in South Garland, they came in 2-1 and had beat some pretty good teams. And Garland came in, hadn't won a game, 0-2, so everyone was pretty much thinking that Garland was going to lay down for South Garland. Not the case. That was definitely I want to talk about this one guy, man, that is definitely Mr. Everything for the Garland Owls. It's not Garland Owls, South Grand Prairie, South Garland. I'm spitting all over myself here. Jacarian Turner. I just murdered his name. JT.
I like that. We can just call him
That'll work.
JT.
South Garland's guy, man, he is Mr. Everything for him. I'm telling you, they can't do much without him. This guy was everything for him, but Garland wouldn't let him have it. I mean, Garland has 2 guys, Devontae Thomas and Monty Miller, 2 running back. Their running back tandem completely turn the tide on this game. It was pretty close starting out, right about 14-7 first quarter, and then all of a sudden Garland just turned it on. The Owls turned it on and just kind of ran them out. 28-21, not indicative of how close the game was, but yardage-wise, on the ground, the Garland Owls definitely ran them.
Yeah, they definitely did. You look at the 302 yards rushing. I mean, like you said, Eric, they didn't necessarily
penalties. Look at the penalties. There are 7 penalties for South Garland, just 3 for Garland. Garland played a very disciplined football game, and ultimately, I think that's what got them the win.
And the 3 turnovers for South Garland.
Definitely,
Obviously, that's gonna,
no doubt. The turnovers are going to switch things, especially in a game close like that. I think South Garland coming into that one, I felt was the better squad, and I expected them to win that football game. But Garland. Discipline and forcing turnovers, that's how you win.
I would say the 17 yards passing didn't help them much either.
No,
but the other team only threw for 9.
Well,
Garland only threw for 9.
JT, I'm going to call him JT.
Yeah.
The guy is, I mean, he's literally all South Garland has. I mean, he's throwing the ball, rushing. He does everything.
He's not throwing it very far.
No, I mean, not a lot, but I mean any attempt, that's it. He's the guy that they have. But the other running backs for the Garland Owls, these guys definitely maintain the ball control. They didn't have a lot of penalties. Not that they played error-free football, but they definitely
I just want to get this completely straight. So Garland had a total of 9 more yards passing than all of us did combined last night, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
That is correct.
So the game went pretty quick,
and they
guys.
still won the football game.
That's true.
They still won the
football
game. Before we move on to this next game, I want to add a little bit more fuel to the Zach Wilczek and Hek'ma rivalry on the end of the table.
We have a rivalry?
Aqib Talib did play at Richardson-Berkner. He did not play at Garland.
Come at me, bro.
He went to Garland, man.
Come at me, bro.
He went there for a homecoming
Now, there
dance.
are a lot of good Garland
it.
High School alumni that have played in the NFL. Herky Walls, you've got Casey Walker, Adrian Phillips, Randy Love, other guys like that.
Adrian Phillips is probably who you're thinking of.
This is a true jump out of the cake moment, because I'm telling you, I had a really reliable source told me that.
Who? You got to have 2, Hek'ma. That's
not
the thing about sources.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not going to. I'm a little disappointed right now because I literally just
send him a text message.
I will.
Yeah, because it says I can show
maybe
you.
Maybe a FaceTime call.
I'm a fact check that.
Yep. All right, McKinney and Prosper last night. Another big matchup between two teams that you think McKinney may have a chance to knock off Prosper. That was not the case.
You did not think that they
Wow, I hope you didn't think that, Yeomans.
Yeah, I didn't think it either, really. And they had 36 total yards rushing, not that much more passing. Just barely got into triple digits. This was a Prosper beatdown last night.
No, and Prosper undefeated now on the season, 4-0, moving up from 5A. And Eric, I know you've mentioned, hey, this is a team that brought back a lot of returners. They went deep in the 5A playoffs last year. They're moving up to 6A, and their reward, boy, you're in the same district with the Allen Eagles. But, man, I'm excited for that battle of the Eagles because Prosper's looking really good. Their running back, Wayne Anderson, led the team 165 yards, 3 touchdowns, and their defense was outstanding. You look at it right there, under 100 or just exactly 100 yards of total offense for McKinney. I mean, woo, that Prosper Eagle bunch playing some good football down there. And this McKinney Lion team, I don't think it is very good. After they snuck into the playoffs last year.
Who you got? Naaman Forest and McKinney Lions. They're playing tomorrow.
I think I'm going to
Neutral field.
I'm going to go Naaman Forest.
Wow. Okay, so the Lions are a bad bunch.
However, McKinney did strike first in this ball.
Yeah, they did. They scored. Ironically, they scored first. It was after an interception from Keegan Shoemaker, who's also one of the better quarterbacks in the area.
So McKinney got about half their yards in their first drive.
Yes.
And then
well, it was a short field, so I don't know how many yards that they got, but they had their first cheering moment early in that game, got up 7-0, and then after that, Mr. Wayne Anderson just slammed the door on him. Anderson also had a cat reception for a touchdown as well. Keegan Shoemaker through the air, 3 touchdowns in 1 pick for him. So it's a Prosper bunch, man. That's a playoff team right there.
Yeah. Most notable alumni for Prosper and the Eagles. Who?
Aqib Talib?
Nope. Different green team from up north.
Green team from up north. Oh, it's a Packer.
Oh, well, no. No, it's Davis Webb.
Davis Webb. Oh. He went to He also went to Keller.
He did.
Keller.
Yes.
I played against him at Keller.
For some reason, I always think Colleyville Heritage, but I think, was that Christian Ponder, maybe?
Yeah, Ponder was Heritage. Ponder was Heritage.
Yeah. But overall, those are the first 4 games. We've got many more to get to. When we come back, we'll update you on what games are live at the moment, which ones are delayed, and what games other than that, we will talk about here on Friday Night Stars. We'll get to most of those Thursday games, but we're going to take a quick break. We are live from the Star in Frisco. Hek'ma Harrison, Zach Wolchuk, and Eric Chiafalo, along with me, Kyle Yeomans, here on Friday Night Stars. We'll take a quick commercial break. We'll be back in just a moment here from Frisco.
This is the Pepsi that your father drank and your grandfather drank.
When I was your age, we worked for.
And your grandmother, she drank it too before she met him.
That was quite the catch, you know.
We know. This is the Pepsi that your Uncle Ted drank when rock sounded like this. And the one he drinks now that rock sounds like this. This is the Pepsi for American pastimes. Whether you're tailgating at a speedway or courtside watching your favorite player make a breakaway.
Shoots, and he scores!
It even goes well with away games. This is the Pepsi that was made for your mom's famous 5-alarm chili. You know, the one she refuses to give the recipe to?
Never gonna happen.
Don't worry, your secret's safe with us. This is the Pepsi that makes you say, hee, ba, 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 and baby. This is the Pepsi for those who are forever fun. This is the Pepsi for every generation.
Welcome to your hometown Whataburger. We make sure that our customers get their order hot and fresh.
I ordered the original Whataburger.
I got the number 2 Whataburger double, and I got bacon on it because everyone loves bacon.
We don't make it until you order it.
Their ingredients are so fresh and you can taste it. Tomato, lettuce, and the onions all the time is fresh.
We cut our vegetables 3 times a day.
They gave me a hot and fresh burger the way I like it, so I'm happy.
Your hometown Whataburger. Serving it hot and fresh all day, every day.
Tour the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco. VIP guided tours give Cowboys fans an inside look at the place where the Dallas Cowboys train and work. Fans have the opportunity to see the Cowboys' state-of-the-art war room, grand atrium, a display of all 5 Super Bowl trophies and rings, and more. Connect with the Cowboys in ways you never imagined. VIP guided tours are available daily. Get your tour tickets now at thestarinfrisco.com. That's thestarinfrisco.com.
It's true. Everything's better when the Cowboys win, especially Papa John's Pizza. New this season, every time the Cowboys win, you get 50% off regular menu price pizzas the next day at papajohns.com. That's half-price pizzas with promo code CowboysWin. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, official pizza of your Dallas Cowboys. Limited time offer, not valid with any other coupons or discounts. Prices, participation, delivery area, and charges may vary.
Dr. Pepper is the one you crave. But how do you explain that craving?
Imagine a surging river of ice-cold Dr. Pepper, roaring with carbonated mists of desire. You're dangling above it, upside down, like a fishing lure in the wind. 23 flavors tickle your nose, but the river is too far away to taste. Dr. Pepper calls to you. You.
Now that is a Dr. Pepper craving. Dr. Pepper, the one you crave.
Located at Dallas Cowboys Headquarters at the Star in Frisco, Cowboys Fit offers a comprehensive gym experience with over 60,000 square feet of workout space, personal training, group fitness classes, a heated rooftop pool, and luxury amenities, including the same state-of-the-art equipment used in the Dallas Cowboys team facility. A dedicated recovery lounge featuring hydro massage and cryotherapy, a health and nutrition bar, and so much more. For more information or to join, visit cowboysfit.com.
You know those little pins you push in a map? The ones that show you all the places you've traveled to? Well, thanks to American Airlines, you're about to run out of pins. With the most destinations of any airline in the world, American brings you closer to your next trip, wherever it is on the map. So, get ready to explore some new points of interest. The most destinations of any airline in the world. That's American Airlines. Pins not included.
Backpack shorts and sneakers. Helmets, shoulder pads, knee pads, and cleats. Adidas and JanSport, Under Armour and Nike. Hoodies, jerseys, leggings, and shoes.
Start your back-to-school season for less with our head-to-toe selection of sports essentials for under $30 and top brands and footwear under $60. Academy Sports and Outdoors, for all for less.
Ever wonder what it's like to play for the Dallas Cowboys?
We scratch, we claw, we fight.
To sit in the same locker room as your favorite Cowboys players? To run into the end zone?
Touchdown, Cowboys!
You could do all that and more when you tour AT&T Stadium. Play on the field, see the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders' locker room, and gain access to areas where fans are never allowed on game day. It's all possible with AT&T Stadium Tours, presented by SeatGeek. Tours are available daily. Visit attstadium.com for details.
The rain continues to fall throughout the DFW area, unfortunately. But overall, we are still going strong here from the Star in Frisco. Whataburger Friday Night Stars, powered by Game On Sports here from the Dallas Cowboys headquarters. Let's take a quick look at the live radar of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex area, as it is not looking too hot, guys.
Wow, look at
That's
that.
what we're dealing with.
So
in
the red
football
so
right now.
is the red really bad, and the yellow's kind of bad, and the orange is pretty bad?
What we want is the
Yes.
green.
Yeah,
Okay, we
well,
want green.
what you want is none of it, and you want the stuff that's on the outside of that, where there's no.
Oh, so you want
blip on
nothing.
it.
You want, like, the plain.
You want just
vast
absolutely
grasslands.
map. That's what you want.
Okay.
So that's what we're dealing with currently with the weather here with Friday Night Stars. A lot of games being delayed. A lot of games moved up to Thursday. And before we end up going to some of these other Thursday games, I do want to give Zach Wolchuk what he's always wanted.
Oh, no.
Everything he's always wanted.
A Plano victory over Allen?
No,
that's true.
I can't give him
Plano
that.
win over
Allen. Yeomans?
There is nobody on this earth as of right now that can provide that type of turnaround. Call Baker Mayfield and they'll maybe get it done for you. You are giving me the worst look in the world right now.
You're sad, man.
I wasn't even the one that made the joke.
I know.
Look at Eric over here.
It's been 13 years.
It has been 13
It's been so long.
A long
I mean, it's
13
really just kind of setting in.
Okay, no, but what I'm going to give you is a look in right now to the Ford Center across the hallway. My goodness, it's a live battle of the bands. This
let's
is
go.
Lebanon Trail.
Oh,
Look at
yes,
that.
get me
Right
in
now, we
there.
don't have any sound.
Where are the
unfortunately.
marimbas?
Oh, I
The
see
marimbas are down there. There's some trombone action.
Trombone.
So that was-
Wolchuk,
that
wasn't
was
you,
Yeoman.
That was
Wolchuk?
me. There's some of that
Flag
color
corps.
guard, the flag corps,
Gosh, we love
Just
the flag
imagine Hek'ma's wife.
the drum line. That is that's not actually the sound that's
yeah.
coming, but it's I like what Chris is doing right now.
corps. Big in there right now.
The xylophones.
What shape have they made? Did they make an S?
Looks like
out
a
there?
shell, like a seashell. I like it. There's
there's
some
the
marimbas
marimbas
right
Yes. There we go.
Look at those things, man. See, you got
Okay,
two
so
balance.
now I know what a marimba is, and
That's
those
a marimba.
things are awesome.
Yeah, they are really cool. The sousaphones, those are kind of my personal favorite.
Where's the triangle?
It's all about
That's a
the tuba, shawty.
sousaphone. That's not a tuba. That's
See,
a sousaphone.
what I
Sousaphone,
want
excuse me, good correction.
is our Battle of the Band segment to take on its own persona, and
Yes.
I want a battle. It's not just a battle.
What are
of the
these
bands.
called? The gun flippers.
That's a part of the flag corps.
I
Flag
really
corps,
want
yeah.
a battle of the drum lines.
The
I
gun
want a
flippers.
straight
The gun
up
flippers.
drum line. Get in the middle of
This
the
is
field.
the gun
50-yard
flippers.
line. Let's have that.
I wonder if there's any way we can get a hold of who's going to be at the Star next week.
Look how happy
and try
they
and
look
get
out
that
there, too.
going. But they're looking pretty good. This is
Tossing
Lebanon
flags.
Trail, the marching band from Lebanon Trail.
Hashtag Battle of the Bands. Send it to us at Friday_stars. This is life, baby, and we're living it.
Wow.
This is great.
Have you ever thought you would go in and watch
Yes.
Friday Night Stars and get a Battle of the Bands segment? Well, if you didn't, now is the time.
Is this Lebanon Trails Band?
Yes, I've said that like 3 times.
They're incredible, man.
They do look really good. I wish I could actually hear what they were playing because I would be even that much
this is
more.
better.
Yeah, you're really missing out, Yeomans. This sounds great.
Oh, what a time. Let's get back to football, though. That's a live look in from the Ford Center. I know. Our Battle of the Band segment is over. Maybe we'll come back whenever the Frisco band is going on
I like
there.
that, and then we can vote.
Ooh, we could.
I wonder if they
Who
were
is the
playing
vote
the
on
exact
Twitter
same-
as well.
What if they end up playing the exact same song? Can I
There's
just
no
go
way.
ahead and put $5 on it that they'll be playing the exact same
Well, you're
song?
going to lose those
Okay.
$5.
All right, fair enough.
How would we would have to split that 3 ways. We'd buy our sushi tonight with it
There you go.
later on. But let's go back to some of those games on Thursday night, starting with Arlington and Mesquite Horn. This is a Mesquite Horn team that I would argue has probably played the toughest schedule in the entire state of Texas throughout their first 4 weeks of football, and it didn't get that much easier going into last night. An undefeated Arlington Colts team, and Arlington, in a close matchup, wins this game 44-34. And once again, you look at Mesquite Horn, what else do they have to do? They outgained in every category except for the passing category.
What they got
462 yards rushing.
Limit your turnovers, especially the killers in the fourth quarter, and 19 penalties.
19.
Now, you can go ahead and run for almost 600 yards, and that's pretty astonishing. I don't know that I've ever really seen, almost 500 yards. A team running almost 500 yards and does not win the game. You had to do something
Also, not to mention
wrong.
when the other team only runs for 142.
Yeah, exactly. So you're talking about, and this game came down to the end, man. Horn had the ball with down 3, 2 minutes left in the game. Tucker Thompson for Arlington, 77-yard interception return for a touchdown to seal the victory with 15 seconds left. What a stud. Probably going to be my star of the week, Tucker Thompson. Just putting the icing on the cake there for Arlington. And, man, I just can't believe. You only throw for 100 yards, though. I mean, you run for all the yards, and then you only throw for 100. That's not ideal, but really it's the fourth quarter turnovers, 2 interceptions in the fourth quarter.
And the penalties.
One of which returned for a touchdown. But, yeah,
big.
the 19 penalties, absolutely going to kill you. You just can't win football games doing that. And then, obviously, I know we all love Jahari Rogers. I'll give you a quick update on him. 248 yards passing, 3 touchdowns last night. Honestly, kind of a quiet night in terms of Jahari, and that's just because that dude's usually putting up 400-something yards, 4 or 5 touchdowns. That's just like another Friday night.
Pat Mahomes-like numbers, right?
Yeah, he's definitely done that so far through the 3 games that he's played. 43 for 64. That's 67%. 981 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions.
And
That's
I thought
in the air.
That was a fun quarterback matchup when you
Yes.
have Jahari Rogers and then Jermaine Givens on the other side from Mesquite Horn. But Givens really struggled through the air, did not pass the ball well, made up for it on the ground, though, had a heck of a night. Almost 250 yards and a few scores.
How about Givens? He's only had 289 yards passing all season long.
And this is a guy that I think was close to 40 touchdown passes last year.
Yeah, it's
not been a slow start through the air.
Well, and that's it. We talked about it. Tough schedule for
He has
Horn
not
right out of the
passed
gates.
for a touchdown this year. Givens has not had a passing touchdown yet.
Sheesh.
At this point, we start asking questions like, is their confidence completely
We talked
fractured?
about that last week.
And that was what I wanted to get to.
And that's, with the matchups that they had, starting with Highland Park, then going to Allen, then having this matchup.
And Cedar Hill in between there. I don't think that actually got played.
Right, didn't get paid. Luckily for them, right?
Yeah.
And then you look at the penalties and things that are happening with Mesquite Horn, a team that last year pretty much ran their district. This year, not so much. The penalties has got to be driving their coach crazy because that's indicative of just discipline. When you shoot yourself in the foot and you control the clock for the majority of the game and then you lose it on a turnover.
Yeah.
I mean, that's team stuff. And obviously these are all correctable things. And so it's just like the hustle is there. The drive to get better is there. But when you start doing things where you start shooting yourself in the foot, you're not going to win any games.
Yeah.
And I mean, good teams like Arlington are always going to beat you when all of your mistakes are self-inflicted,
No doubt about it. And it does go to show a little bit the talent that Mesquite Horn does have, because when you talk about a team who had 19 penalties in the game and more turnovers than the other team, but they're only down 3 with 2 minutes left in the game.
Yeah, still in position
the
to
game
win.
right there, and it's that interception return for a touchdown that ruins it. But you probably could have put this thing away a little bit earlier if you're Mesquite Horn, if you don't have all those penalties.
And they'll probably be fine. For them, their district play hasn't started yet. This was the last of non-district play. They're in a bit of a smaller district, not as many schools. So they'll start next week, but you've got Longview in there. You've got Rockwall in there. So
doesn't get easy.
I'd probably say they're the 3rd best team on paper in that district, but it's going to be tough. And all it takes is one, though, right? If they can go ahead and get that district opener with that victory, they'll be okay.
Yeah, definitely. So Arlington looking really strong, 3-0. They've had wins over Dallas Jesuit, Byron Nelson, and Mesquite Horn.
Looking really
all
good.
pretty emphatic fashion, and it's behind head coach Scott Peach. We had Ashley Pickle, hardest working woman in sports. She was at the game last night with Peach? Arlington. Yeah, Pickle interviews Peach. Pickle, let's take a look.
All right, guys, I'm here with Scott Peach, the head coach of the Arlington Colts. Coach, back and forth game the whole time, and then with under 30 seconds left, Tucker Thompson takes it back for a 60-yard pick six. What was the feeling like on that sideline?
Well, exuberant. Tucker Thompson intercepts a pass every day. So whether it's practice on a Monday, whether it's a scrimmage game, a ball game, so we know as the ball's going in the air, he's going to get his, and it couldn't have come at a sweeter time for us. And then a lot of the coaches were hollering for him to get down. I want him to go score. At the end of the day, you don't get to do it very often, but it really capitalized a great night for us.
I heard you talking to your team, telling them, you were down at halftime, 20-17. It didn't even take 23 seconds for your quarterback to throw a 68-yard touchdown pass to put them up at halftime, and then that carried on the rest of the half. What was it like to come out hot like that in the second half?
Well, it's important. The disappointing thing was we scored with 1:39 in the second quarter to take the lead, and then we muffed the kick and gave them great field position, and we pride ourselves on how we finished the second quarter, how we start the third. But with the third quarter, we are really explosive right now. Jahari Rogers is special at quarterback. But then on top of that, Trey Cleveland, who scored the touchdown, is really one of the top receivers in the state. Very, very proud of the way he takes it to his game. And it was a big play for us.
Now you're coming off the field. The fans are chanting 3-0. You've got homecoming coming up, start of district. What do you look at going into next week's practice?
Well, I think we're excited. I think that winning breeds confidence, and being 3-0 is a big deal for this team. We've had to battle all three games against Jesuit and Nelson and Horn, but we came out on top, and that's great for building for the future. But at the end of the day, non-district's over. District starts, and we got to play great football at this time. Our goal is to win District 4 6A and to make a run in the playoffs, and to do that, it starts next week, and it's homecoming, so we got to be great.
Well, Coach, congratulations on tonight. Go celebrate with your team.
Thank you so much.
So Ashley Pickle with Coach Scott Peach last night, and he was happy as a peach after a big-time win like that. And you could tell he loves the players on his ball club because they've got something special rolling with Arlington right now.
This is absolutely a special year for them. I'm looking down the road, Arlington Bowie, October 12th. I think that is the game to watch as far as who will win this district. Those are the top two teams, in my opinion. With Martin winless on the year, a bit of a down year for Arlington Martin thus far. Those are the two squads, Arlington and Arlington Bowie.
That should be a lot of fun to watch. Mesquite Horn outgaining. I just keep looking at that stat. Mesquite Horn, 563 total yards compared to Arlington's 390, but the defense gets it done late for the Colts. Let's move on to Ennis and North Forney. This is a game that Ennis really needed as a program against a team that likes to air it out in North Forney, and they held North Forney pretty well passing-wise, to say the least, as Ennis comes away with a 38-14 victory. 90 yards passing for Ennis, 89 yards passing for North Forney. Another one of those games where the quarterbacks were just not able to sling the ball around a whole lot.
Yeah, and it's the first win for Sam Harrell since he's been back as the head coach there with Ennis. So a big win for them. We talked about it early in the season, that game against Waxahachie. Didn't go their way. They keep trucking along, and they did what they needed to do. I mean, they ran the football extremely well when you look at 369 yards rushing, and that right now is the Ennis way. They've got to rely on that running game with Harris and those boys up front. I mean, that's where their bread's going to be buttered this year.
Yeah, and we talked about Ennis at the beginning of the season. They obviously got off to a rough start, this being their first victory of the year, but you mentioned it. New coach, completely new style of play, new offensive system. It was going to take a while for this Ennis team to get going. You can still see the passing's not quite there for them. Only 90 yards passing. Now, granted, when you're running the ball 369 yards in the game, obviously you're doing something right there. But the passing game's going to have to get better, but credit to Ennis. 1 week at a time right now, get better. This is a team that is young, a quarterback that's first year starting, and again, a scheme that is completely different to what they're used to running. So Ennis, I would imagine, probably not a playoff team, but probably a team that is much better in week 10 than you see even now.
Yeah, and look, to win the way that they did with 5 turnovers, I think that's the one thing that if you're Sam Harrell, you're looking at, guys, we cannot fumble the football 5 times, and that's what they did. Luckily, their ground game was just so strong it didn't matter, but it does seem like Dylan Santos, like you said, first-year quarterback, they're struggling again in the passing game with that rushing attack. He's getting involved, and with big boy James Harris up front, This is a team that can really wear people down as the season goes on. When it gets cold, that November, December football, Ennis is going to excel.
Yeah, Ennis is a team that historically their program has been a running program. You never known for Ennis to be a passing program
Wing
at all.
T, you're traditionalist. You love that kind of stuff.
I do.
You do?
I do, because you know what you do? You control the clock, you muddy it up, you play field position. That's the way to go. I mean, Ennis puts in a fullback, and they destroy you. And so when it gets cold, when you get into that week 8, week 9, you don't want to see Ennis come to town.
No, especially not with that big bumbling running back they got. Oh,
James Harris is a big boy.
I don't want to tackle him in the sunshine, but I definitely don't want to tackle him in the cold.
261 yards on the ground.
Yeah.
You want to know the last time that Ennis was classified as a passing heavy team?
I'll say 1997.
Was it with Sam Harrell?
It was with
1986.
Graham Harrell, excuse me, the son
Graham
of
Harrell.
2004.
2003. We're close. So 2003, the last time when Graham Harrell, who's now the offensive coordinator at North Texas, of course, went and did great things with Texas Tech.
They keep winning games. He might be a head coach somewhere.
He might be pretty soon. Let's move on to Mansfield Lake Ridge and South Grand Prairie. Mansfield Lake Ridge, a strong contender throughout the first couple weeks of the season. They've gone through some tough schedules as well, but they win this ball game 34-22 over SGP, and they did it really because of the way they were able to run the football.
Yeah, Mansfield Lake Ridge came into this game and literally dominated the first half. It won't say it on the stats, but after the first half, SGP had negative 15 yards. All of the yards that you see, they got all of that in the second half.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Plus 15.
Yeah, plus my man. So it was one of those games that look, man, if you look at the total yardage, 292 yards, 210 on the ground, 82 yards passing. But again, that first half meant everything because, basically Mansfield in that first half completely dominated that game.
Yeah, they definitely did. You can see the score currently as Mansfield Lake Ridge, that's a team that you could look at potentially trying to make another deep run in the playoffs again
Definitely.
this year.
And they were in a state championship not too long ago, and Chandler Rogers seems like he's kind of getting stuff going on the ground. 3 touchdowns for him, over 100 yards rushing. For South Grand Prairie, to me, it's really just been consistency issues. I mean, they played with South Lake Carroll for a half to open the season. They were in this game, and they started off, I think it was the second half, with a long 78-yard touchdown drive. And it's just, there's moments where you look at it and, man, that's a really good football team. They just haven't been able to put it together for 4 quarters.
Now, DeJuan Jackson, the other running back with Chandler Rogers, he's dynamic as well. This kid they got a thunder and lightning kind of thing going on right now in Mansfield.
It's funny to me to see in an era of football right now where it's spread it out, throw the ball, air it out, and we're putting up all the numbers right now, and we're seeing a lot of 100 yards or less passing total for these teams in a game, and a lot of rushing yards.
And a lot of it's the quarterbacks too. They're eating.
Exactly.
They are eating from running at the quarterback position.
Yeah, the read option is just a fantastic play for quarterbacks right now.
Don't even get me started on the read option.
You don't like the read option?
Well, the thing about it is I always question you got to have an athlete at that point. I just don't like the read option at the pro level because I think, if the 1% make all the money, why do you get him?
The Cowboys need to use that read option a lot because they have got the pieces to use it and make it work.
Look, the whole thing is this. When I'm looking at teams like Mansfield Lake Ridge, a team that's playing the spread, guys turn around, you got your offensive linemen, they're not firing off the ball as you would say, all right, they're running the ball and they're getting all these yards. It's literally a dink and dunk style thing where they're handed, he gives it to the running back, or he doesn't, he takes off around the back door kind of deal like that. So, look, when it comes down to controlling the clock, running the ball, I love that portion of it, but I just wish it was more traditional with the fullback, put, double tight. Let's run it.
I formation, receivers.
Whatever happens.
Tight ends.
Look, I'm looking, you watch the game and it's like these guys, they don't huddle, so they're standing at the line of scrimmage and they're just standing around, and then they look over to the sideline, the coach is holding a picture of Rihanna, and then there's a picture of Tupac and an alien.
Shout out to Rihanna, by the way.
But you don't know what play is that?
You don't know what that is. The way that they're setting the signals in is bizarre, but look, the read option, it's built to work here in Texas high school football, and you've seen it work at a variety of levels. With the spread, I think it's a great way to incorporate your running game, and that's what we're seeing a lot of.
Yeah, and it keeps these defenses from being able to be overly aggressive, because if you have to account for, you got more things you have to read now as a defender. As a linebacker, you can't just go crashing in on a dive play.
You have to be
You
disciplined.
got to stay home because that quarterback can go boom and it's gone. And you see it. It's a really tough play to defend for a defense. And you can see guys even at the NFL level, like you mentioned, Hek'ma, defenders on the NFL level have trouble defending it. I mean, it's a really tough thing to defend. I can understand why you don't like it, because it almost feels like it's cheapening the game a little bit, because it's like
the cheat code.
It's like a little sneak attack deal there. But hey, you got to keep people honest. And now you're seeing the rushing yards stay really high, and the passing yards, I mean, at least for some of these teams, you're not even breaking 100. You're still winning the football game.
And I'll tell you what, it's an offense that you can just incorporate your most talented player in. Let's say not every team is going to be able to air it out and throw the football.
That's what I was
You don't have a quarterback like Grant Tisdale who can do it on the ground as well as with his arm. So when you look at a team like Lake Ridge with Chandler Rogers, he is not throwing the ball well, but he's a heck of a runner. Let's put him back there, and let's utilize his skill set to put our offense in a chance to succeed.
Mansfield Lake Ridge 2-1. Their only loss coming to Tulsa Union to start the season. They also would be 3-1 if it weren't for the cancellation of that midway game that they had a 10-0 lead in the second quarter before that was rained out at the Cotton Bowl. A couple of the games that are currently in delays right now. Highland Park leading Bryan Adams 35-0 with 6:19 left in the second quarter. That was 35-0 in the second quarter. HP with a magnificent lead, but that game is in a lightning delay at Forrester Field. Plano East and McKinney Boyd is delayed. Arlington, Seguin, and Midlothian continuing to be in the delay. That's supposed to be in a delay until 9:10 as of the moment. Then Lancaster and Mansfield Legacy, another game that is continuing to do it. Another game that we know is not in a rain delay because it's being played indoor is just across the hallway at the Ford Center. We showed the Battle of the Bands earlier, where we're going to look real quick at what Frisco is doing right now. Look at that scoreboard up at the top. Frisco leading 49-0. And I believe they just forced another turnover, if I'm not correct.
And it's 11 on trail homecoming. Yeah, it looked like an interception for Frisco, and they are really pouring it on.
At least it's not rained out.
It is not rained out. They are a little bit drier, but I think Lebanon Trail may be wishing that it could potentially be rained out. We'll look at the replay here as this just popped up over the middle.
Oski.
Just a good read.
Oh, wow.
Read it like a book. Ball was underthrown.
Yeah, I don't think the quarterback saw him.
Don't think so at all. But that's that matchup, and they're already off to a quick start, leading 49-0.
Getting smoked on homecoming, huh?
It's not very fun.
Just suck?
That is not very fun.
I mean, you still go after the game, you go get you some Whataburger, you go
Absolutely.
Happy, but man, that's just a downer. And it's not even a close game. They're going to put up a 50 burger.
Hey, man, they might claw back in this thing. Fourth quarter, come back for the game.
I mentioned a lot of the games that are being delayed. Let's take a quick look. This is from our reporter, Guy Frazier. He sent a picture into the Friday Night Stars book, and that is the live scene right now at McKinney ISD Stadium. Gorgeous stadium, brand new, stadium. And it's absolutely gorgeous, but it is in a rain delay with Plano East and McKinney Boyd. He says right now, and this is a quote from him, says, it's getting to be kind of a joke how much water is on the turf right now.
Wow.
Because that's a game
bad.
I bet will get canceled.
Not a lot of good drainage there in the new stadium.
But that is a district game, so they're going to have to find a way to play it.
It's really wet from a water standpoint.
What?
Yeah, it's the first time that field's really seen a downpour like this, so it's a good test to see how the field holds up. Well, the ground crews are getting their money's worth tonight.
I'm so glad that you're continuing to talk and be serious because
trying to get away from that. I'm trying to get away from that, boys. Let's move on out.
Let's go to break. We'll come back and we'll finish up the Thursday scores and some of those Thursday highlighted games. This is Whataburger Friday Night Stars live from Frisco.
You know those little pins you push in a map? The ones that show you all the places you've traveled to? Well, thanks to American Airlines, you're about to run out of pins. With the most destinations of any airline in the world, American brings you closer to your next trip, wherever it is on the map. So, get ready to explore some new points of interest. The most destinations of any airline in the world. That's American Airlines. Pins not included.
Hats, backpack shorts and sneakers. Helmets, shoulder pads, knee pads, and cleats. Adidas and JanSport, Under Armour and Nike. Hoodies, jerseys, leggings, and shoes.
Start your back-to-school season for less with our head-to-toe selection of sports essentials for under $30 and top brands and footwear under $60. Academy Sports and Outdoors, for all for less.
Ever wonder what it's like to play for the Dallas Cowboys?
We scratch, we claw, we fight.
To sit in the same locker room as your favorite Cowboys players. To run into the end zone.
Touchdown, Cowboys!
You can do all that and more when you tour AT&T Stadium. Play on the field. See the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders' locker room and gain access to areas where fans are never allowed on game day. It's all possible with AT&T Stadium Tours. Presented by SeatGeek. Tours are available daily. Visit attstadium.com for details.
It's true. Everything's better when the Cowboys win, especially Papa John's Pizza. New this season, every time the Cowboys win, you get 50% off regular menu price pizzas the next day at papajohns.com. That's half-price pizzas with promo code CowboysWin. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, official pizza of your Dallas Cowboys. Limited time offer. Not valid with any other coupons or discounts. Prices, participation, delivery area, and charges may vary.
This is the Pepsi that your father drank and your grandfather drank.
When I was your age,
we worked for And your grandmother, she drank it too before she met him.
That was quite the catch, you know.
We know. This is the Pepsi that your Uncle Ted drank when rock sounded like this. And the one he drinks now that rock sounds like this. This is the Pepsi for American pastimes. Whether you're tailgating at a speedway or courtside watching your favorite player make a breakaway.
and he scores!
It even goes well with away games. This is the Pepsi that was made for your mom's famous 5-alarm chili. You know, the one she refuses to give the recipe to.
Never gonna happen.
Don't worry, your secret's safe with us. This is the Pepsi that makes you say, hee, ba, 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 and baby. This is the Pepsi for those who are forever fun. This is the Pepsi for every generation.
Welcome to your hometown Whataburger. We make sure that our customers get their order hot and fresh.
I ordered the original Whataburger.
I got the number 2 Whataburger double, and I got bacon on it because everyone loves bacon.
We don't make it until you order it.
Their ingredients are so fresh and you can taste it. Tomato, lettuce, and the onions all the time is fresh.
We cut our vegetables 3 times a day.
They gave me a hot and fresh burger the way I like it, so I'm happy.
Your hometown Whataburger. Serving it hot and fresh all day, every day.
Dr. Pepper is the one you crave. But how do you explain that craving?
Imagine a surging river of ice-cold Dr. Pepper, roaring with carbonated mists of desire. You're dangling above it, upside down, like a fishing lure in the wind. 23 flavors tickle your nose, but the river is too far away to taste. Dr. Pepper calls to you. You.
Now that is a Dr. Pepper craving. Dr. Pepper, the one you crave.
Tour the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco. VIP guided tours give Cowboys fans an inside look at the place where the Dallas Cowboys train and work. Fans have the opportunity to see the Cowboys' state-of-the-art war room, grand atrium, a display of all 5 Super Bowl trophies and rings, and more. Connect with the Cowboys in ways you never imagined. VIP guided tours are available daily. Get your tour tickets now at thestarinfrisco.com. That's thestarinfrisco.com.
Located at Dallas Cowboys Headquarters at the Star in Frisco, Cowboys Fit offers a comprehensive gym experience with over 60,000 square feet of workout space, personal training, group fitness classes, a heated rooftop pool, and luxury amenities, including the same state-of-the-art equipment used in the Dallas Cowboys team facility. A dedicated recovery lounge featuring hydro massage and cryotherapy, a health and nutrition bar, and so much more. For more information or to join, visit cowboysfit.com.
Whataburger Friday Night Stars here from Frisco, Texas. It has been a wet day, to say the least, from the standpoint of water. Mr. Eric Chiafalo has me rolling on the floor heading into that last break. But we do have some more games to get to. Kyle Yeomans here alongside Hek'ma Harrison, Zach Wolchuk, and Eric Chiafalo as we knock on the door of hour number 3 of tonight's show. As it's been a really difficult standpoint to look at these high school games because most of them are not being played right now. We'll get a video out here in just a moment of the live look in terms of what's happening from here at the Star. But first, let's go to McKinney North and Rockwall Heath. This is a game last night that saw over 700 yards, close to 800 yards of total offense. One of the few games that we saw that actually got some of those offenses off the ground and was a great game all the way up until the very end. McKinney North coming away with a 28-22 victory.
Yeah, and Rockwall Heath with an opportunity to win that late at the end. A pass that was intercepted for McKinney North to get on and hold that victory. And hey, this is a bunch here with McKinney North. I talked about Cam Constantine coming into this year, and I liked his ability as a dual threat athlete, and he really owned this game with his legs. 21 carries, another quarterback. This has been a trend so far. These quarterbacks leading the team in rushing. He leads the team in rushing, 130 yards, a pair of scores, 7 of 10 through the air, not a huge stat line, but they do have another quarterback in Dylan Markowitz who can come in here at 4 for 4, 100 yards, really effective. This might be a situation where down the line, if they need to throw the football, they insert Dylan Markowitz, and Cameron Constantine now can move to a receiver, a gadget player, maybe a wildcat player. You've got a little bit of versatility for that McKinney North offense. But I think for Heath, what really tripped them up in this one was the penalties, no doubt about that. But overall, a very evenly matched football game. The other thing for Rockwall Heath, unable to get the running game going. They were really, really stifled on the ground. You see it there, under 100 yards rushing. Through the air was where they did their damage. But this is a McKinney North team that they've picked up where they left off a year ago.
And now you're looking at a game where you have a team like Heath who's throwing the ball great, can't really run the ball, and they can't get the victory. So Hek'ma might be onto something where running does still matter. Running in football still matters.
Just saying, the old guy does know a little bit about football, but you know,
he does.
You know, Heath is a program that they've had their program now 10 years, you know, and so they're building it. Hadn't really got to the point where they've got any momentum or any headway in the state, but definitely building their program. Again, 422 total yards at 330 passing, ain't nothing to shake you, you know, just.
No, absolutely.
That was a game between two really good teams, and it's not surprising to me how evenly matched it was. I mean, these are two squads that have a chance to. I think McKinney North will definitely be a playoff team. Rockwall Heath has an opportunity to make the postseason as well.
One of the big things you look at both of these teams in terms of penalties as well. Heritage 8 for 57, and North is a pretty good football team in terms of trying to stay disciplined. 15 yards on one night, not too shabby. Moving on from there, Rockwall and Arlington Martin. These are two teams that, like we've talked about all 4 weeks so far, and Rockwall, my goodness.
I think we've all been high on Rockwall this year.
We have. Ever since that opening week loss to Highland Park.
Smoking.
They have turned it on. Defensively, look at the 5 turnovers forced against Arlington Martin.
My guy Anthony Orgy, baby.
Man,
Anthony
awesome.
Orgy, man, he's probably the man of the night. He could be your star of the week this week.
He could be. Potentially could be.
Because he had a 95-yard touchdown interception return for a touchdown in the second quarter. That really is what blew the doors off that game right there.
Yeah.
That play right there. But even to start the game, Rockwall's up 15-0 before Martin even has an offensive snap.
Wow.
Because Rockwall gets the ball, goes down the field. Jacob Clark gets things started with a 46-yard touchdown pass. And then a squib kick. Rockwall recovers.
Wow.
Jacob Clark, rushing touchdown, follows. And now it's 15-0, and Arlington Martin hasn't even touched the ball yet. So, man, Rockwall is a heck of a team. 73 points. My goodness gracious. And Zach Henry, 129 yards on 16 carries. Rockwall, they run the ball well. Jacob Clark really coming into his own. We've talked about him from the start. We knew he was a good player, but he's shown it even more right now. He's doing it on the ground and in the air. This Rockwall team, man, they're a good football team.
Dude, Jacob
There's
Clark
no doubt
is
about
dealing, man. Oh, I think there was 10 different receivers that had a catch in this one. It doesn't matter who it is. If you're open, Jacob Clark going to find you, man. Minnesota is getting themselves a heck of a quarterback to come up north and spin the football for them.
Yeah, Jacob Clark, again, this guy is throwing it to everybody. I think the water boy got in on this game. This guy is
I actually had a touchdown in that game.
You probably did. And so that's a testament to him. I mean, and a kid that is leaving Texas to go to Minnesota. I don't understand that, because you would think that a Texas team around here would need a good quality quarterback like this kid.
How many times have we seen that?
A couple of Texas schools that could use a quarterback right now.
You think Texas maybe is one?
Oh, well, potentially.
But it's amazing how these kids can get overlooked, and it's the first team that shows interest, and they go ahead and say, hey, we want you, here's an offer. And a lot of that comes down to loyalty. And I think with Jacob Clark, I don't know the true story in his recruiting, but that might be the situation in the case.
Yeah, I think definitely so.
Jacob Clark's got a little Viking blood in him. Huh? What do you think?
Skull?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Is that the
skull?
Chant? Boom.
No, not in here. Not in here.
No,
not
sir.
in here.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be a Minnesota Viking.
Skull.
Look, the Cowboys have owned the Vikings.
They have
in
forever.
any big game that they've played. The Hail
purple,
Mary game. Come
you
on.
got the Viking color iPad right now.
Tony Dorsett, 99-yard
7-year-old
touchdown run. Look, the Cowboys have the Vikings number.
I do have a couple reports coming in from our reporters in terms of updates and those rain delays. First off, I do want to make sure everybody out there, if you're watching this live from home, did get an emergency alert. It says flash flood warning in this area until 10 o'clock p.m. So
Frisco
it's
area?
extended for another hour.
Serious.
It honestly might be all of DFW because it is coming down, and it is coming down hard. Got an update from Guy Frazier. Guy Frazier is out at McKinney Boyd. He's said that Plano East in that game actually requested for a time change earlier this week, and McKinney Boyd denied them that chance.
Want to fight through the elements. I respect it, McKinney Boyd.
They
Friday Night Lights are nothing for McKinney Boyd.
They go through and they denied that chance to try and move up that football game, and that game has not even gotten underway. And then we've got Adrian
Jagish trying to stave off the beating that they're about to do.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what it is. Plano East is about to whoop on them. Not only did you tick them off probably, but they're a better football team.
Right.
Well, and you know what's funny?
You're poking the bear right there.
It's interesting to see what these teams do in these delays. Like the coaches have different thoughts of what they should be doing. Something they should be laying there. Something they should start going over more game plan things. Ordering pizza. And that's what I wanted to get to is the refreshments, keeping these guys' blood sugar at a proper level.
Oranges, right?
There's oranges. Whenever I had the one rain delay in high school that I ever played in, we got Snickers. All right. Now, but the University of Texas, when they were in their rain delay in like week 1 or 2 of their season, they were giving out pizza to their players during the rain delay. So I'm trying to figure out what the coaches' strategies are. And the more coaches we bring on, I want to ask them, what's your food strategy for your team as they are waiting to kick off? Or maybe they've already kicked off and now we got an in-game delay. How are you nourishing your fellas? Is it oranges? Is it Snickers? Is it pizza? I'm all about the pizza and the Snickers. Walchuk, you can have the oranges.
Are you interested in this conversation at all?
I could use the oranges.
Okay.
I do think nourishment, nutrition is a big thing. How are you going to refuel your players? Absolutely, but
cramps, man.
Crepes.
Cramps.
Oh, big time! You got to stay hydrated.
I think
grapes are nice.
Pickle juice. I think I've heard is also really, really good for that.
I've seen Jay Ajayi, who's now in the NFL. When he was at Boise State, running back, he was drinking a big jar of pickle juice on the sideline.
That's not uncommon to see throughout it, and right now it's not uncommon to see some rain as well. Let's look at the radar in terms of what's going on in the Metroplex area as the rain's still there. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. That is a live look. It might be getting worse.
Oh, no. This is scary.
It's a lot of colors.
It is pretty scary. And I believe we also have a look outside of the studios here at Frisco, or at the Star in Frisco. Let's take a look at the live look at what's going on outside the Star. Oh, man. That is what is going on currently just outside our doors. It is coming down hard. That's the Cowboys practice field. Got the turf on the near side, then the film deck, which is the spotlight in the middle, and then the natural field on the far side is also there. That's concrete that you see the light reflecting off of. But overall, my goodness, the rain is pouring.
Get the boys out there to take some snaps. So we're prepared late in the year when we're in the monsoons.
Well, they are going to Seattle. Well,
we talked to Chris Beam. Chris Beam told us, hey, the weather in Seattle is supposed to look A-OK. We're actually getting more rain here than they are up on that northeast coast, which is pretty crazy.
That is
or northwest, I should say.
Pretty crazy. We've got 3 more games to get to from Thursday night. A quick update of the weather there. We'll continue to monitor it as this situation continues to unfold. Trinity Christian, Cedar Hill, a team that we have highlighted much of the time, or a lot of the time, throughout the first couple of weeks. And they had a gigantic matchup with Melissa last night, and Trinity Christian Cedar Hill gets it done by a touchdown. Boys, this was quite the football game.
Yeah, primetime squad, man. Dion's out there.
Yeah, Lil Prime was out there playing his little butt off, too.
You're dang right. And in the fourth quarter, it was a tie game. And it was a tie game at halftime. It was a tie game going into the fourth quarter. I mean, this really was a close, fun game. And it was a 92-yard pass from Little Sanders, as you mentioned, to McLaughlin with 37 seconds left in the game that really put Trinity Christian in position for a Sanders game-winning touchdown run that ended up being the game winner. So, man, the quarterback getting done. Sanders, 270 yards passing, 1 touchdown in the air, and 3 rushing touchdowns. So, looks like Prime's got his boys going. His own son doing very, very well and really dominating that football game. And just in general, what a game. Melissa, still a good squad. I mean,
they're one of the best teams in 4A, and that's what made this one so fun because you've got a 4A team that's going to make a deep playoff run in Melissa going up against a defending TAP state champion in TC Cedar Hill. And boy, this one was fun. I mean, this was one of the best games, I think, all night long. On the weekend, a lot of people would come in. You're not really familiar. Well, what is this game? Like, who are these two schools? But no, these are two big-time programs.
Oh, yeah.
This was a fun matchup.
No, and so the thing is for TC Cedar Hill is just getting somebody to play these guys because they're literally an all-star cast of players. They're loaded at every position. Everybody makes a lot about, primetime son at little Dion at quarterback, but he has a son that plays cornerback that is all world as well. And again, Cedar Hill is just tough. Tough to beat, tough and against any team. I like to see them against them next year play some little bit more top level schools.
Maybe Mesquite Horn will give them a schedule.
No, I don't want them to go against
early in the year.
Leave Mesquite Horn out of that. I think they've taken enough of a beating at the first quarter of the season. So, but definitely Cedar Hill. That TAP squad is definitely primed to win another one.
It would be fun to see them against one of these big 5A, 6A schools.
Highland Park.
Why? Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a great matchup.
That would be a good matchup.
Frisco Lone Star.
Yeah.
Throw them in there.
Frisco Lone Star. I think the Highland Park one, though, is really
Alito
would be incredibly fun.
Let's play the big dogs and see how they do.
Couple of the other schools that we kind of have mentioned throughout that might not be those big names like a Highland Park or an Allen or somebody else like a Prosper that we've been able, as I throw a pin around.
I wish we could get that on slow motion.
You might be able to cut it back because it was.
We might need to add a segment,
a little bit.
Friday Night Stars gaffes and play that at the end.
We got plenty. We got plenty.
I had such a great segue and then I had to throw.
I'm sorry. Let's pretend it didn't happen.
Man.
Let's rewind.
Going back. Some of those teams, one of the teams that we've been mentioning throughout the first 3 weeks of the season was Red Oak. And this is a Red Oak ball club that really had a couple big wins going into the year. Well, last night they came up against South Oak Cliff, the Golden Bears. How about South Oak Cliff? Starting the year 3-0. They had a game against Duncanville canceled, but a win over Dallas Skyline. Good team there. Dominant win over Wilmer Hutchins. And then the 31-21 win over Red Oak last night. And on the phone right now, we've got head coach Jason Todd. And Coach Todd, first off, an unbelievable win last night. Thanks for joining us here on Whataburger Friday Night Stars. Kind of tell us about the short week and overall just the big-time win last night.
It was kind of a game that we had circled on our schedule, with them coming into our district this year. So we had kind of been preparing for them from the spring all the way up until we played the game. When we found out it was going to be a weather delay, me and Coach Ross, we both got together and just decided to go ahead and make it on Thursday. And we both knew we'd be losing a day of preparation, but we felt like it was much more important to get the game played.
Yeah, and looking at the weather right now, that was probably the smart decision in order to do that. But overall, you look at the way that your team was able to run the football, 310 yards on the ground, 362 yards total. Was that something going into the game that you were confident in your squad for?
Yeah, we felt that we should have success. We got a good stable of running backs, and we got an O-line that all returned from last year. So, we want to lean on those guys along with the quarterback, also Sean Sims from last year. And we just felt that if we could just get positive gains, and we would get some home runs in there also, but also we would control the clock and, and put ourselves in a good place to get a victory.
Coach, your defense has been playing lights out so far this year. Talk to us a little bit about what you're liking on that side of the football.
We've got some dominant guys on that defensive side. We got Stephen Parker, Darion Clark. We got guys that have been, 3-year starters, and they've seen it all. They played against the Longviews. They came in first game freshman year, played against Cedar Hill. They played against DeSoto. So those guys are used to some big-time football, and those guys are living up to the expectations that we set to them. At South Oak Cliff, we're going to play a fast and physical defense, and those guys have been living up to it.
Hey, Coach, this is Hek'ma, man. I want to tell you, we're going to get through all the 4 out thous, man. I just want to tell you how proud I am of you, of turning that program around, man. Please, when you get done winning the state championship in soccer, can we please get you back to Lincoln, please?
They miss you, Coach.
You can hear the desperation in his voice, Coach.
Hey, Coach Todd, listen, the running game is definitely something where you can tell that you have all of your concentration on milking the clock, field position, putting that dominant defense out there. Talk about some of your young guys like Cameron Davis, J.C. Cook, and Sean Sims.
I'm gonna start with Casey Cook. He's a 4-year player for us. Been on varsity for 3 years. He's kind of just a hard-working kid that always gives 100% no matter what his role is. He's a starter at tailback, and it kind of worked in good that Cameron Davis transferred in because he brings that home run threat to the backfield. He's a guy that was at our middle school, but he ended up going to Lancaster for his freshman year, and then they moved back into the South Oak Cliff Tender Zone. And he's been giving us that home run threat every time on limited carries, but he always ends up getting in that end zone. And then when he gets to Sean Sims, he's a guy that's very talented. I'm not sure what position he'll play at the college level. Could be a linebacker or a safety also. But he brings that dynamic effect to us also. And what we're looking for going forward is to kind of display the passing game more in the district season and then make sure we're full throttle when the playoffs come.
That's awesome.
Coach, this isn't as much of a X's and O's question, but we've seen a ton of rain, lightning delays. You guys have experienced it a little bit. What do you do? We've talked about it. We've seen universities giving out pizza to their players when they're in like a 1 hour, 2 hour rain delay. What's your protocol as a coach to keep your guys fresh and nourished during these 1, 2, 3 hour rain delays in the middle of a game? Giving them Snickers, giving them pizza, maybe oranges. What do you guys do?
Well, one thing I can say, we haven't really gotten a delay situation where it went on that long. Normally what we allow the kids to kind of just go back in the locker room and just kind of mellow out, be to themselves. And then once we get to a point, let's say a 20-minute point or something like 15 minutes before we can go back out, then we get the guys back refocused and, and prepared to go back out there and play. The rain delay we had with Duncanville, me and Coach Samples kind of agreed that we didn't want to carry on all through the night, and we both knew that going into the district was more important than deciding who was going to win that game that day.
Well, Coach, you talk about going into district, big win over Red Oak, and kind of to talk about that Red Oak squad for a bit, that's another program that seems like they're really starting to improve leading up to the week of this game. On film, what do you think it really stands out about that Red Oak team?
Oh, you could tell they were well coached, and I got a lot of respect for Coach Ross. I knew he came from Boise, and I knew he had a lot of success in Texas high school football, winning state at Cedar Park and things like that. So, coming into the game, we took them very seriously, and we had a lot of respect for them as far as just the offense, as far as how they spread out, spread the field, do a lot of tempo things. On defense, they do a lot of slants and a lot of things to try to cause confusion with the offensive line. So, we knew we were playing a well-coached team, and we knew we had to come out and, and just play 48 minutes of football.
Well, Coach, I'm looking at your schedule and the teams that you have coming up. You talked about a lot about getting your passing game involved and being full throttle once you get to the playoffs. But truly, when you look at your lineup, man, you have an athlete literally at every position. I mean, I'm sure, like being in South Oak Cliff, you're in a hotbed of talent when it comes down to getting kids. So you're probably stockpiling at every position by this time. Talk about what the future looks like and what it's going to be like for you guys heading into that playoff run.
The big thing about this is, even though we won't be going against some of the stronger teams in the area, it's still about improving and getting better at the little things that's going to count later on. So our number one focus right now is to make sure we're doing the little things right. And even though if we're not playing a stiff competition, is to make sure we're not playing down the competition and we're still executing as if we were playing the Cedar Hill, DeSoto's, and those high-caliber teams, Alitos, Highland Parks. So what we kind of do is, even though we're playing in this district that we're in, we're kind of looking down the road because we know one day Alito's going to be there. We know, Frisco, Reedy. We got our eyes on a lot of different teams that we'll possibly have matchups with. And we're also preparing for Dallas Kimball on November 1st. We're going to have a big game that day also.
You mentioned that Kimball matchup later in the season, but you've got Adamson next week at home. What's it going to be like returning back home, undefeated, ranked number 8 right now in the state, and that's sure to go up after a big win last night?
We're going to be really ready because that's our homecoming game. So, a lot of old alumni will be coming back around. And, the more you win, the more people come and jump on that bandwagon. So what we're just trying to do is do our part and let the fans take care of the rest. And our kids are well prepared, and our coaching staff is doing a great job. So what we're just doing is just getting better day by day. We can't look forward too far, but at the same time, we understand that our goal is to try to get to a state championship and win it.
Well, Coach, thanks so much for joining us here on Whataburger Friday Night Stars. Good luck, and we may have to send a reporter out to Adamson and South Oak Cliff next week. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Hey, y'all are welcome anytime, and take care of my boy Hek'ma. I remember when I was a freshman, youngster, he was a linebacker, and I really looked up to him.
Better tell him, Coach.
Hey, he's a great guy. We're lucky to have him, and they're lucky to have you there at South Oak Cliff.
Oh, hey, thanks a lot.
Thanks, Coach.
Feel free to come out anytime.
All right,
Coach,
SOC.
Coach Jason Todd, the head coach at South Oak Cliff.
Boys, I told y'all week 1.
You did.
Watch out for South Oak Cliff this year. And Hek'ma, you're right, man. This is a squad with the Golden Bears. They are loaded. If they can get over Kimball, I think they're going to go undefeated and run through this district.
They really could. You look at Adamson next week. They're favored by 41. Dallas Conrad the week after. Spruce, Seagoville, Kimball. That's going to be the matchup on November 2nd to look out for. That matchup could potentially decide the entire district between South Oak Cliff and Kimball, depending on how that goes. But a 3-0 start, that needs to be a community in South Oak Cliff that gets around this program because they're going to do something special this year, and they want to be behind Coach Jason Todd the entire way. They were 6-0 in district last year, so it's not unfamiliar territory for South Oak Cliff, but this team looks like something with 7 offensive starters returning and 9 on the defensive side that they can really make a run.
And a lot of 4-year players like he was talking about.
I mean, I think for Jason Todd, his plan, his formula is working. Getting these guys in young, he knows he has a bunch of athletes there at the school, and so let's get them started early. It means the future is now. So you get these guys, you put them on the team like he was talking about. Most of his guys have been varsity players for 3 years. So they're used to it. They're used to the competition. That's the one thing about high school football that's a lot different from going from JV and then going to the big time immediately and trying to put that program on the map is what he's doing.
And I find it interesting with Coach Todd, and every coach is a little different in their philosophy, but in terms of like even looking ahead, like you were asking about going at later on in district and some of the big games ahead in the playoffs, a lot of coaches don't even want to talk about that
That's
stuff.
right.
It's all about next week. He's like, no, we know what our big games are. We want to play big on November 1st. We know we want to dominate in the playoffs. We know what teams we want to dominate in the playoffs. And he's already looking ahead state. Like he already knows this is what we want to do. It's just funny to me. And there's no right or wrong here. Some coaches are, hey, 1 week at a time. We're not looking to November 1st. We're looking to next week. He's like, no, I know our big games. I know we got a good team, and I know when we need to really play well. And I just find that interesting. He's willing to voice that, say that, and his team knows that. And I think they probably rally behind that because that just shows confidence. If I'm a player and my coach is talking that way, I know my coach is confident not only in himself, but in me and in the team. You know?
Yeah. That's definitely something you look forward to because it is an anomaly. You normally see coaches, hey, we're on to the next team, but we're not looking forward. He knows exactly how good this team is, and that's a confidence boost for anybody on that sideline. Couple more updates rolling in. Guy Frazier, who's at Plano East and McKinney Boyd, he sent this video in just a little bit earlier. It's a live look at McKinney ISD Stadium, and it is not looking good. Well, they have not canceled the game, but it's postponed. Kickoff tomorrow morning at 10:30. That's the official word from McKinney. As you look at that, as it's got the radar on the screen. Not looking good from McKinney. We'll be back with more Friday Night Stars here in a moment.
This is the Pepsi that your father drank and your grandfather drank.
When I was your age, we worked for.
And your grandmother, she drank it too before she met him.
That was quite the catch, you know.
We know. This is the Pepsi that your Uncle Ted drank when rock sounded like this. And the one he drinks now that rock sounds like this. This is the Pepsi for American pastimes. Whether you're tailgating at a speedway or courtside watching your favorite player make a breakaway.
And he scores!
It even goes well with away games. This is the Pepsi that was made for your mom's famous 5-alarm chili. You know, the one she refuses to give the recipe to.
Never gonna happen.
Don't worry, your secret's safe with us. This is the Pepsi that makes you say, hee, ba, 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 and baby. This is the Pepsi for those who are forever fun. This is the Pepsi for every generation.
Welcome to your hometown Whataburger. We make sure that our customers get their order hot and fresh.
I ordered the original Whataburger.
I got the number 2 Whataburger double, and I got bacon on it because everyone loves bacon.
We don't make it until you order it.
Their ingredients are so fresh, and you can taste it. Tomato, lettuce, and the onions, all the time is fresh.
We cut our vegetables 3 times a day.
They gave me a hot and fresh burger the way I like it, so I'm happy.
Your hometown Whataburger. Serving it hot and fresh all day, every day.
Tour the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco. VIP guided tours give Cowboys fans an inside look at the place where the Dallas Cowboys train and work. Fans have the opportunity to see the Cowboys' state-of-the-art war room, grand atrium, a display of all 5 Super Bowl trophies and rings, and more. Connect with the Cowboys in ways you never imagined. VIP guided tours are available daily. Get your tour tickets now at thestarinfrisco.com. That's thestarinfrisco.com.
It's true. Everything's better when the Cowboys win, especially Papa John's Pizza. New this season, every time the Cowboys win, you get 50% off regular menu price pizzas the next day at papajohns.com. That's half-price pizzas with promo code CowboysWin. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, official pizza of your Dallas Cowboys. Limited time offer, not valid with any other coupons or discounts. Prices, participation, delivery area, and charges may vary.
Dr. Pepper is the one you crave. But how do you explain that craving?
Imagine a surging river of ice-cold Dr. Pepper, roaring with carbonated mists of desire. You're dangling above it, upside down, like a fishing lure in the wind. 23 flavors tickle your nose, but the river is too far away to taste. Dr. Pepper calls to you. You.
Now that is a Dr. Pepper craving. Dr. Pepper, the one you crave.
Located at Dallas Cowboys Headquarters at the Star in Frisco, Cowboys Fit offers a comprehensive gym experience with over 60,000 square feet of workout space, personal training, group fitness classes, a heated rooftop pool, and luxury amenities, including the same state-of-the-art equipment used in the Dallas Cowboys team facility. A dedicated recovery lounge featuring hydro massage and cryotherapy, a health and nutrition bar, and so much more. For more information or to join, visit cowboysfit.com.
You know those little pins you push in a map? The ones that show you all the places you've traveled to? Well, thanks to American Airlines, you're about to run out of pins. With the most destinations of any airline in the world, American brings you closer to your next trip, wherever it is on the map. So, get ready to explore some new points of interest. The most destinations of any airline in the world. That's American Airlines. Pins not included.
Backpack shorts and sneakers. Helmets, shoulder pads, knee pads, and cleats. Adidas and JanSport, Under Armour and Nike. Hoodies, jerseys, leggings, and shoes.
Start your back-to-school season for less with our head-to-toe selection of sports essentials for under $30 and top brands and footwear under $60. Academy Sports and Outdoors, for all for less.
Ever wonder what it's like to play for the Dallas Cowboys?
We scratch, we claw, we fight.
To sit in the same locker room as your favorite Cowboys players. To run into the end zone.
Touchdown, Cowboys!
You can do all that and more when you tour AT&T Stadium. Play on the field. See the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders' locker room and gain access to areas where fans are never allowed on game day. It's all possible with AT&T Stadium Tours. Presented by SeatGeek. Tours are available daily. Visit attstadium.com for details.
There's a live look in at the Ford Center where Frisco is leading 56-14 on Lebanon Trail. They had a 56-0 lead at one point here in this fourth quarter, but Lebanon Trail continues to try and at least put some numbers up on the board. But Frisco dominant. What are you talking about over there, Hek'ma?
Hek'ma and I are having some words.
I'm telling you, there's a rivalry brewing.
No, there's not.
There is a rivalry brewing between Hek'ma and between Zach.
Look, just being the two smartest brains at the table, it can be tough sometimes.
Obviously, you guys are going to clash at some point.
We've did you not have any issue with
you
that?
guys are the eye candy. We're the brains of the operation.
I take no offense to that.
That's fair, actually.
Oh, my goodness. If you guys only knew what went on here in the studio.
Are you talking to our listeners?
Yes.
You tell me they can't smell it from here?
Yeah, it's all right, guys. This is awesome.
Guys, working with Yeomans is tough.
Is that who it was?
Wow.
He's Hek'ma Harrison, Zach Wolchuk, Eric Giafalo. I'm Kyle Yeomans. We are Whataburger Friday Night Stars, produced and presented by Game On Sports. Glad to be with you as we get back on track. A lot of Thursday games this week, of course, with the rain. Do want to once again give out a quick stay safe message because that flash flood warning in the area has been extended till 12:15 in the morning. That was originally at 10.
So we're not leaving tonight.
We might be bunkered up at the Dallas Cowboys headquarters. Could be worse place.
You just swim home.
Hey, man, I'm going to go sleep in Dak's locker.
Nice. I call Zeke's. Actually, no, I want DeMarcus Lawrence.
Slumber party.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Man. You're the best.
Well, let's move on back to high school football. Waxahachie and DeSoto last night, another big time matchup between two programs that have been very up for a while, and they had a lot of yards between the two of them. 59-47, the final score, over 1,000 yards of total offense, and DeSoto comes away with a win.
Well, you know what, Walchuk, this is a classic example of what we're talking about in the spread offense, right? And so my guy, Shundarian Ward.
Your guy, huh?
You like that?
I do like that. No, I like that. Shundarian Ward's a beast.
Shundarian Ward. Listen, guys, first half, 22 attempts, 21 completions. He's slinging that thing all over the place.
Dang, Mr. Efficient.
I mean, again, 1,000 yards of offense. No one played defense, but it's not. Look, the first half, DeSoto was definitely all over these guys. Ward is Mr. Everything. I mean, he throws it, he runs, he does everything for DeSoto. But again, 5 touchdowns, 451 yards.
You know what I love is to see a kid bounce back. He had a rough week throwing the football last week. Comes in a week of practice, knows it, recognizes it, takes it upon himself, drills his mechanics all week, comes out, balls out 33 of 36. That's what he finished. Near perfect stat line. 451 yards, 5 touchdowns. Like you said, Hek'ma, 100 yards on the ground, an extra touchdown. Kudos to Shundarian Ward, man. He had an absolutely phenomenal performance. He was able to really carry that DeSoto team, who did not play good defense.
No.
I mean, Waxahachie was able to go out there and run the football very effectively through the air, not as much, but they put up a lot of big plays offensively against that DeSoto Eagle D.
My guy DJ Hollywood for Waxahachie.
All name team right
All
there.
name team.
Great.
My guy, you like that? My guy.
I like that. My guy.
One thing I do know.
30 seconds.
One thing I do know is that their most famous alum at Waxahachie is Brian Waters.
Oh,
I can say that.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
You go fact check that.
No, that's a correct right there. I know that's right.
NFL team, give it to me.
He played for a bunch. Kansas City Chiefs, spent a little time with the
That's
Dallas Cowboys.
That's the one.
Come on, New
Chiefs
England.
is the one.
Yeah.
Let's
Bounced
go.
around. Well, mainly for the Chiefs, though, for the majority of his career.
Gold jacket? Does he
Of
have
course.
Yeah, one of the best
Absolutely.
guards I think to ever play.
Absolutely, no question.
Overall, I mean, the offense was there. The defenses, they struggled a little bit. And these are two teams coming into the game that only averaged 25 points per game on DeSoto's side and 22 for Waxahachie. So both teams leaving this game, I know there's no such thing as a moral victory or a good loss, but overall, you're leaving this game thinking, hey, our offense got going against another good team in our area. This could potentially be a springboard for those offenses to try and at least move up and play better over the next coming weeks. So look for both of these offenses. Waxahachie especially, that's a team that's traditionally been really good and had some weapons. Look for them to try and get off and put some bigger numbers up later on.
Yeah, absolutely. And DeSoto, just one more thing on them, 15 penalties, they still win the game. I mean, undisciplined game. game, and you still come out on top, win by 12. So that means you were doing something right. They need to clean up the penalties, obviously, but it is impressive to have that many and still come away with the victory.
It was actually a similar thing with South Oak Cliff, and I meant to ask there at 15 penalties. I'm sure that's something the coach wanted to clean up. No doubt about it.
Absolutely.
But you put up 15, like you said, and to still win, kudos to you.
No, and that's actually a good question. I wish we would have asked Coach Todd that earlier. We'll have to ask the next coach that we have coming through here. But just in general, when if you have a team that is prone to penalties like that, or you just have at least a game where you're talking 10, 15. We saw a team earlier, I can't remember which team it was now, that had 19 penalties.
Yeah.
Or that was Mesquite Horn. I'm Mesquite Horn.
Yep.
19 penalties. As a coach, what do you do? What do you do to stop that? Because everyone always talks about how that means you have an undisciplined team, and they always point to the coach when that happens.
Lunges, bear
what
crawls.
Is the coach? Is it just straight punishment?
Well,
What are you doing?
The thing in football is this is old cliche, the eye in the sky don't lie. And, they go back, they do film study, and there's certain things that are just bad teams. They just do them. They jump off sides, they hold, they do silly things. And so it's just, look, you show me a bad team, a team that you think is going to be good, and they are underwhelming. All I have to do is go to the stat sheet. They got a bunch of penalties, and they're not disciplined. And a lot of coaches will, subject their team to some type of physical punishment. But a lot of that also has to do with coaching. And so coaching, that's why I was asking, Coach Todd about his athletes. When you have a bunch of athletic guys out there, and you're having to obviously teach the game.
Yeah.
And so there's a difference between that. And that's I guess I call it the lost art of coaching. And so when you find those what we call, and you see how you talk differently about programs than actual, other schools, when you say, hey, they've built a program, and all of that is indicative of having a great coach.
Definitely. But DeSoto is one of those teams where as a program, they're elite. But they've gone through a bunch of turnover at their head coaching position the past few years.
Yeah, that whole thing was so ugly with the DeSoto program. I didn't appreciate that because the guy that was there before, he was righteous. I mean, he literally had good intention for those kids, and he took care of them. I mean, and then you have the new guy come in, not to undermine what he's doing or whatever, but still, that whole transition that DeSoto's had to go through is it's unfortunate.
Yeah, it is definitely unfortunate, but that's going to be a team to be reckoned with as well. And before we go to this Denison Frisco Reedy game at the Star, let's take a look at the highlights from the Star in Frisco tonight, as that game has gone final. Lebanon Trail and Frisco, as we take a look at just some of the last minute seconds and scenes as Frisco ends up winning that football game over Lebanon Trail. Final score on that one, 56-14, I believe, is the score. I got to look here.
Never a good way to lose on your homecoming, man.
Frisco Lebanon Trail's homecoming, and it's just an unfortunate time. 56-14 was the final score. But yeah, let's get to Denison and Frisco Reedy. This is a game last night that was not at the Star. It was actually across town here in Frisco, where Frisco Reedy ends up on top 45-20. And actually, I get word in my ear from the wonderful Chris, says it actually was at the Star at the Ford Center. So that one on Thursday. Frisco Reedy, 439 yards of total offense. They win at 45-20.
Yeah, their quarterback, Josh Foskey, over 250 yards of total offense. He was outstanding.
Foskey?
Yeah, Foskey, huh?
It's a good name.
Yeah,
Foskey.
Get this one. Denison goes up early, 7-0 to start District 7-5A, and then Frisco Reedy says, all right, that's fine. Bye-bye. 45 unanswered points until Denison finally gets a couple of cheapies in garbage time. But this is a Frisco Reedy team. Last week, we were monitoring their game, and we thought to ourselves, man, we probably need to start paying a little bit more attention to them. Undefeated to start this season. That 7-5A Division II district, Reedy, probably looks like the king of that castle currently.
Yeah, and they actually play defense too, which is not something you can say about a ton of these Frisco schools. But Reedy actually, they'll put up 45 points, but you see they forced 2 turnovers, and they've played pretty good defense throughout the entire slate of their first month of the season here.
Now,
so.
Reedy and Lone Star are 2 very good defensive teams.
Yeah, no, Lone Star, absolutely. Lone Star and Reedy are probably the cream of the crop of the Frisco schools. But Reedy coming out with a huge victory last night. I want to get back to Foskey though. Foskey, didn't we? Whenever like on the punt, whenever the punt's going and you don't want the return team to touch it, doesn't your punt returner yell "Oski, Oski, Oski"?
No, that's an interception.
Oh, the interception was Oski, Oski, Oski.
You were close.
Oh no, it's Peter. It's Peter for the punt. It's Peter for the
okay.
punt. Oski for the pick. Thank you, Hek'ma.
That's okay.
And Chris.
Well, guys, I've got an update. As we are finally done with all of our Thursday final scores, we have football.
You're kidding.
Being played.
What?
We've got a game going on right now. Adrian Jagus just sent me a text message, one of our lone reporters out because Guy Frazier headed home. His Tyler Eunice Trinity game didn't even start. Then he went to Plano East and McKinney Boyd. That game postponed till tomorrow morning. Well,
Guy's had a rough night.
Guy has had a rough night. He was at a game last night, though. But Adrian Jagus texted me and said, we've got kickoff in Midlothian as Arlington Seguin and Midlothian are underway finally. Kickoff time officially was 9:28.
Those poor kids playing in the elements. I mean,
playing
they're
in
going to be
elements.
Literally just half waist deep in mud piles out there, but they'll get it done.
That is a fun way to play football. I mean, at least if you're a high school kid,
that's true.
Okay, so there's no
filled
mud.
with rubber tires.
Never mind, it's not as fun.
It's not nearly as fun. Eric.
How are our predictions coming out?
There were a couple games that actually did go final. I know Cleburne and University. Anybody have any guesses on that game? I know
I picked Cleburne.
Eric and Zach picked Cleburne. Hek'ma and I picked Waco University
to win their second game in 4 years.
Yes.
And did they?
No.
My guy.
Victory, boys.
Cleburne ends up with the win.
Waco University.
Yeah, 47-3.
A lot of love for Waco University, man. That's a hell of a football team. Great
program. So it did not go. Cleburne is undefeated. They are 3-0. They beat Fort Worth South Hills 40-22, 41-20 over Chisholm Trail in week 2. Then they had a bye week, and now against Waco University, they win 47-3. When we come back, we've got football we can talk about. We'll also talk about some players to watch for the rest of the season, and we'll also talk to some reporters potentially about some of their games from last night. We'll be back with more Whataburger Friday Night Stars in just a little bit.
You know those little pins you push in a map? The ones that show you all the places you've traveled to? Well, thanks to American Airlines, you're about to run out of pins. With the most destinations of any airline in the world, American brings you closer to your next trip, wherever it is on the map. So, get ready to explore some new points of interest. The most destinations of any airline in the world. That's American Airlines. Pins not included.
Hats, backpack shorts and sneakers. Helmets, shoulder pads, knee pads, and cleats. Adidas and JanSport, Under Armour and Nike. Hoodies, jerseys, leggings, and shoes.
Start your back-to-school season for less with our head-to-toe selection of sports essentials for under $30 and top brands and footwear under $60. Academy Sports and Outdoors, for all for less.
Ever wonder what it's like to play for the Dallas Cowboys?
We scratch, we claw, we fight.
To sit in the same locker room as your favorite Cowboys players. To run into the end zone.
Touchdown, Cowboys!
You can do all that and more when you tour AT&T Stadium. Play on the field, see the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders' locker room, and gain access to areas where fans are never allowed on game day. It's all possible with AT&T Stadium Tours. Presented by SeatGeek. Tours are available daily. Visit attstadium.com for details.
It's true. Everything's better when the Cowboys win, especially Papa John's Pizza. New this season, every time the Cowboys win, you get 50% off regular menu price pizzas the next day at papajohns.com. That's half-price pizzas with promo code CowboysWin. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, official pizza of your Dallas Cowboys. Limited time offer. Not valid with any other coupons or discounts. Prices, participation, delivery area, and charges may vary.
This is the Pepsi that your father drank and your grandfather drank.
When I was your age, we worked for.
And your grandmother, she drank it too before she met him.
That was quite the catch, you know.
We know. This is the Pepsi that your Uncle Ted drank when rock sounded like this. And the one he drinks now that rock sounds like this. This is the Pepsi for American pastimes. Whether you're tailgating at a speedway or courtside watching your favorite player make a breakaway.
And he scored!
It even goes well with away games. This is the Pepsi that was made for your mom's famous 5-alarm chili. You know, the one she refuses to give the recipe to?
Never gonna happen.
Don't worry, your secret's safe with us. This is the Pepsi that makes you say, hee hee, ba 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 ba, and baby. This is the Pepsi for those who are forever fun. This is the Pepsi for every generation.
Welcome to your hometown Whataburger. We make sure that our customers get their order hot and fresh.
I ordered the original Whataburger.
I got the number 2 Whataburger double, and I got bacon on it because everyone loves bacon.
We don't make it until you order it.
Their ingredients are so fresh, and you can taste it. Tomato, lettuce, and the onions all the time is fresh.
We cut our vegetables 3 times a day.
They gave me a hot and fresh burger the way I like it, so I'm happy.
Your hometown Whataburger. Serving it hot and fresh all day, every day.
Dr. Pepper is the one you crave. But how do you explain that craving?
Imagine a surging river of ice-cool Dr. Pepper, roaring with carbonated mists of desire. You're dangling above it, upside down, like a fishing lure in the wind. 23 flavors tickle your nose, but the river is too far away to taste. Dr. Pepper calls to you. You.
Now that is a Dr. Pepper craving. Dr. Pepper, the one you crave.
Tour the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco. VIP guided tours give Cowboys fans an inside look at the place where the Dallas Cowboys train and work. Fans have the opportunity to see the Cowboys' state-of-the-art war room, grand atrium, a display of all 5 Super Bowl trophies and rings, and more. Connect with the Cowboys in ways you never imagined. VIP guided tours are available daily. Get your tour tickets now at thestarinfrisco.com. That's thestarinfrisco.com.
Located at Dallas Cowboys Headquarters at the Star in Frisco, Cowboys Fit offers a comprehensive gym experience with over 60,000 square feet of workout space, personal training, group fitness classes, a heated rooftop pool, and luxury amenities, including the same state-of-the-art equipment used in the Dallas Cowboys team facility. A dedicated recovery lounge featuring hydro massage and cryotherapy, a health and nutrition bar, and so much more. For more information or to join, visit cowboysfit.com.
Headquarters to the Dallas Cowboys, also headquarters to your news and your source for Friday Night Lights. It's Whataburger Friday Night Stars, produced by Game On Sports. As we're glad to be with you here from inside the Star in Frisco, Texas, and rain all around the forecast, but we do have some football, and I've got a touchdown highlight to show you boys
this
from
is what I wanted to see.
the laptop cam as Midlothian scores on the first drive that they have. It's right up at the end of that.
Let's see it again, Kyle. Can we see it again, Kyle?
I can see it again. It is the laptop cam, so let's rewind it. Goes right back into it just very easily. Just got the very tail end of that play, but overall,
But it's a touchdown.
It is a touchdown, and we've got football being played in the North Texas area. Thanks for joining us again and sticking with us as we are almost into hour number 4. We've got 18 minutes until that. We've got just about an hour until Friday Night Stars overtime hits. But Hek'ma Harrison, Zach Wolchuk, Eric Chiafalo, and Kyle Yeomans here holding down the fort, trying to stay safe. Everybody stay safe out there as well with the rain coming down. We've gone through some of the scores in terms of Thursday night action. A lot of games being moved up to Thursday because of the rain, trying to beat the weather. We went through Denton Ryan defeating Mesquite 38-3. Rowlett over Garland Naaman Forest 48-14. Garland over South Garland 28-21. Prosper 35, McKinney 7, Allen over Plano. Sorry, Mr. Zach Wolchuk 49-14.
It ain't nothing new, brother.
Ain't
That's a
nothing
13-year
new.
burn right there.
It is indeed. Saxe over Wiley 43-27. Arlington over Mesquite Horn in a great game 44-34. We heard from Coach Peach being interviewed by Ashley Pickle. We also had Ennis 38, North Forney 14, Mansfield Lake Ridge 34, South Grand Prairie, 34-22 was the score there. McKinney North over Rockwall Heath, 28-22. Rockwall well over Arlington Martin, 73-32. Trinity Christian Cedar Hill, 26. Melissa, 19. DeSoto over Waxahachie, 59-47. And Frisco Reedy over Denison, 45 to 20.
It's tough reading off those scores.
There's
You
a
start
lot
running
of
out
scores.
of breath.
Goodness gracious. I don't know how you guys do this on a week-to-week
we're
basis.
struggling too. We just are better at hiding it.
Wow.
Shots fired.
It just comes down to professionalism. That's all. Kyle.
That's all it is.
Yeah, you're beloved. We love you.
Oh, whatever. Okay, so moving on, guys. We've got some players to watch, and we've gone through these lists a couple times throughout the first 3 weeks. This is now into week 4, and we change it up every week. We try and bring somebody new to the forefront, somebody that you've been impressed by, somebody that you expect to be impressed by, and sometimes even just looking based off of recruiting. And today, we've got 4 absolute studs, just like usual. Hek'ma, since you are on camera with me right now, I'm going to start off with you. Who's your player to watch this week?
It pains me to say who my player to watch is.
Why?
He's a Madison Trojan.
Okay.
But you don't like Madison.
Yeah.
Why don't you like Madison? Tell the people.
Right?
Look, here's the thing. As I explained last week, there is a rivalry going on between Lincoln High School and Madison. It goes on for a long time.
Look at the graphic. It's Marcus Hill with Hek'ma's diamond on it. I love it.
You guys, I hate you guys so much, dude. I swear to you.
That is awesome.
But here's the thing.
So this is a diamond in the rough, Hek'ma.
It's my diamond in the rough.
He's got a beautiful mug.
Hey, Hek'ma's diamond in the rough. My guy is Marcus Cobbin Hill.
Okay.
Basketball player.
He's aged well.
Yeah, yes. But let me tell you something about this kid. He is mean in between those seams, brother. He is definitely taking care of business. I watched this kid run basically a 60-yard touchdown, and he ran over everybody that was wearing purple.
What's this dude like? I mean, we see 5'10", 210 pounds. He's built like a bowling ball.
He's bowling ball-esque. But
you just don't want to tackle this guy, not the guy you really want to get in front of.
I would say if this, it's going to age me a little bit. Maurice Jones-Drew.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
okay. Oh my gosh,
we all know
Jaguar,
it.
UCLA.
You guys are not that age.
5'7".
I called you old earlier, but it's not that old.
Look, guys, sometimes I pause and I'm like, wait a minute, that's
MJD.
So
I think we are 10.
He's got to remind you of MJD. One of those hard to break down guys, low center of gravity, big old thick legs. And so, I mean, he was just running over everybody from Lincoln.
No way his neck is as thick as MJD.
Oh, no, not if he did that, if he was like that in high school, then I definitely would have went down the sideline and reported that.
No question.
Definitely.
Something's on.
Something's on. But this kid, but I'm telling you, he is one. I want to point this out too, because before I noticed who this kid was, and I said, man, he's going to be my guy. I wanted to see if he was at least any star athlete. Did he have any stars by his name? Absolutely not.
Really?
And so then I'm thinking, all right, so this guy is not a star. No one's looking at him. And it just came to me that, the majority of guys that play at the next level, one star, no star guys.
Yeah.
Most of these guys are walk-on players. Here for the Dallas Cowboys, we have a team full of guys that no one knew who they were.
Yeah, undrafted, late rounds.
Exactly. Yeah. And so the thing about guys like this, and I think that's important, is that the work ethic is there. These guys get an opportunity to play maybe at a smaller school, and they get an opportunity to play at the next level. And so I see a kid like this Marcus Hill guy. He's definitely somebody that I would say college scouts are looking at him. Small school guy, maybe have to walk on somewhere, but he's definitely going to be a player.
And he's a senior this year?
Senior this year.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and with high school kids, man, not everybody develops the same.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? Some of these kids are freak shows by the time they're 14 years old, and they're bound for the SEC. Some of these other guys, dude, I'm 16, 17 years old. I haven't even hit the growth spurt that I need to hit. Now all of a sudden you're 18, 19, 20. You find yourself out of college. You were a walk-on, and now you're one of their better players. So hopefully it happens for your guy.
So.
Hey, this is giving him some shine right now, right? Friday
Right?
Night Stars.
It is.
He's taking his diamond in the rough.
Marcus Corbin Hill. That
Madison
great
High
head of
School.
hair on Marcus, by the way.
Yeah,
Just
he lost it
killing
early.
the game.
He lost it early.
It's weird. He looks a lot like Hek'ma.
My goodness, that dude is sharp.
Before we move on to Wolchuk's player to watch, we mentioned that Midlothian game earlier. Midlothian scored earlier, but I do want to go to the laptop cam really quickly because Seguin is driving. We need to do a little bit of a drop there. So this is a pass from Seguin from the camera of Adrian Jagish as they continue to drive. Look at that empty stadium. That's unfortunate because that's a beautiful place to play. And Seguin trying to make some moves here with Midlothian on the road. So we'll keep up with that game. It's still 7-0 at the moment. Midlothian on defense still with Seguin driving. Wolchuk, who is your player to watch? Week 4 edition.
Well, my guy for Week 4, and I've kind of been holding on to him. I've talked.
Is this Wolchuk's Warrior?
It's Wolchuk's Warrior of Friday Night Stars so far here tonight.
He's been bogarting this guy. He's been talking about him for weeks, but no one can use him as their player, and then all of a sudden he brings him out.
Come on, if you got to do the baby.
You want to take a guess?
No.
Is it, I don't know, Kyron Cumby from the hometown Plano?
Ding, 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 ding. Keeping it in the family. Kyron Cumby, a
Great
3-star
game last
recruit.
night.
Yes, from Illinois.
Incredible stat line last night.
7 catches, 67 yards last night. He struggled to run the football, but the whole team did. But this kid, look, if you want to turn on the tape, he's the fastest guy on the field every time he touches it. Kyron Cumby is an absolute lightning in a bottle, folks. This dude can start and stop on a dime. He took over the game for Plano last year against Denton Geyer. Ultimately, a game that Plano needed just to make the playoffs last year. Kyron Cumby is a special, special player, not only out of the backfield passing, but he has extreme vision running the football. And for as small as he is shifty, he is elusive, he's a tough runner. There's hardly anything this guy cannot do. Started getting a lot of offers, but man, Illinois is the team that ends up getting him. He's going to go up there. I think he's going to play with Lovie Smith. They're with the Fighting Illini.
Definitely getting a good
I know
coach.
another guy he's going to play with, but I'll hold off that name for just a second.
Okay.
But they're going to have a nice team out there. And we talked to Coach.
We did. We talked to Kelton Reed, the cornerbacks coach, and Plano's had a history. When you look at Rex Burkhead, who's now in the NFL, Brandon Stevens, a running back that went to UCLA a few years back. Plano runs the football. They feature a lot of running backs heavily. Kyron Cumby's a kid. Since he was a sophomore, you knew this dude is special. And in last year's game against Allen, I know he didn't get to break free last night. He did have the lone touchdown early for Plano, but he was running away from a ton of Division I athletes against Allen. This dude is an absolute spark plug.
Yeah, and he has been all season long. 44 attempts, 436 yards. So that's knocking on the door of 10 yards per rushing attempt.
Electric.
He has 7 touchdowns. And then in the receiving game, most of this came last night against a good Allen defense. 13 receptions, 102 yards. That's 8 yards per catch and a touchdown added on there. So he's got 8 total touchdowns through 3 games this season. And
that's what you call a dog.
Oh, yeah. Kyron Cumby.
And he's done it. And even though you were kind of joking a little bit, Eric, with that nice stat line, 67 yards against an Allen defense with, 6 receptions or 7 receptions?
7 catches.
7 catches last night. That's a good stat line against a good defense. He's not doing it against slubs out there.
No question, and it's always good for a running back to show, hey, when the ground game's not working, especially in today's football, you're seeing, being a back who can make plays out of the backfield is tremendously important.
That's
for
a great
an offense.
point.
Well,
Really
especially when you get
for a
down
defense.
early like that, right? So it basically the running game was taken out for Plano. So they're in a lot of trouble. So you're down multiple scores. You need big plays. You get the football in your best player's hands any way you can. And that's why he had so many catches last night, because Plano got down. But he's got one of the nastiest spin moves around. I think that's the thing for Kyron Cumby. If you watch him play, this dude's got a nasty spin. He will literally break your ankles.
And it's so tough that the small running backs, like we talked about the big bouldering running backs like your guy a second ago, but the really small ones, you're 5'8", 5'7", I can barely even see you behind your offensive line.
Point.
And then I got to get low to try to tackle you. Your center of gravity is already there, so it's honestly an advantage to be 5'7", 5'8" running back. And 177 pounds for 5'8" is not small. I mean, he's probably got some decent size
He plays
to
big,
him.
and he plays behind his pads. Absolutely. I mean, he's not a dude. Upper body strength is not his thing, but he's got some trunks down low to help him carry the load.
You think of running backs, and I bring up a name, the Barry Sanders of the world, those low center of gravity guys, but very shifty.
How about Darren Sproles, right? He's made himself a 10-plus year NFL veteran.
Yeah, well, I was just thinking kind of like of the best, but that's okay. We'll pull out Darren Sproles. Okay. He's a K-State guy. I'll go with that.
There you go.
But the thing is, again, you take a guy like that, big linebackers, you try and square that guy up, and you think you're going to kill shot on him, and next thing you know, your face is in the grass, and he's gone the other way. It sounds like who this kid is, basically. That's killer spin move. You hate that as a defensive player because you're trying to catch the guy instead of tackle the guy because you're scared you're going to end up on ESPN.
And then next thing you know, you're catching air. there and you're embarrassed.
Yeah, that's even worse.
Dude, that B button is lethal.
It is, yeah. Xbox,
works.
Madden,
It
NCAA,
works.
it definitely does work. Road to glory, baby. Gotta love those games, man. I wish they would come back.
I
One
don't
thing
think
that
I've
has,
seen Kyle get as excited.
gosh, I love NCAA football.
We need to bring it back.
Not as much
Goodness.
as Friday Night Football, though.
No, of course not. Well, I like the road to glory. You can create.
Yeah, I mean, we got
your team,
spreads
that
for
kind
these
of
teams.
thing.
So why can't we have a Texas high school football video game?
We might look into that.
Yeah, let's get it
Let's
going.
get Jerry on that kind of thing. One thing that is back, unlike the NCAA football franchise video games, but I know. One thing that is back, Highland Park, back in action with Brian Adams.
Oh, that must
game
be a tight one.
That was in delay. It is not a tight one. Highland Park 35 to
real
nothing.
close.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Padding the stats.
It has been a dominant performance so far from Chandler Morris and the Highland Park Scott so far. But they are back underway. They are playing football. Still 7-0 Midlothian over Seguin. Seguin still has the football as of right now, so that should be an interesting start to that football game because that's a Seguin team that going in we didn't necessarily give a whole lot of spotlight to. And Chiafalo, you are next on the list. Who is your player to watch?
Oh, I got the best guy here today.
Oh, I don't believe you.
Why does it always got to be like that? We can't just celebrate good football
No,
players.
it's just it's competition, man. Competition. I thrive off it.
Oh, man.
Marquez Beeson, gentlemen.
Okay.
Do you know the
Tell
name?
me about him.
Absolute athlete, 4-star. Okay, and Cumby's going to Illinois. Guess where my boy's going?
Is he going to Illinois?
He is going to Illinois.
Woo, we can
Now,
take the plane together.
Exactly. They're probably bros because Beeson, my guy here, has been on the recruiting trail a little bit. As soon as he committed to Illinois, now he was initially a Nebraska commit.
Oh, I don't know why you would decommit from Nebraska.
Well, because Illinois has Kyron Cumby, and he wanted to join Kyron Cumby.
That's fair.
Wow, okay.
So, and Beeson has really taken on the role of like reaching out to other guys that are, on the Illinois radar, trying to get them in there. So, anyways, Lovie Smith, Illinois might be onto something.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely putting their fingerprints in the North Texas recruiting trail here.
Tell
so
me
that's
more,
fantastic.
tell me more.
But this guy, 4-star athlete, he's the total package. He does it all, offensively and defensively. When I first watched this guy, I was wowed by his play at receiver. Now at Bishop Dunn, he's now at Duncanville. Okay, so he just transferred there for his senior year, but he played at Bishop Dunn leading up to this year, and he played quarterback, receiver, did some running back. I mean, he literally did it all, and he thrived everywhere. And when I first watched him, I was thinking, well, this dude's going to be a stud receiver somewhere, and that's actually where Illinois initially started recruiting him, was to be a receiver. Turns out Marquez wants to play defensive back. He wants to play corner.
Ooh, I can
And
see that.
The good news for him is he is a stellar corner. Now, the reason why is because he's an absolute freak show athlete, 4.4 speed, 36-inch vertical, and he's not small. You can see 5'11", 175 pounds. Now, he's 5'11", but his arms are freakishly long. I don't know exactly how long they are, but you can tell by just watching him play how long his arms are, and that really is an advantage for him when it comes to press coverage because he utilizes that
able to extend,
fantastically,
absolutely,
and he gets really physical. I mean, he's played all the positions, so he understands what it's like to be an offensive player going up against defense and vice versa. He is a physical corner. Okay,
I love that move for him, right? Because,
Yeah.
like, not that he wasn't a bad receiver, like you said.
he was amazing.
But I think
he was amazing.
he was amazing. But I
Still
think
is.
his body type kind of reminds me of like an Antonio Cromartie.
Yeah.
Do you think
not
that's
quite
that's
as
a solid
tall,
comp?
but in terms
But
of length of
right?
his arms
Yeah.
and just overall athletic ability, again, 4.4 speed, 36-inch
Oh,
vert.
hey, Hek'ma.
Hek'ma, what you got for me, man?
I just want to say here, can we get the camera back on me?
Oh, no, it's one of the...
Get the camera
between
back on me.
Eric and Hek'ma, my
They like
lord.
Hek'ma hogged the camera day.
God, I'm just a fan of football, guys.
Guys, week one of Friday Night Stars, I think my player to watch was Marcus Beeson.
Was he really?
Yeah. Yep. So I stealing my thunder once again.
What?
Wow.
Get ready.
I don't. Well, and see, they have him listed as a receiver
Wow.
there. He's going to play DB. Well, heck, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
He's my guy now. I don't know what to do. He was your guy.
He was
Now
so
he's
good, we
mine.
had to use him twice.
Do you understand? This guy right here, man.
Look,
just
I'll say
stealing
in
your
fairness,
shine.
Hek'ma,
What?
We do have a group text now. We got a Friday Night Stars group text.
Is that what it is?
Everybody's trying to get in it. You're in it too. Don't act like you're not. But
I specifically said Marquez Beeson is my guy.
Oh,
Chris is
not there.
Yeah, maybe if we had put Chris in, Chris would have said, "Hey, Hek'ma did that one already."
Yeah, well, Chris didn't tell me either before the show. When I gave
I
it to
should
him.
be in it because I make the graphics.
There's some.
That's true.
There's
That's true.
some miscommunication here, but bottom line is,
Hey, you know what? The
he's a
thing about it is it's okay, because if you're gonna copy me on something, that's the guy to do it too.
It's the finest form of flattery, right?
Yes, sir.
That's
I
all
mean,
that
he transferred. Was it Bishop Dunn, Bishop Lynn,
Bishop Dunn to Duncanville.
To Duncanville, not as if Duncanville needed any more dogs.
Yeah.
This kid, again, I mean, like you said about the freakishly long arms, but his top end speed. This guy is a
How
coach.
scary
really
would
can.
Bishop Dunn be, though, if they still had this
They
kid?
would be incredible.
Plus Brian Williams,
Yes.
who I featured week 1, the safety going to Texas A&M in that secondary. Whew. And they got Logan Wilson, who's another DB that's a D1 commit.
Yeah.
My goodness gracious.
and 44 offers. He turned down schools like LSU.
Yeah, everybody's offering this kid. That's the thing. That is the one
Lovie
thing.
Smith, man, something's going on there in Illinois to be able to get that
exactly
kid.
what I thought to myself. When I'm like, okay, 44 schools. Who did he turn down? He turned down pretty much LSU, Alabama, Auburn, Texas A&M.
Ohio State,
he
Texas,
turned down
Nebraska, everybody.
to say, I'm going to build a program at Illinois.
Yeah.
Okay.
Man,
and I've seen him talk about it. He just said he fell in love with the coaching staff and the environment there, and obviously the education. Yeah, and Kyron Company. I mean, I think they're sort of a package deal at this point.
Yeah, it seems that way.
Well, there are the players to watch in terms of this week edition, and I mean, some top.
Did you have a guy you wanted to get to?
I did. The only
Get
thing
to him.
is, well, he's
Did
an
Hek'ma steal
outstanding. No, he's an outstanding player.
He's a good player.
Trajan Bridges
baby,
from
Trajan.
Hebron.
Yeah.
Trajan, yeah, I guess I kind of merged the two. But Trajan Bridges from Hebron, 6'1", 181 pounds. He's currently committed to Oklahoma, has all the offers you could potentially ever think about. Ohio State, Alabama, the blue bloods of college football. However, he didn't play this weekend.
I don't think he's played the last two.
No, he didn't play this weekend. He had 106 yards, but apparently he got hurt in that game.
Okay.
Just a couple weeks ago. But yeah, didn't play against Keller Fossil Ridge, and Hebron was missing him 37-17. They lost that game to Keller Fossil Ridge. So
Fossil Ridge is tough.
Yeah, it's a good team.
Yeah, that was the game last week.
Hebron had. Oh, that was last week.
They're on a bye this week.
They're on a
off this
bye
week,
this week. Exactly. Yes. But they only had 40 yards passing. So they missed him. This is more Trajan Bridges. This is not necessarily a watch or not necessarily a player to watch this week. It's more of a player to watch down the way, and also a kind of a get well type of player to watch. I had this guy on my list at the start of the season, had him on week 4. I could have switched it out, but I decided not to because I thought, hey, this is a guy who really, really is going to put up some big numbers. But we've got 30 minutes until Whataburger Friday Night Stars overtime. So we're going to take our final break of the regular show here from the Star in Frisco. When we come back, we'll run down the scores, update you on the games that are live, and we'll get you ready for overtime right here from Frisco.
You know those little pins you push in a map? The ones that show you all the places you've traveled to? Well, thanks to American Airlines, you're about to run out of pins. With the most destinations of any airline in the world, American brings you closer to your next trip, wherever it is on the map. So, get ready to explore some new points of interest. The most destinations of any airline in the world. That's American Airlines. Pins not included.
Hats, backpack shorts and sneakers. Helmets, shoulder pads, knee pads, and cleats. Adidas and JanSport, Under Armour and Nike. Hoodies, jerseys, leggings, and shoes.
Start your back-to-school season for less with our head-to-toe selection of sports essentials for under $30 and top brands and footwear under $60. Academy Sports and Outdoors, for all for less.
Ever wonder what it's like to play for the Dallas Cowboys?
We scratch, we claw, we fight.
To sit in the same locker room as your favorite Cowboys players. To run into the end zone.
Touchdown,
Cowboys. You can do all that and more when you tour AT&T Stadium. Play on the field, see the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders' locker room, and gain access to areas where fans are never allowed on game day. It's all possible with AT&T Stadium Tours, presented by SeatGeek. Tours are available daily. Visit attstadium.com for details.
It's true. Everything's better when the Cowboys win, especially Papa John's Pizza. New this season, every time the Cowboys win, you get 50% off regular menu price pizzas the next day at papajohns.com. That's half-price pizzas with promo code CowboysWin. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, official pizza of your Dallas Cowboys. Limited time offer. Not valid with any other coupons or discounts. Prices, participation, delivery area, and charges may vary.
This is the Pepsi that your father drank and your grandfather drank.
When I was your age, we worked for.
And your grandmother, she drank it too before she met him.
That was quite the catch, you know.
We know. This is the Pepsi that your Uncle Ted drank when rock sounded like this. And the one he drinks now that rock sounds like this. This is the Pepsi for American pastimes. Whether you're tailgating at a speedway or courtside watching your favorite player make a breakaway.
And he scored!
It even goes well with away games. This is the Pepsi that was made for your mom's famous 5-alarm chili. You know, the one she refuses to give the recipe to.
Never gonna happen.
Don't worry, your secret's safe with us. This is the Pepsi that makes you say, hee, ba, 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 and baby. This is the Pepsi for those who are forever fun. This is the Pepsi for every generation.
Welcome to your hometown Whataburger. We make sure that our customers get their order hot and fresh.
I ordered the original Whataburger.
I got the number 2 Whataburger double, and I got bacon on it because everyone loves bacon.
We don't make it until you order it.
Their ingredients are so fresh, and you can taste it. Tomato, lettuce, and the onions, all the time is fresh.
We cut our vegetables 3 times a day.
They gave me a hot and fresh burger the way I like it, so I'm happy.
Your hometown Whataburger. Serving it hot and fresh all day, every day.
Dr. Pepper is the one you crave. But how do you explain that craving?
Imagine a surging river of ice-cool Dr. Pepper, roaring with carbonated mists of desire. You're dangling above it, upside down, like a fishing lure in the wind. 23 flavors tickle your nose, but the river is too far away to taste. Dr. Pepper calls to you. You.
Now that is a Dr. Pepper craving. Dr. Pepper, the one you crave.
Tour the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco. VIP guided tours give Cowboys fans an inside look at the place where the Dallas Cowboys train and work. Fans have the opportunity to see the Cowboys' state-of-the-art war room, grand atrium, a display of all 5 Super Bowl trophies and rings, and more. Connect with the Cowboys in ways you never imagined. VIP guided tours are available daily. Get your tour tickets now at thestarinfrisco.com. That's thestarinfrisco.com.
Located at Dallas Cowboys Headquarters at the Star in Frisco, Cowboys Fit offers a comprehensive gym experience with over 60,000 square feet of workout space, personal training, group fitness classes, a heated rooftop pool, and luxury amenities, including the same state-of-the-art equipment used in the Dallas Cowboys team facility. A dedicated recovery lounge featuring hydro massage and cryotherapy, a health and nutrition bar, and so much more. For more information or to join, visit cowboysfit.com.
Friday Night Stars rolls on, presented by Whataburger, produced by Game On Sports. We are almost done with the original Friday Night Stars. Friday Night Stars Overtime coming up at 10:30. We'll welcome in the voice of the Prosper Eagles, Mr. Brian Sutcliffe. Whenever that time hits, he'll join us at 10:35. But for right now, before we get to overtime, we talked very quickly about college football in the video games, but we completely failed to mention there are some North Texas area quarterbacks, not quarterbacks, but players in general that are making huge waves at the Division I, Power 5, non-Power 5 level, it doesn't matter, that are really making impacts and had huge games last week in their respective programs. Let's run through some of those. We'll start things off with the Grapevine native and Texas Tech quarterback Alan Bowman, freshman QB last week against Houston. That's a game where he had to look across the line of scrimmage and see Heisman candidate defensive lineman Ed Oliver, and look at the numbers that he has put up so far. Had the 5 TDs, didn't throw an interception, over 600 yards passing.
Yeah, and Alan Bowman's one of those kids. I got to see him play receiver in 2016. They had another quarterback there that went to play D1. Then he shifts over, just an all-around athlete to play quarterback at Grapevine. Man, Alan Bowman, and to be thrust into a situation like that at Texas Tech as a freshman, due to injury, you're now stepping up. You're the guy. He's answered the call.
Yeah, Bowman's a kid. I got a chance to see him against Colleyville Heritage. And big arm, big kid.
Really big
also,
kid.
It's surprising to see him. He's 6'2". I thought it was more like 6'3", 6'4". But still, big arm, and definitely went to the right program because they're going to air it out. And he's getting an opportunity to display his talent for sure.
His game was so big, he received Big 12 Newcomer of the Week, Walter Camp National Player of the Week, Manning Awards Star of the Week, the Davey O'Brien Great 8 list, and the Earl Campbell Tyler Rose Player of the Week.
Jeez, they get a key to the city?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, this dude
that's what's coming
National
next.
Alan Bowman Day in Lubbock.
And they're used to having good quarterbacks. We talked about Graham Harrell earlier. I think we even have a Patrick Mahomes reference on this show.
Yeah, Pat Mahomes.
Yeah, we did at some point.
Yeah, we've run the docket right there for Texas Tech quarterbacks. And
Davis Webb.
Yeah, okay, boom. There you go. I think we've mentioned Baker Mayfield once or twice on this show too. So wow, Texas Tech quarterbacks, there's a heck of a lineage, and this dude is absolutely balling right now.
Yeah, he definitely is, and he's going to have to ball again coming up this week as he's got Oklahoma State on the horizon. We'll stick
as he fights for a Heisman.
As he fights for a Heisman. Hey, I like it.
Back.
We'll stick with the Big 12. Kyler Murray, your favorite quarterback
I'm excited for
ever.
This one.
Zach Wolchuk, how about you start us off?
Why?
On what Kyler Murray had to do?
You're a hater.
Why?
You're a Kyler Murray hater.
I'm not a Kyler Murray hater.
You're an Allen hater.
Great.
No, it's not that I don't think he's that great. As a high school quarterback in the state of Texas, he's one of the best we've ever seen.
How about what he's doing at the college level, though?
I think he's a product of an excellent system at Oklahoma, and if it weren't him, it'd be somebody else.
Wow.
Could you say the same thing about Alan Bowman at Texas Tech?
I think Alan Bowman would be doing just as well as at Oklahoma as Kyler Murray is right now. And I know that in high school football, people love Kyler Murray. There's no reason not to. What the dude did here is unheard of. He's a sensational player, and he's doing really, really well at Oklahoma. Don't get me wrong, but I just think that a lot of other guys could do that as well.
I do not agree.
Yeah, I don't agree with it.
That's
the reason the kid's going to play baseball, folks. He knows that's
because he's really good.
Because he's really good,
he's better
right?
at baseball. He shouldn't stick with baseball. He's too small to play at the next level.
You know what?
That's not an indictment on him as a football player, though.
Guys,
no.
The Plano hate is serious.
Yeah.
Like my Madison hate.
Salty.
I get it. But look.
Rub a little salt in those wounds, Wolchuk.
Look, Kyler Murray is at the next level. A kid coming from Allen High School. He is balling. Balling on the national stage. Everybody sees it. I mean, elusive.
So good. Why didn't he start at A&M? Why is this his first year starting?
Elusive.
He was young.
Okay.
Great arm.
He's still got an extra year of eligibility.
Is he using it?
No, because he's getting paid millions of dollars. Would you use it?
If I love football enough, I'd use
it. You just completely just rained on the whole parade. What we're doing is celebrating kids from Texas that are doing great things
and
on
let
the
Kyler get his shine, but you wanted to bring me into it. Look, great quarterback. What he did at Allen, awesome. What he's doing at Oklahoma, congratulations. But that's a system where a lot of quarterbacks could excel in.
And he is doing a great job. Let's move on before Zach
before we
derails
you guys
everything.
Go ahead.
I do want to ask about just the whole general, is he not risking anything right now by playing
absolutely.
college
he
football?
is because he loves football.
Okay, and that's fine.
Loves it so much.
That's great. You love football so I just think, is he not one injury away from totally?
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely a risk.
Completely the case, but he's doing pretty well. 8 touchdowns and
he's been
interception.
unbelievable.
How about the all-name team? Lil Jordan Humphrey from Texas, wide receiver, put up some good numbers against USC, had a touchdown on 4 receptions, and He's had 2 scores already on the year.
My question for him is his first name Lil and middle name Jordan, or is his first name Lil Jordan?
His first name's Lil Jordan.
Okay.
And guys, look how you see how big this dude is.
Awesome.
6'4", 225. He was a running back at South Lake.
Right. Yes. And he was huge at South Lake.
Yes.
Hard to bring down, but Lil Jordan. And it's nothing little about this kid.
LJ. Nothing little about him.
Nothing little about him.
Didn't we have a Little Berry last week who was one of the biggest people we've ever seen?
Yeah.
And now we got Lil Jordan who's could play guard in the NBA.
Yeah, he's a difference maker, but at the same time, I mean, he had a good game last week, but really the numbers hadn't been there. But great week last week.
No, he had a great game last week. He's the best receiver at Texas right now. Him and Gerard Hurd, a former Denton Geyer player who was also an excellent high school player here in DFW. But Lil Jordan's doing, I mean, he's going to be the guy at Texas at the receiver position for the next few years.
Yeah. 6'4", 225. That's huge.
Big time player in terms of size. Goodness gracious. Yeah. I mean, with the size on the outside that Texas has, they've got definitely the size, the speed is where they kind of lack on that offensive side. But they're going to have to keep up with some speed with TCU coming into town this weekend. You going to watch that game?
Oh, of course.
I'm absolutely going to be watching that game. Now, the speed of Lil Jordan, because I'm not overly familiar with him, is he fast? Because he's built like he almost could be a tight end if he was. I mean, I would think if he wasn't fast, they would probably have him at tight end. He's
probably 4'5", 4'6". He's fast, but he's not.
He's definitely fast to play. He can play receiver. I don't think that he's a tight end. He's not a Tyron Swoops type big, but he's, I mean, he played running back in high school, so that tells you he's fast enough to get the job done.
Sure.
Yeah, literally out physicals everyone at the. I mean, not at the line of scrimmage because everybody's playing 10 yards off the ball nowadays anyway. So,
but 50-50 balls all hit.
That's him.
Okay,
that's him. He's the man for that. Anything corner, fade routes, all of that.
And he's raw. He's learning how to play the position still. So he's scratching the surface of his potential.
Yeah, he definitely is. Now, moving on from that one, let's go to Juwan Washington from San Diego State. A little under the radar as a junior coming out of Kennedale, another under the radar type of guy, but even with the undersized 5'7", 190,
hey, we talked
putting
about
up good numbers.
At the running back position, 5'7".
Pretty much Kyron Cumby's size right there. Come on.
5'7" is really, if anything, I think it's an advantage. I mean, to be 5'7" at that position, you can say it's an advantage. Every other position in really all those sports, you pretty much want to be pretty tall or as tall as possible, but like 5'7" for a running back is almost ideal.
Yeah. San Diego has been producing some pretty good running backs. The kid Penny that ended up going to I believe Seattle.
Facing the Cowboys.
This kid is just kind of cut from that same cloth. But again, speedy guy, 5'7", 190, kind of under the radar now because he's playing those West Coast games while we're all sleeping.
I'm up chasing, baby. I'm a degenerate.
His game starts at 10:30. But yeah, definitely a guy that's making everything of his opportunity that's getting to San Diego.
And that's a running back school a little bit.
Marshall
Falk. Think about some of that. Yeah, Marshall Falk's obviously the
you guys aren't too young.
Oh no, man! Greatest show on turf. I know. Mike Martz and Kurt Warner,
Oz Hakeem.
Now you're just showing off.
Isaac Bruce.
But versus Arizona State, Arizona's pretty
Kyle
tough.
Thurley.
Yeah, that's true.
Good name.
That's true.
Leonard Little.
Keep going.
Tommy Polly.
Grant Wistrom.
Oh, Grant Wistrom. I like Aeneas Williams.
I like that one. Dre Bly.
Were you 2 when Aeneas was playing?
2.5.
Yeah.
I was going on 3.
Yeah.
No, I was probably 5 when he was on the Cardinals.
I remember that Mike Jones tackle on Kevin Dyson like he was yesterday.
Who? Mike Jones.
What's up? Hey, give it to me, boy. Walter was like,
man. What? I don't know what's going on, Will Chuck.
It's okay.
It's okay.
These two their heads are spinning right now.
I have no idea what's going on.
Mike Jones.
I fought it so hard.
Oh, it is really fun being able to see DFW products making such an impact, and we'll see a lot of that coming up with Texas
balling,
and
Kyler
TCU.
Murray.
Do want to go to the
You too,
break
Mike
real
Jones.
quickly. When we come back, we will start Whataburger Friday Night Stars overtime and heading into the break. How about a little bit of touchdown action? 52 yards out. Nolan Samak, he's off to the left of your screen that quick. Oh, catching up to him. Look at this. He's going to drag a couple defenders into the end zone.
Will not be denied.
Midlothian leads it 16-7. We'll be back in a moment.
This is the Pepsi that your father drank and your grandfather drank.
When I was your age, we worked for.
And your grandmother, she drank it too before she met him.
That was quite the catch, you know.
We know. This is the Pepsi that your Uncle Ted drank when rock sounded like this. And the one he drinks now that rock sounds like this. This is the Pepsi for American pastimes. Whether you're tailgating at a speedway or courtside watching your favorite player make a breakaway.
Shoots, and he scores!
It even goes well with away games. This is the Pepsi that was made for your mom's famous 5-alarm chili. You know, the one she refuses to give the recipe to.
Never gonna happen.
Don't worry, your secret's safe with us. This is the Pepsi that makes you say, hee, ba, 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 and baby. This is the Pepsi for those who are forever fun. This is the Pepsi for every generation.
Welcome to your hometown Whataburger. We make sure that our customers get their order hot and fresh.
I ordered the original Whataburger.
I got the number 2 Whataburger double, and I got bacon on it because everyone loves bacon.
We don't make it until you order it.
Their ingredients are so fresh, and you can taste it. Tomato, lettuce, and the onions all the time is fresh.
We cut our vegetables 3 times a day.
They gave me a hot and fresh burger the way I like it, so I'm happy.
Your hometown Whataburger. Serving it hot and fresh all day, every day.
Tour the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco. VIP guided tours give Cowboys fans an inside look at the place where the Dallas Cowboys train and work. Fans have the opportunity to see the Cowboys' state-of-the-art war room, grand atrium, a display of all 5 Super Bowl trophies and rings, and more. Connect with the Cowboys in ways you never imagined. VIP guided tours are available daily. Get your tour tickets now at thestarinfrisco.com. That's thestarinfrisco.com.
It's true. Everything's better when the Cowboys win, especially Papa John's Pizza. New this season, every time the Cowboys win, you get 50% off regular menu price pizzas the next day at papajohns.com. That's half-price pizzas with promo code CowboysWin. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, official pizza of your Dallas Cowboys. Limited time offer, not valid with any other coupons or discounts. Prices, participation, delivery area, and charges may vary.
Dr. Pepper is the one you crave. But how do you explain that craving?
Imagine a surging river of ice-cold Dr. Pepper, roaring with carbonated mists of desire. You're dangling above it, upside down, like a fishing lure in the wind. 23 flavors tickle your nose, but the river is too far away to taste. Dr. Pepper calls to you. You.
Now that is a Dr. Pepper craving. Dr. Pepper, the one you crave.
Located at Dallas Cowboys Headquarters at the Star in Frisco, Cowboys Fit offers a comprehensive gym experience with over 60,000 square feet of workout space, personal training, group fitness classes, a heated rooftop pool, and luxury amenities, including the same state-of-the-art equipment used in the Dallas Cowboys team facility. A dedicated recovery lounge featuring hydro massage and cryotherapy, a health and nutrition bar, and so much more. For more information or to join, visit cowboysfit.com.
You know those little pins you push in a map? The ones that show you all the places you've traveled to? Well, thanks to American Airlines, you're about to run out of pins. With the most destinations of any airline in the world, American brings you closer to your next trip, wherever it is on the map. So, get ready to explore some new points of interest. The most destinations of any airline in the world. That's American Airlines. Pins not included.
Hats, backpack shorts and sneakers. Helmets, shoulder pads, knee pads, and cleats. Adidas and JanSport, Under Armour and Nike. Hoodies, jerseys, leggings, and shoes.
Start your back-to-school season for less with our head-to-toe selection of sports essentials for under $30 and top brands and footwear under $60. Academy Sports and Outdoors, for all for less.
Ever wonder what it's like to play for the Dallas Cowboys?
We scratch, we claw, we fight.
To sit in the same locker room as your favorite Cowboys players. To run into the end zone.
Touchdown, Cowboys!
You could do all that and more when you tour AT&T Stadium. Play on the field. See the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders' locker room and gain access to areas where fans are never allowed on game day. It's all possible with AT&T Stadium Tours. Presented by SeatGeek. Tours are available daily. Visit attstadium.com for details.
Week 4 of Texas high school football. This is Whataburger Friday Night Stars Overtime, where we give you everything you need to know over the entire week of high school football. Most of the games delayed or moved due to weather, but we are here and we're going to give you every single score throughout the area that we have ready for you. Kyle Yeomans, Hek'ma Harrison, Zach Wolchuk, and Eric Chiafalo. We're live from the Star in Frisco at the Dallas Cowboys Headquarters, and it is the headquarters of high school football each and every week, 7 to 11, but 10:30 to 11, it's called Overtime.
Overtime, 30 minutes of all the action just stuffed into a little 30-minute package so you can see it all.
See it all. And there's a lot to get to. We're going to get to it really quickly here, starting off with Denton Ryan and West Mesquite, a Denton Ryan team we talked about in the previous part of Whataburger Friday Night Stars, and they come away with a big-time win.
Denton Ryan staying undefeated, 38-3. They get the victory over West Mesquite. Defense, again, the story for the Ryan Raiders. 3 forced turnovers, 2 of them points on the board for that defense. A fumble recovery for a touchdown, an interception return for a touchdown. Amani Bailey got things going on the ground, a couple of touchdowns. Man, for Ryan, it's just all about, can they get that offense going? We know that defense is special. That defense is elite, really.
Carrying that team.
No joke.
Will carry them through the season and into the playoffs. Can a quarterback step up? Who started for him?
It was Ian Hennigan who started, 6 of 9, 79 yards. Not a crazy, awesome stat line. His younger brother, Seth Hennigan, both the sons of head coach Dave Hennigan, got into the action. But Drew Sanders, also another touchdown run. And he's looming. And guys, I saw a top 100 list of the best quarterbacks in DFW. And Drew Sanders
was on the
number
list.
2.
Right.
Number 2.
What?
Right.
On the list. So,
and they don't play him. That is
well, no. He starts both ways.
No,
so that's
but not
the thing.
at quarterback.
But not at quarterback. But that's the thing. He's their best linebacker. I mean, you talk about why that defense is so good. He's
Sanders.
a big reason to why the defense is so good as well.
I hear you. I
So
hear you.
it's tough because you think a school like Ryan, who was once a 6A team that's now dropped down to 5A, they shouldn't have a scarcity of kids to where they've got to play guys both ways. They clearly put their best players and athletes out there on the field, but
Drew Sanders is that kid. He is the one
guy.
kid. I'm telling you guys, if you get a chance to see this kid live, he is so impressive. Physical specimen, a senior linebacker, going to Oklahoma commit, and they have him listed as a tight end.
Mm-hmm.
That isn't going to happen. But as far as his pad level and the way that he plays the linebacker position, this kid is sideline to sideline. Everything he does is downhill. But on offense, is what's freaky about him is he's such an athlete. You can hand him the ball. You could give him the ball. He can throw the ball. I mean, I think he won a game for Ryan already this year in the last-minute touchdown.
Overtime, yeah.
Last week, wasn't it?
A couple weeks ago.
It was 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks.
They were off last week.
But again, you bring up a good point about Ryan. I mean, this is a team that everyone expected at this point to not have any doubt about their ability. But there are some question marks. Why are there question marks when they're blowing, kind of winning these games and they beat West Mesquite 38-6? But still, there are questions because when you look at the stat line, not a dominant performance by Ryan.
No, I'm just curious whenever it gets playoff time. Are you gonna put your best quarterback in?
Absolutely.
Whenever you go up
that.
against better offenses, how is that defense going to respond? Because right now they're carrying your football team.
No
They've
doubt.
looked good.
Great.
But is that good? Yeah, they have.
No, they looked great. And we talked about that district with the Grapevine and Colleyville Heritage, 2 teams with explosive offenses. We just featured Alan Bowman.
Mm-hmm.
He comes from that line of the Grapevine Mustangs. They are able to put points on the board.
Right.
What does Ryan do to counteract that? I don't think that Dave Hennigan, when we just talked about, he plays guys both ways. If he thinks that his best way to succeed is to play Sanders at quarterback in the playoffs, he'll do it.
Yeah, and another team with a lot of question marks heading into this week was Garland, Naaman, Forest. Well, they faced up against a freight train and Rowlett. Rowlett winning this game 48-14. What went on in this one, Eric?
Man, the story of this game is just turnovers and special teams, really. Naaman Forest had 5 turnovers, 4 of which were fumbles. 2 of those fumbles were on consecutive botched punts for Naaman Forest, and that resulted in 2 easy, quick scores for Rowlett. That really got him going, and then if you're going to turn the ball over 5 times in a game, that is not going to be a recipe for success. And Rowlett, man, they actually do have a good football team. I mean, I know Naaman Forest it's not some huge win to go crazy about, but Rowlett getting it done again. And, we really wanted to see that game against Rockwall And unfortunately, we did not get to see that. That would really have told a lot about both of those teams. But Rowlett gets it done again against a team in Naaman Forest that is struggling really to do much of anything. Scoring the ball, they really can't score. They put up 14 in this game.
Right.
The first time they scored wasn't until towards the end of the third quarter. I mean, that's just it's not a great Naaman Forest football team, but a solid Rowlett victory.
Yeah. Our Rowlett defense is, man,
that's
these guys.
the key, right?
That's the key.
That's the thing
five turnovers. And most of those yards, that 121 yards rushing, came in garbage time at the end of the game. And so Rowlett truly dominated from the first quarter all the way to the last whistle. It was, Rowlett everything.
Yeah, and they didn't necessarily do anything passing-wise in terms of, you look at the 97 yards overall. That's split up between two different quarterbacks. Palmer Campbell started the game at only 25 yards, or he had 89 yards, but he only had 2 completions. One of those was a touchdown from Campbell, but overall, Rowlett able to shut down Palmer Campbell. And then you had Francisco Beltran come in later in that ball game, and he looked a little bit better in terms of percentage-wise, but instead of 25%, it was only 50% overall. So that Rowlett defense looking pretty good, putting
Undefeated.
up 14 points, and they are, like you said, 3-0. Would have been a lot of fun to see them against that Rockwall offense, but can't get that Week 2 matchup back. South Garland and Garland. How about the Owls getting the job done?
Well, I'll tell you what, the Owls have definitely turned the program around with this one victory. I mean, 1 and 2, they were definitely looking to get a victory coming in because they hadn't had one. But South Garland, in a little bit of a surprise. I mean, Coach Ragsdale had these guys really looking good at 2-1. I think the only loss that they had at the beginning of the season was to Princeton, and Princeton is a really good team. Again, Josh Ragsdale for South Garland had a big game, but man, the passing was so underwhelming. I mean,
I'm blown away looking at that right now. Less than 30 yards passing combined in the entire game.
Yeah, it's hard to do that. It's hard to do that, but they did it. But again, both of these defenses, they came in giving up a ton of yards. But also, I want to point out the fact that the Garland Owl program for as much as for years has been very dominant in that district. They've taken a few years off, but this is a win for them that gets them back on the right track in that district, because they have a lot of tough schools. They have the Lakeview Centennial and other schools that they're going to have to come against. But also Devontae Thompson, a junior running back, and Monty Miller completely controlled the clock from the ground standpoint. But Garland Owls, they pull it out.
You got to give a lot of credit to Jason Washington coming off the bench in that game at quarterback for Garland to get that victory. I think it was 123 yards for him and the touchdown.
Yeah.
Hey, they got some pride there. That's a rivalry game, and Garland's going down this year. They got the bragging rights.
I can't imagine scoring or throwing for 9 yards in a game.
You won't let that go, will you?
No, I just can't. I can't get over it. 17 yards and 9 yards.
Yeah. Pretty unbelievable. And both these teams have tough matchups coming up on the horizon. If you're South Garland, you got Garland Lakeview Centennial next week. That could potentially be your 3rd win of the season. But then you got Rowlett on the horizon. That's a Thursday night matchup on October 4th. If you're Garland, on the other hand, you got Wiley on the road. Then you face Saxe at home.
Yeah.
So 2 tough matchups.
Saxe game's big.
That is a big-time matchup. And then moving on from that, let's go to McKinney and Prosper. The Prosper Eagles overall in this ball game put up some numbers, but how about holding McKinney? This is probably one of the more impressive defensive stat lines all day long, or all weekend long, holding that defense to 100 yards. My goodness.
Yeah, and it was all Wayne Anderson really on the ground for this one for Prosper. I mean, Wayne Anderson, not only did he rush for a nice chunk of change, also involved in the receiving game. So this Prosper Eagle team, man, look out in that district. 9-6A with Allen, with Plano East. They're up there and competing to win this district. I'm excited.
There's some fun matchups lying ahead that involve Prosper, and that Allen game is one to circle. And like you said, the Plano East one, certainly
I think
one
that's
to circle.
the one, that Prosper Plano East one, because they're probably, let's be real, Allen's probably going to beat all those teams and go undefeated. But who's going to get that second spot? And I think it's going to come down to Prosper and East. Both teams very balanced offensively. Brandon Mallory leading the charge for the East Panthers. And then you got Shoemaker at quarterback for Prosper. They're not one-dimensional. Shoemaker's a good player in his own right.
Prosper, don't take that. These guys telling you you're going to get number 2. I don't settle for that. You guys can get number 1.
Hey, fight for number 1. But look, if you're a 5A school coming to play up in 6A, if you finish second in a district Allen in your first year, That ain't anything to be upset about, man.
Okay.
No, by no means, but I get where Hek'ma's coming from right here because they've shown nothing but strength throughout their first 4 games. Prosper 35-7 here. They beat Flower Mound, which was a playoff team from a year ago, 52-21, 56-14 over Keller Timber Creek. Garland, Naaman Forest, they blew them out. But look at the schedule coming up soon. So that test for Prosper, we're going to know a lot about this Prosper Eagle team coming up in the next coming weeks because they got that Plano East matchup next week. Then after that, it's Jesuit at home on the road against McKinney Boyd. Then you got Plano West and then Allen on the road in Eagle Stadium, and that's going to be on Friday, November 2nd. We're now joined, though, by the voice of Prosper football, Mr. Brian Sutcliffe with SportsGram. And Brian, you know, there's a lot of hope. There's a lot of optimism about a first year in the 6A level, but overall, this Prosper team has looked really good through 4 games.
Yeah, guys. Hey, great to be with you. It looks a lot like Prosper when they moved up to the 4A, now 5A classification back in 2012. There were a lot of questions about how the program would make that jump that many will tell you is the toughest to go from what was then 3A to 4A, really moving from the small to big school classification. And you may remember that team ended up going to the 3rd round of the playoffs and played Lancaster off their feet, and Lancaster went on to to finish runners-up that year. So it's a program that understands what it means to make this jump, and they understand how to be successful doing it. And a lot of questions, once again, coming into this season about what the program was going to have, not only moving into 6A, but moving into a very difficult District 9 6A. And the program feels really good about where it stands right now. When you look at the squad through the first 4 games, showing a lot of balance on both sides of the football. Offensive coordinator Tyler Moore has got some really deep lineup. You look at the quarterback, Keegan Shoemaker, been one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the area this year. Wayne Anderson, probably one of the most unsung star tailbacks anywhere in the area, has put up multiple touchdowns in every game this year. Justin Clark, right near the top of the area, and touchdown catches. Offensive line, they go by the Steamrollers. Those guys have got an attitude. Left to right, studs at all 5 positions, and they can roll guys in there as well. There's probably more depth on this squad than you might expect, a team making the jump from 5A now to 6A. And similarly, on the defensive side of the ball, they got a first-year defensive coordinator in Bill Robertson, and he inherited a lineup that was missing a lot of starters from a season ago. So there was a little bit of a question on what that defense was going to be able to do. But as you guys talked about just a few minutes ago in the performance yesterday against McKinney, taking on Cordrick Dunn, a very talented running back, dropped 340 on J.J. Pierce last week, and Prosper was able to hold that offense to 100 yards. And so really, I think no one associated with the program would tell you that they're surprised by what they've been able to do so far, but they've taken care of business and have put themselves in a good position to really get into the meat now of district play, feeling good about what they're doing on both sides of the football. And we'll just see as the season continues to go. But it's been a fun ride so far.
Brian, I know that offense has been pretty stellar, putting up points. Really, like, it seems incredibly easy for them to put up 56 points on any given game. And I know you mentioned the defense, but what is it about that defense that has been so good? You mentioned their performance this past week, and really throughout the entire season, they've been pretty awesome. What is it about that defense under that new defensive coordinator that is making them play so well?
Well, anyone on the coaching staff that you talk to, if it's Coach Brandon Schmidt, if it's Bill Robertson, these guys, they really preach fundamentals and assignments. And when you watch Prosper's defense play, they've got guys in the right spot, and you can tell they're confident about what they're doing. You don't see a lot of missed tackles. You don't see a lot of busted coverages. Where they're supposed to be a guy, there's a guy. And sometimes that sounds kind of simple, but that Prosper has played really sound fundamental football on defense. Really strong at all 3 levels. They've new starters on the defensive front, and those guys have been terrorizing backfields all season long. They've got some studs at linebacker. One guy you're going to want to keep an eye on, Aiden Ciano, is one of the top-rated sophomore linebacking prospects. He's been fantastic. Cody Gallegos is a 3-year player on varsity. He's really stepped up his senior year. He had a fumble recovery touchdown in the first game of the season, multiple sacks this year, and then defensively in the defensive backfield, you got a guy like Devin Haskins, who was an all-district caliber player on both sides of the football, and he was asked prior to the season, hey, we need the guys that have got experience on the defensive side of the ball in these first games. So, he's a guy that's very talented on both sides of the football, but has really stepped up and been a leader in saying, all right, I'll stick to the defense. And it's got 3 picks this year. So had a couple last week against Flower Mound. So it's kind of a next man up thing, and it's whoever's supposed to do the job on any given play has just been there consistently, and it's borne really good results so far for Coach Schmidt's team.
Brian, where do you really see Prosper stacking up as we move into district play now in 9-6A? We've got the Allens. Plano East seems like they've got a really good squad, and Jesuit, and then there's Prosper. I think those are probably the top 4 teams, with Plano looking on the outside, looking in right now. In their first year here at this level, do you like them stacking up against some of these teams, especially as you talked about the balance that they've got on the offensive side of the football and a really good offensive line?
They've answered a lot of questions in the first 4 weeks of the year. If you look statistically, you'll see Prosper is pretty much, among all the top-performing offenses, the most balanced offense in the area. And it's nearly 50-50 exactly in terms of performance via the run and the pass. So as you look at where the team stacks up, they're going to be in a position against Plano East, against Plano, against some of the other teams that they're going to be expecting to compete for certainly a playoff spot and maybe bigger, that they've shown that they can offensively do damage on the ground or through the air. So Keegan Shoemaker hasn't been asked to throw the ball a whole lot. They haven't been in a lot of shootouts so far, but he's done a great job of being extremely accurate. He's one of the area's most efficient passers, very high completion percentage. He's got great weapons around him at receiver. Justin Clark has really stepped up into maybe that primary receiver position as he came into play yesterday, won off the area lead in receiving touchdowns in 6A, had a touchdown last night. But the depth offensively for Prosper, they got a young man named Hayden Metcalf. All that guy does is catch first downs. It's not going to put up huge numbers necessarily, because that's not really how Prosper's offense is built. It's just to keep rolling guys in there, and there isn't a guy out there on offense that the offensive coordinator, Tyler Moore, doesn't feel he can lean on to make a big play. And then defensively, what we've seen is, a team that flies to the football. They got a lot of speed. They're not the biggest guys in the world. Coach Schmidt will tell you that. But they're guys that play with a lot of heart and a lot of hustle, and they really are emblematic, I think, of the community. Prosper's a community with a lot of pride. They're a community that is taking a lot of pride in moving up to 6A. This has been something that has been coming over the last 6 years or so. We've known that it was going to be about this time that Prosper sort of made its foray onto the biggest stage of Texas high school football, and they're just loving every minute of this. So as you look at what the season's going to look like, I see no reason that Prosper can't be right there in the mix, certainly for a playoff spot. And I think they're going to be a team that is going to go toe-to-toe with every team in the league. I think they're going to go into Allen Stadium. I don't think they're going to be intimidated by that venue. They've played there once in a playoff game before, actually the first playoff game ever played there. Now, it'll be a little bit different when it's got 20,000 people in there. There'll be a few more people in there, I think, than there were the first time. But, it's a quiet confidence from this program, and I think you're going to see that bear out. You touched on it a second ago. I think next week will really show us a lot. Definitely Prosper taking a step up now as we get into the meat of district play. Plano East has looked fantastic. We know their game against Boyd got rained out tonight. So Prosper will end up having maybe a couple of extra days to prepare for that one. But if Plano East can take care of business, you're looking at a pair of 4-0 squads, and you'd think that would be one of the better matchups in the area. But just a lot of confidence, I think, from top to bottom in the program, and we'll just see how the season goes. But I think the Eagles feel really good about their chances as they get into the meat of district.
And for good reason. 4-0, a big win over McKinney this weekend. Brian Sutcliffe, the voice of Prosper Eagles. Brian, thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Hey, thank you, boys.
There he goes, Brian Sutcliffe, and a very confident Prosper Eagle squad. There's a lot of excitement around that community, and like I said, for good reason. We do have an update from one of our reporters. Mr. Adrian Jagish has been very, very patient, waiting out almost a 3-hour delay on his ball game with Arlington Seguin and Midlothian. That game is at halftime. Adrian, what's going on from Midlothian?
It is raining, but Nolan Samick from Midlothian is the player to watch. Along with him and Austin Thomas, the quarterback, they've been killing this game. Midlothian is leading the game 27-6 against the Cougars, Austin Seguin.
Thanks so much. As I love his energy. He's always bringing the heat and bringing the juice. And you look at the stats there. Midlothian 27-6 over Seguin, and it has been dominant so far. Seguin had a good drive earlier in the ball game, but overall the Panthers just too much so far. And you can see it there, 189 yards compared to 60 for the Cougars. Let's go to the game that happened just across the hallway from us at the Ford Center earlier this afternoon as Frisco Lebanon Trail in Frisco, most likely the only game in the entire DFW area that was not affected by weather, and Frisco in emphatic fashion over Lebanon Trail. Boys, did this surprise you?
Yeah, I mean, it surprised me. I was expecting Lebanon Trail to win this game, if not for nothing, because it's their homecoming game.
It was their homecoming game.
And, well, not quite the performance you wanted to have on your homecoming game.
No, and I think
pleasant surprise for Frisco, though, huh, Walchuk?
Definitely overlooked Frisco a little bit.
Yeah.
They came out, and they were winning in all three phases. They forced special teams plays down the field. Their offense looked really good. Clearly, they put up 56 points. And their defense, we saw with a couple of interceptions. Mm-hmm. They played really, really well. We're all over Lebanon Trail, really from the get-go.
Yeah, every time you looked up, they were scoring.
Yeah. They definitely were. And that's exactly what happened as Frisco runs away with that one. A game that was rescheduled for tomorrow at 10:30, Plano West and Jesuit. That game will kick off in the morning at 10:30, so be on the lookout for that. And all right, Zach.
Let's just skip over this one, man.
You want to skip over it
I think
or no?
We've talked plenty. Allen beat Plano 49-14. Let's move on to the next one.
No, we're in overtime now,
Let's at least look at the stats, and we'll run through it, Wolchuk. A Plano alumnus and the Allen Eagles get the better of the Plano Wildcats. Again, 49-14 the score. You look at the dominance on both sides of the football. Only 34 rushing yards for Mr. Cumbie in Plano. He'll get back at it. He made some impacts on in the receiving game as well, but overall, Allen just too strong yet again. The number one team will remain at that number one spot. So moving on.
At least Plano got off to a good start. I mean, it was tied obviously at the beginning 0-0, and then it was 7-7, and then it was 49-14.
The Grant Tisdale show to end the first half. So that's really all that needs to be said.
13 years. Is it 13 years?
13 years now
Taking an L?
since Plano's knocked off Allen.
Well, I hate to bring that up over and over again, but we're going to continue to do that. Wiley and Saxe. Saxe's been a team that has looked really good over the first couple weeks of the season. They continue it here with a 43-27 win. Who's got that game?
Saxe? Not me.
Wiley and Saxe. Does nobody have that
But props to Saxe.
No, but we can talk about it.
Let's talk about it a little
Saxe's
bit.
team got their first win. This was two winless opponents facing each other. So Saxe really, really desperate to get this one.
Yep.
And they had a tough non-district slate. We were expecting them to come in, do a little bit better. But defensively, man, they stepped up. Had a really, really excellent game. Their offense scored when they needed to. They pulled away and beat a Wiley team 43-27 at home as they get ready for that district.
45 yards on the ground, defensive domination.
Oh, yeah, their
all the
defense
way
is where
through.
it's at.
So definitely, I mean, you look at it and you start going down the stat comparison, 405 yards, 405 total yards. But again, the 45 yards on the ground that they held Wiley to. That's the difference in this game, 43-27.
Eric Sky, Hunter Spears with a
do
pick
not
six.
go throughout this entire review of this game without mentioning Hunter Spears.
Hey,
my
he
guy.
sniffed out a screen, and I love it when a big defensive tackle can just kind of slide over there. He reads it, reacts, picks it, takes it to the house. Unbelievable play by Hunter Spears. Sealed the deal with the cherry on top for Saxe.
Notre Dame. Headed to Notre Dame, Hunter Spears.
He's going to be a big pickup for Notre Dame as well, as he does have that interception and the return. Tyler, Euless Trinity, that one canceled altogether. Nobody going to drive out to East Texas this week, unfortunately, and Pennington Field will not have any football, at least this weekend. Arlington and Mesquite Horn. This is an Arlington Colts team that I think all of us as a show have gotten to come to love with a couple good players on that matchup. You look at the stats there, 44-34, the final score, and our reporter Ashley Pickle got a chance to catch up with the head coach, Mr. Peach, after the game.
Peach, the head coach of the Arlington Colts. Coach, back and forth game the whole time, and then with under 30 seconds left, Tucker Thompson takes it back for a 60-yard pick six. What was the feeling like on that sideline?
Well, exuberant. Tucker Thompson intercepts a pass every day.
So whether it's practice on a Monday, whether it's a scrimmage game, a ball game, so we know as the ball's going in the air, he's going to get his, and it couldn't have come at a sweeter time for us. And then a lot of the coaches were hollering for him to get down. I want him to go score. At the end of the day, you don't get to do it very often, but it really capitalized a great night for us.
I heard you talking to your team, telling them, you were down at halftime, 20-17. It didn't even take 23 seconds for your quarterback to throw a 68-yard touchdown pass to put them up at halftime, and then that carried on the rest of the half. What was it like to come out hot like that in the second half?
Well, it's important. The disappointing thing was we scored with 1:39 in the second quarter to take the lead, and then we muffed the kick and gave them great field position, and we pride ourselves on how we finish the second quarter, how we start the third. But with the third quarter, we are really explosive right now. Jahari Rogers is special at quarterback. But then on top of that, Trey Cleveland, who scored the touchdown, is really one of the top receivers in the state. Very, very proud of the way he takes to his game, and it was a big play for us.
Now you're coming off the field. The fans are chanting 3-0. You've got homecoming coming up, start of district. What do you look at going into next week's practice?
Well, I think we're excited. I think that winning breeds confidence, and being 3-0 is a big deal for this team. We've had to battle all 3 games against Jesuit and Nelson and Horn, but we came out on top, and that's great for building for the future. But at the end of the day, non-district's over. District starts, and we got to play great football at this time. Our goal is to win District 4 6A and to make a run in the playoffs, and to do that, it starts next week, and it's homecoming, so we got to be great.
Well, Coach, congratulations on tonight. Go celebrate with your team.
Thank you so much.
That was from last night as Arlington took down a pretty good Mesquite Horn, a struggling Mesquite Horn team, but they've had an outstanding schedule against them, 44-34. Let's run through some of these other scores really quickly. Ennis 38, North 14 as Ennis gets their first win of the new Coach Harrell era. After that, Mansfield Lake Ridge 34 over South Grand Prairie 22. Big-time win for Lake Ridge as they remain undefeated in the state of Texas. Their only loss coming to Tulsa Union earlier in the year, and that was another impressive win from the Eagles.
Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, that's a game, again, that the stat sheet does not represent the way that game actually was. I mean, they negative 14 yards
crazy.
At halftime for South Grand Prairie. And then, obviously, the coach, Coach Brent Whitstrom, definitely chewed his boys out because they came out in that second half and got
300 yards.
They got 300 yards in the second half. But, again, man, this is a team, man, when you look at Lake Ridge, that high-powered ground and pound, that's what they're all about. And as you could see with 210 yards rushing, just 82 passing, 292 total.
A lot of that rushing yards coming from their quarterback, though.
Exactly.
Dual threat.
Yeah, definitely. So moving on to McKinney North and Rockwall Heath. McKinney North with a big-time win, 28-22.
Yeah, just holding on. They had an interception at the end as Rockwall Heath was trying to come back and win that one to preserve the victory. Cam Constantine on the ground, awesome night, 130 yards, 2 scores. Also through the year, 7 of 10 for 70 yards. But I think the story's got to be Dylan Markowitz possibly coming in at quarterback, 4 for 4, 100 yards. This kid seems like he can sling it, which allows Cameron Constantine then to kind of be a gadget, do-it-all player offensively.
One of the few games that was able to get in tonight, but still ended on short terms. Highland Park and Bryan Adams. That's the matchup. That was the pregame matchup, and my goodness, was this a dominating effort from the Highland Park Scotties. 49-0, the final score as Highland Park defeats Bryan Adams, and that was actually before there we go. Look at the total yardage from Bryan Adams.
Oh, my gosh.
That is total defensive domination.
Total defensive domination. And to talk about this game, we've got Miles Dunklin, the voice of the Highland Park Scots football team, on the line for Game On Sports. And Miles, what else is there to say? -2 total yards and a 49-0 beatdown. This is a game that I think Bryan Adams looked up in the third quarter and it was okay with it being canceled.
Well, it was a messy night there, as I'm sure as it's been across the Metroplex. But a totally dominant performance by Chandler Morris. It seemed like every time he put it up there was somebody completely wide open. Finn Corwin had another 3 touchdowns. And,
wow.
For Bryan Adams and Coach Thorin, he told me they only had 19 kids go out for football last year as freshmen. And it's a real struggle for them right now. They didn't have anything going in terms of their sub-varsity or their middle school teams were on the same page with the varsity. And and it showed tonight as they really couldn't move the ball. Every time they actually did pick up 2 first downs, which I'm sure the Scott defensive coaching staff is not happy about, as silly as that sounds. But every time they did something right, they might snap it over their own head or whatever happened that let them end in negative total yardage. And that was with the Scots playing reserves for almost the entire game.
Miles, obviously, Jalen Morris did his thing. The defense, though, who really stuck out tonight, and how did Prince Dorba do?
Prince had a relatively quiet night. Who stood out on defense? Hard to say. It was a really good night all the way around. I'd say Colby Hopkins might have been a standout player. He's having to switch from inside to outside as they had Andrew Bonnet tear his ACL, a really key player for them, an outside linebacker. So Colby Hopkins, very versatile player. He spins outside and actually recovered a fumble in the end zone tonight for the Scots. So he had a nice performance, but they are extremely stacked on the defensive line. Prince Dorba is just one of about 5 guys they have that can get after the quarterback, and it showed tonight as they made it really tough on Brian Adams.
Yeah, definitely so, as you could definitely tell from the 49-0 win. Miles, we're running close on time, or else we'd love to talk to you a little bit more. Thanks for joining us, and we'll definitely talk to you again next week.
Of course, guys. Always good to hear from my buddies Kyle and Zach.
Hey, there you go.
Thank you, Miles.
Take that, Hek'ma and Eric.
Disrespect.
We got specific.
How you doing?
Oh, man.
Hey, that
Miles
Bonnet injury,
always a favorite. Yeah.
That's a tough one right there in ACL.
Yeah, that's a big loss there.
Hurts the lacrosse team.
Yeah, it definitely does. You're exactly right. But moving on from that game, that was a dominant Scotty performance. Rockwall and Arlington Martin, talking about dominant. How about the offense from the Rockwall Yellow Jackets?
I haven't been able to calm Eric down from this game.
Goodness,
he's still living on a 73-point high.
73 points is unbelievable, and they scored their first 15 points before Martin could even touch the field offensively.
Isn't that great?
Jacob Clark, 46-yard touchdown pass to get things started. Then they squib kick it. Rockwall recovers, and then Jacob Clark runs it in for a touchdown. It's 15-0 before Arlington Martin can even blink.
I bet Arlington Martin wouldn't wish that was in a weather delay.
Yeah, you are not kidding. Maybe a cancellation altogether. Biggest play of the game, though, Walchuk, it's your guy. Anthony Orji,
baby.
Interception off a deflected pass. He returned that. The big man returned that 95 yards for a touchdown. That's really what blew the doors open in that game. Exactly.
The Piesman, baby.
Yeah.
The Piesman.
That was the biggest play of the game, and that really put him over the top there.
Let's run very, very quickly.
And Anthony.
Yeah, definitely. So let's run very, very quickly through these last 3 games. Trinity Christian Cedar Hill, 26. Melissa, 19. That's a big-time matchup that really Trinity Christian flexed the muscles there. Waxahachie loses to DeSoto, 2 blue bloods really of the DFW area. DeSoto 59, Waxahachie 47. And then Frisco Reedy at the Star takes down Denison 45-20. So, boys, before we leave, we've got a couple more minutes. Let's give a little bit of the highlights to those that deserve it. Who is your star of the night? And Hek'ma, I'm going to get you to start off with it.
I'm going to tell you, a guy tonight who's living his best living his best life is my guy, Shundarian Ward.
Oh, man.
From DeSoto. He couldn't miss. He hit everything. And, I mean, you look at the stats from what DeSoto did. Obviously, it wasn't a lot of defense played at all in this game because both teams accounted for about 1,000 yards total in this game. But Shundarian Ward, he couldn't miss, man. He completed 21 of his 22 attempts in the first half. And finished with a monster night. 451 yards, 5 touchdowns. Monster.
Unbelievable.
Go get you some Whataburger.
So, go get yourself something. I was actually going to go Shundarian Ward as well, but that's all right because we had a lot of quarterbacks make some excellent plays last night, tonight as well. I think I'm going to go Jacob Clark from Rockwall. 5 total touchdowns, 3 through the air, 2 on the ground. Unbelievable game for Rockwall, scoring 73 points.
Yes. There you go. And I'm going Tucker Thompson, corner from Arlington. He had the 77-yard interception return for a touchdown with 15 seconds left in that game. You heard Coach Peach talking about it. That's the game. It was a tight game right there at the end. 77-yard pick 6 to really ice the game and
dagger
for Arlington. Yeah, that is a dagger, exactly.
Well, I don't have a star of the week, but I have 3 different things that we're going to give out as a show collectively.
I love when we do things together.
We're going to do it all together collectively. Let's get us all on camera here so that way we can show that we're doing this as a group.
Group hug.
But maybe later. Team of the week. Let's go Rockwall Yellow Jackets.
All
Put
right.
up big numbers. Eric's been freaking out over it all night. 73 points on the board. Our coach of the night, Scott Peach, 3-0 Arlington Colts. They get a big-time win over Mesquite Horn in a tough district opener. They win last night, 44-34. We heard from him interviewing with Coach Pickle. In the student section of the week, the first ever student section of the week, the Midlothian student section, because they stuck through the weather delays, and they are still representing for the Panthers.
Awesome.
What a week it's been.
Man.
The rain has been there. We'll leave you with the image of what has defined all week long. For Hek'ma Harrison, for Zach Wolchuk, for Eric Chiafala, for Chris Beam, and everybody involved with this Game On Sports production, we are done from week 4 at the Star. I'm Kyle Yeoman saying so long until next week.